What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 2BR Chapter 41. A few days later. Shiu and Naruto were going to the place designated by Kakashi, but they were followed by someone on the way. And, there are still 3. But their tracking methods are so spicy that even Naruto can catch the clue at a glance. Konohamaru, your disguise is too hot. Hearing Naruto's words, Konohamaru also removed his disguise, and the 2 new faces were his partners. The girl is called Kei's Matsuri Moang, and the boy is Ai's Udon. It is worth mentioning that this Fengji Mengwang has a kind of bloodstain limit, which is the first generation of Hokage's Mu Dun. However, it is a pity that the adorable Huang Mu Dun has not yet awakened, and Shiu could not detect her chakra nature. But that's okay, there is another ninja who owns Mu Dun in Konoha. He is Yamato, also known as Tenzo. Hey, it's the man I like, who can see through my disguise so easily. Brother Shiu. Second brother Naruto. Seeing these 3 little things, Shiu was also very helpless. Since the last time he taught Konohamaru, he has been his own little brother. When you meet, it's not the eldest brother, it's the eldest. Not to mention Shiu, even Naruto was a little impatient. I said you guys, won't you come to me to play some ninja games again? Seeing the 3 nodded heavily, Shiu was also quite speechless. He didn't have much interest in this kind of game. The first few times were all for Naruto. At first he was very happy, after all, he can act as force. But playing too much is naturally annoying, and just when Naruto was about to refuse, the appearance of a man just relieved him. Naruto, did you see Sasuke? When Shiu and others heard about their reputation, they saw a girl in vermilion clothes with long cherry blossom hair. Advertisement, that's right, it is Sakura. When I saw Sakura, Naruto couldn't hold it anymore. But when the latter came to ask about Sasuke's whereabouts, he was a little unhappy, because he liked Sakura. However, before Naruto could answer, Konohamaru was the first to speak. Brother Naruto, who is that woman? Is it your female ticket? Hey. Naruto chuckled, and then said, don't you think you guys are quite sensitive? You can see this. Sakura, who heard the words on the side, exploded in an instant. Yes, it's you. Sakura, whose voice fell, was about to beat Naruto violently. As soon as her fist reached Naruto's forehead, she could no longer advance any further. As if blocked by an invisible mountain, a voice rang slowly. Sakura. You want a girl from a family, she knows how to be rough all day long. No boy likes this kind of personality. Sakura, who heard the words, was also taken aback, glaring at Shiu. You can control it. Naturally I am too lazy to care about you. Do you have anyone to have nothing to do with me? But if you want to do something with Naruto, you just can't do it. Why? Sakura said angrily. He is my brother. A simple but domineering sentence was spit out from Shiu's mouth, making Sakura momentarily stunned, but Naruto was extremely moved. Even Konohamaru and others were shocked by Shiu's domineering, and they shouted after they recovered. Boss is mighty. The boss is awesome. After speaking, Konohamaru kept showing off to Moang and Udon, and he followed a good boss. In the future, you 2 will follow me and get together. If I eat a bite of food, you will definitely have a bite of soup. Advertisement, nothing else, just because my boss is Shiu. Immediately afterwards, Shiu said again, okay, take your hand back quickly. Although I am a man, you can't always take advantage of me. Sakura was stunned when he heard the words, and immediately drank. What makes me take advantage of you? I'm a girl. It's obviously that I'm okay. During the words, Sakura hurriedly put away her jade hand, glaring at Toki. She was so old that she had never been teased by a boy like this. At this moment, her heart was very angry, but she did not dare to do it. Because of the look in Shiyu's eyes when she was sorted, she still has lingering fears. Shiu, I remember you, humph. Knowing that Naruto could not be taught, Sakura turned around after a cold snort. Upon seeing this, Naruto gave Shiu a thumbs up. Shiu, you are really good. This is the second time you have surrendered to Sakura, you are simply her nemesis. Maybe I'm too handsome, Shiu said solemnly. Is that really the case? If not, Shiu asked back, and then said, why does Sakura like Sasuke? It's not because he is handsome. It seems to be the reason, and just as Naruto's voice fell, there was an exclamation in front of him. What? After hearing the words, Shiu and the others looked, and there were 3 figures in sight. One of them was Sakura, who had just left in anger, and the other 2 were fresh faces, and only Shiba recognized them. San Shinobu, Temari and Kankuro from the Country of Wind. Chapter 42. Seeing Temari and Kankuro, Shiba knew that the Chunin selection examination was already near. The exclamation just now came from Kozakura's mouth. Just now, because of her anger, she rushed along the way and hit Kankuro directly. When Kozakura saw the pattern on Kankuro's face, she was immediately taken aback, and her tone was completely devoid of her previous toughness. No. Sorry. Even when facing the girl, Kankuro didn't accept the apology and said viciously. If you bumped into me, you just thought about it if you were embarrassed? Seeing this, Temari on the side discouraged him and said, forget it, don't worry about it. It's just Konoha's forbearance. Kankuro is confident in his puppet art and doesn't put Sakura in his eyes at all. Upon seeing this, Naruto was not upset for an instant and immediately drank it. Keep me away from Sakura. When the voice fell, Naruto rushed to Kankuro regardless of the 371, and wanted to teach this guy who bullied Sakura. However, he hadn't waited for Naruto to rush to Kankuro. Seeing Kankuro's finger move lightly, Naruto suddenly staggered, and the whole person fell straight back. Just when Naruto was about to fall to the ground, a big hand appeared behind his back, just helping him to stabilize his figure. There is no doubt that the owner of the big hands is naturally Shiu. Are you okay? Don't get in the way. Seeing this scene, Kankuro felt a little uncomfortable because he didn't achieve the effect he wanted, but he still didn't forget to ridicule. So weak? This is Konoha's shinobu. After hearing this, Sakura's expression was also taken aback, and she muttered in her heart. It seems that they are not natives. Where are they from? Why are you here in our village? Countless doubts breed in Sakura's heart. Shiu, I seem to be tripped by something just now? That is the chakra line. When Shiu said this, he instantly attracted Kankuro's attention. He didn't expect Shiu to be able to see through that he tripped Naruto with the chakra line, and couldn't help but muttered in his heart. Is he also a puppet master? Not only him, but also Temari on the side. But as far as she knows, Konoha does not have a puppet master. Even so, how did Toki know about it? Looking at Kankuro, Takua's domineering words sounded again. I don't care where you are from. I don't care who you are. But now that we are at Konoha, you can't help but be presumptuous here. Get out of here. Sakura was taken aback when she heard Shiu's words. After taking a look at Kankuro, he also hurriedly ran in the direction of Shiu. When he hid behind Shiu, the trembling heart calmed down. Looking at the figure in front of her, Kozakura's previous anger also slowly dissipated. For some reason, she thought Shiu was very handsome at this moment. Standing behind Shiu, she felt very safe. Is he handsome when he is domineering? What am I thinking about? The muttering Sakura shook her head quickly, and immediately dispelled the thoughts in her mind. At this time, even Temari was amazed by Shiu's words. Yo, nice boy. Kanjiro, who was screamed by Shiu in this way, was obviously unable to bear the anger in his heart. Boy, it looks like you have to suffer. Seeing Kankuro take down the puppet behind him, Temari on the side also said in surprise. Hey, don't you want to use Crow? Crow. One of Kankuro's puppets. At this moment, the sound of a voice prevented Kankuro's next move. Stop. Don't shame me here. After hearing the words, everyone followed the prestige, only to see a figure hanging upside down on a large tree next to it. There is a vermilion, love, printed on the person's forehead, and a khaki gourd is behind him. There is no doubt that this person is Gaara. As my elder brother Kankuro, he was helpless for Gaara's rant, and he greeted him with a smile. There are 3 reasons for this. First, he is the brother. Second, he knows why Gaara became like this. Third, fear of Gaara's strength. Gaara, you are here. Kankuro gave a wry smile, but Gaara's bad words greeted his greeting. Advertisement, shut up for me, otherwise, I will kill you. When the voice fell, Gaara instantly appeared between Temari and Kankuro. We are not here for fun. Let's go. And when Gaara and the 3 of them turned and left, Naruto suddenly said, what's your name for the one who carries the gourd? Gaara turned around when he heard the words, and glanced at Naruto. I'm not interested in you, however, I am a little interested in the one next to you. Gaara's eyes in the words had already fallen on Shiu. If you want to know my name, you are not qualified. What is arrogance? At this time, Shiu interpreted these 2 words very well. Gaara doesn't give Naruto, why should he give the latter face? Naruto, Konohamaru, let's go. When the voice fell, Shiu turned around and left, leaving only a chic and unruly back. But at this moment, this back figure fell in the eyes of Sakura, Naruto and others. It was so cool, so handsome. After all, a few people immediately followed Shiu. Even Sakura is no exception. Seeing this scene, Gaara finally had a ripple on his unwavering face from beginning to end. And Temari and Kankuro are also dumbfounded. They have seen arrogance, but they have never seen Shiu so arrogant. You know the last one who didn't give me Gaara's face. Now the tomb head grass is estimated to be more than 1 meter high. Gaara's eyes looked like an eagle and the corners of my mouth moved slightly as I watched Shiu and the others who were gradually moving away. Isn't it qualified? After this episode, Takiwa and Naruto also rushed directly to the location designated by Kakashi. If nothing happens, Kakashi has already applied for the qualifications for the Central Ninja Selection Exam for them. Sure enough, after a simple greeting, Kakashi said, although it was a bit sudden, I have already recommended you to take part in the Central Ninja Selection Exam this year. As soon as these words came out, both Naruto and Sasuke were taken aback. What? Naruto gave a stunned sound, as if he didn't believe this fact, until Kakashi came up with 3 application forms. Upon seeing this, Naruto gave Kakashi a big hug instantly, still not forgetting a word in his mouth. Teacher Kakashi, I love you so much. After breaking free from the troublemaker Naruto, Kakashi said again. Recommendation does not mean participation. The final decision is still in your hands. If you want to participate, just sign your name on the application form, and hand it in to the school's 301 classroom by 4 p.m. tomorrow. Having said that, Kakashi knew very well in his heart that the 3 of them would definitely take part in the Chin Shinobi selection exam this time. Especially Shiu. In Kakashi's opinion, the probability of passing the selection examination is as high as 99%. As for that 1%, what must be an inevitable accident? The 45th chapter is not the technique here. The next day, after Shiba, Naruto, and Sasuke gathered at the agreed place, they headed to the ninja school together. They are going to submit the application form for the Central Ninja Selection Examination. However, when the 3U arrived in the 301 classroom where they were about to submit the application form, they found a large group of people around the scene. Moreover, there's the sound of fighting. Going up and looking at it, it turned out that there were two elderly Sha-Ren stopped at the door of the 301 classroom, not allowing others to submit the form to sign up. Bump. As a voice came out, only a boy wearing a green tight-fitting sportswear was beaten out. When Shiu saw it, he knew the identity of this person. He is the second physical genius to comprehend 8-door Dunjia, the student of King Kai, Li Luke. Upon seeing this, the two blocked 301 Sha-Ren said one after another. For this ability, I still take the Zonran exam. I advise you to go home and stay. It's all stinky little ghosts, it's futile to participate, why bother? Shiu glanced at the two of them, and it became clear in his heart. Others did not know the identities of these two people, but he knew nothing more. These two people are Gongza Tai and Shenyu Izumo, who are at the level of ninja and are known as the two gate gods of Konoha. Simply put, it is the gatekeeper. The two of them are the examiners of this Central Ninja Selection Exam, and they appear here today to be embarrassed to submit the application form. Advertisement not being noticed by others, they also deliberately used transformation technique. And most of those who watched the show were beaten. Therefore, at this time, I can only silently be a crowd eating melons. Gongza Tai and Shenyu Izumo are both elite Zonran, and the strength of Zonran belongs to the existence of outstanding people. Naturally, ordinary Chunin can't be their opponents. As for why Li Luke was easily beaten up, it was because he didn't want to expose his strength prematurely. Tianxian, on the side, saw Li Luke being knocked to the ground and said in a low voice, "Please, let's go in." However, her request was rewarded with a ruthless punch. Just as Gang Ct's fist was about to fall on Tianxian's pretty face, it was firmly grasped by a big hand. This scene surprised everyone. Even Gang Ztai himself was extremely surprised, and was able to easily block his attack, indicating that this person's physical skills were at least close to the level of Zhang Ren. And it was Shiu who did not shoot. For the role of Tian, Shiu still likes it, regardless of the latter's character or looks. It's a pity that she is still single until the end, and even Bo Ren biography. Turning his head to look at Shiu every day, he didn't know what to say for a while, just watched quietly like this. At this time, everyone's eyes were focused on Shiu, even Ning Si and Xiao Li were no exception. The atmosphere was silent for a while, and Shiyu's voice sounded slowly. "Get out of the way, we're going to the third floor." When Shiu said this, all the people present except Sasuke, who had Shulunyan, looked dumbfounded. Is his brain funny? Isn't this the third floor? Yes, let's just say the hero saves the United States. I am embarrassed to admit such a good thing. That's it. In the eyes of everyone, Zhang Tianxian is a rare beauty. If it weren't for the fear of Gongza Tai and Shenyu Izumo, they would have taken action long ago. But Shiu didn't have this idea. He shot for two reasons. First, I just don't want to be beaten every day, even though I'm in an illusion. Second, it is because if he submits the application form, he must pass the hurdle in front of him. Listening to everyone's words, every day is also stunned. Seeing Shiu who was close at hand, he secretly asked, did he really make the shot because he saved me? Immediately afterwards, Gang Cti and Shenyu Izumo glanced at each other, and then everyone was stunned by their words. Oh, it seems to be seen through? Not bad, kid. When everyone didn't know what was going on, Sasuke also spoke up. We've been aware of it a long time ago, and you have used illusions to set up a barrier here. This is the second floor, not the third floor. Yeah. Naruto can only nod in agreement. He obviously couldn't notice it without Shulunyan. If I didn't guess wrong, there should be an illusion of non-ear art. When Shiu said this, Gang Zt and Shenyu Izumo were shocked again. In their opinion, Shiu was able to see through the illusion cast here is already very impressive, but what they didn't expect was that Shiu could even see what illusion technique was cast here. You should know that there are not many people who have mastered this illusion technique in Konoha, but Shiu can know it under the ninja. This is enough to see Shiyu's extraordinary. Because of this, everyone looked at Shiu with a hint of amazement. The technique is not here, an illusion technique used to make the opponent mistakenly recognize one place as another place. As the illusion was seen through, I saw that the original 301 number was suddenly distorted, and it turned into 201 in the next second, and there was no need for Gang Ct and Shenyu Izumo to stay here. Seeing this scene, everyone believed Shiyu's words. Following the departure of Gang Ct and Shenyu Izumo, others rushed to 301 to submit application form. Because time is limited, at this time, Tianxian, Xiaoli and Ningxi's eyes still stayed on Shiu and Sasuke's body, because only two of them were able to break illusion. However, Tianxian's eyes were locked on Shiu. Her character was very straightforward, without the appearance of a twisted little girl. Just now, thank you, you're welcome, I just went smoothly. Shiu replied, and then said, moreover, even if I don't take action, their attacks won't cause you any substantial harm. In the midst of illusion, all you see are illusions. Hearing the words, Tianxian was taken aback for a moment, and then he looked at Xiao Li's face. As expected, Shiu said that the scars on the latter's face were gone. Hidden strength is good, but it can't be slaughtered by others. When the voice fell, Shiu was no longer staying, striding away under the stunned gaze of Tien and others. When Sasuke and Naruto saw this, they did not talk nonsense and followed them. The small steps of the two seemed to have begun to take on the appearance of a little brother. Seeing the three people of Shiu who were walking away, Ningxi couldn't help but ask, Tianxian, do you know that person? Chapter 43 Tien shook his head in response to Ningxi's doubts. Never seen it. This is weird. Is it a freshman? Ningxi murmured. Xiao Li also said, it's possible that all three of them are new faces. However, the one taking the lead seems pretty strong. Neji also nodded and then said, if nothing else, he should be a strong opponent. And the guy in the blue clothes at the back is not bad. It seems that this year's freshman is better than expected. Neji was obviously referring to Sasuke, which was his instinct as a genius. Because Sasuke has the same arrogance as him. As for Tianxian, her gaze stayed on Shiyu's body. No way, the scene just now made her linger. It's getting late, let's go quickly. As Ningxi's voice fell, the three of them also left here. After everyone left, Gang Ziti and Shenue Izumo who were hiding in the corner also withdrew their gazes. It seems that this year's candidates are quite strong, Shenue Izumo said. Yes. Gang Ziti nodded, and then said, especially the one who shot earlier. I don't know where he can go, I am looking forward to it. Me too. The voice fell, and the two figures suddenly disappeared in place. At the same time, Shiu and the three ran into Sakura in the lobby on the second floor. The moment she saw Sasuke, her heart was ecstatic. Because she hasn't been to the latter for nearly a month. However, seeing Toki who came with Sasuke, Kozakura's heart suddenly felt a little stunned. She recalled the scene of yesterday. At that moment, Shiu was really handsome. Sakura likes Sasuke because she is unrequited love, and she is not in the same class with Sasuke. Advertisement. After a long time of separation, the feeling of unrequited love will slowly fade away. Unless Sasuke gives her a response. Otherwise, this emotion will fade over time sooner or later. When Sasuke passed by Sakura, the latter hurriedly said, Sasuke, long time no see. In response, Sasuke just nodded. Before cutting off the obsession in his heart, he would never consider any boring love. The reason why he would be willing to follow Shiu is because Shiu is better than him, and he can also teach him how to improve Shilunyan. This is undoubtedly what he wants most now. Seeing Sasuke's indifference to herself, Sakura felt very disappointed. However, she seems to have gotten used to it, because she has been here for so many years in ninja school. This is the suffering of unrequited love. However, the moment Xiao Li, who came from behind, saw Sakura, the long silent hormone suddenly exploded. I saw him walking quickly towards Sakura under the stunned eyes of Tien and Ningxi. Passing through the three of Shiba, they came to Sakura. There is no unnecessary nonsense, and some are just true confession. Are you Sakura? Kozakura was also stunned by such a sudden question, but she nodded out of courtesy. My name is Li Luke, please associate with me, I will protect you to the death. After hearing this, Sakura froze for a long time and decisively refused. Never, your eyebrows are too thick. This result made Xiao Li extremely disappointed, and Ningxi and Tien in the rear sighed as well. What if I shave my eyebrows thinner for you? That's not okay. Xiao Li, who was rejected again, clenched his hands for a few minutes again, and asked, can you give me a reason? Because I already have someone I like, advertisement. Sakura glanced at Sasuke in the middle of the words, trying to make Xiao Li retreat. It's just that she never expected that, but the result was counterproductive. Let's have a fight. You want to compete with me now? Sasuke said. Yes, I want to see if my tricks work for people who are known as the Genius Ninja Clan. It seems you already know who I am. Hearing what Sasuke said, Xiao Li did not deny it because he heard Sakura address Sasuke from a distance just now. There is only one person named Sasuke in Konoha today. He is the only survivor of the Uchiha clan in Konoha. However, before Sasuke agreed, Naruto was the first to say, leave this kind of stuff to me, I can solve him in minutes. When the voice fell, Naruto had already stood up directly. First, Xiao Li's confession made him very unhappy because he also likes Xiao Sakura. Second, he thinks that if he defeats Xiao Li, he will definitely be favored by Sakura. Third, Sasuke is always sought by others, who always treat him as heir, which makes him very unhappy. The superposition of the three reasons gave Naruto no reason not to stand up, and he wanted to prove himself. Shiu was really not interested in this kind of polygamy, and silently became a crowd eating melons. After all, such plots are rare. However, Xiao Li didn't pay attention to Naruto's volunteering. No way. Sakura likes Sasuke instead of Naruto, and Sasuke is also a genius in ninja school, which makes him even more eager to challenge. Excuse me, I want to challenge Sasuke Uchiha. This familiar word fell into Naruto's ears, causing it to explode directly. You only know Sasuke, what a shame. Naruto, whose voice fell down, didn't care about 3721, and rushed towards Xiao Li with a fist. He wants to prove himself. Prove that you are not weaker than Sasuke. Chapter 44 However, Yiming human body art is obviously not Xiao Li's opponent. So, the result can be imagined. Under Shaoli's sweeping legs, Konohamaru, he was directly thrown to the ground. Boom. 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 After a few rolls, it hit the wall behind. Dizzy, confused for a while, it was also because of this that Naruto knew that Shaoli was strong and that there was a huge gap between the two. Seeing this scene, Sakura and Sasuke were also surprised. Naruto is not strong, but not weak either. However, he was so vulnerable in Shaoli's hands that he couldn't even make a single move. This shows that Shaoli does have extraordinary strength. Sasuke, declare in advance that I will never lose to you because I am the strongest among Konoha Shinobu today. Sasuke, who didn't have much interest in Shaoli, saw Shaoli's skill and heard these words. Finally got the energy. If it is true as Shaoli said, he is Konoha's strongest shinobu today, then as long as he defeats him, he is estimated to be able to pass this session of the Zhang Shinobi selection exam, steadily. Interesting, come on. Seeing Sasuke's agreement, Shaoli also said, Sasuke, I will resolve the battle within 5 points. There was a trace of uncomfortable expression on Sasuke's face after hearing this, because he was the first freshman in this class, and he was so despised by Shaoli. As for Shiyu's abnormality, he hasn't considered it anymore. The arrogance of genius cannot be trampled on. Uncle can tolerate, aunt cannot tolerate. Huh. He only heard the sound of breaking the wind, and Sasuke's figure rushed out instantly. I thought it would be easy to solve Shaoli by solving himself, but the result was far beyond his expectation. Because his attack never touched Shaoli, Konoha Whirlwind. And Shaoli gave a soft drink, and his backhand was a sweeping leg, but it was more powerful and faster than defeating Naruto before. Obviously a smarter move. Because Shaoli's speed was so fast, Sasuke was unavoidable, and he could only resist with his hands to prevent injuries to the facade. But his thoughts were too naive, and at the moment he resisted, Shaoli's attack had already landed on his cheek. Boom. A heavy blow directly kicked it away. Advertisement. Boom. After landing to stabilize his figure, Sasuke's eyes were filled with consternation. He didn't even know what happened, because Shaoli's speed was so fast that his naked eyes could not catch it. Sasuke. Kozakura also cried out worriedly, but Sasuke didn't pay any attention to it, his mind was only on fighting. Humph. Also, just take this opportunity to get familiar with the movement. When the words fell, Sasuke's expression was condensed. In the next second, his black pupils turned red in an instant. Seeing this scene, Shaoli, Sakura, Ningxi, Tien and others all gave a startled horror. Then, could it be, Shaolunyan? They had obviously heard about these eyes. After all, it had only been 5 or 6 years since the Uchiha clan was destroyed. At that time, they could already remember things. After opening, Shaolunyan, Sasuke can be said to be full of confidence. Without further ado, he just fisted and went up to confront Shaoli again, hoping to regain the face he had lost just now. However, the result has not changed. He never touched Shaoli, not even a sleeve. What exactly is going on? I clearly opened, right round eyes, why can't I see through your attack? Shaoli said to Sasuke's astonishment. Shaolunyan, it is true that you can see through any ninjutsu, physique, and illusion, but with your current strength, even if you see through my attack, it will not help. So, your trick doesn't work. Others did not understand what Shaoli said, but Shiu did. Sasuke's Shaolunyan has just been opened, and after this period of time, even though his eyes have reached double Buyu. But I can barely keep up with Shaoli's speed. However, what if the eyes can keep up, but the body cannot respond in time? This is the power of Baemon. Otherwise, how can you fight against those powerful geniuses if you just exercise your body? But Shiu and Kakashi's are different. Both of them are 3-hook jade, and they have reached the extreme of ordinary Shaolunyan, and can react faster. Therefore, dealing with Shaoli is nothing at all. Especially Shiu, he doesn't have the blood limitation of Cassie, and he can use Shaolunyan to the extreme. The system turned on his Shaolunyan and gave Uchiha's blood. This is the key to Toki's Shaolunyan that can be opened and closed freely. Shaoli was able to know this weakness of Shaolunyan, undoubtedly Kai Huang told him. Advertisement K and Kakashi have played countless times and have a wealth of combat experience. And while Sasuke was stunned, Shaoli was ready to use taboo moves, Biao Lianhua. Shadow Leaf Dance. Naruto and Sasuke were both surprised by this familiar scene. After seeing this trick with their own eyes, they naturally know how powerful it is. Once hit, it must be seriously injured. Sasuke obviously knew this too, so there was no coldness and confidence on that handsome face. Some are just panic. At this time, Shaoli had appeared behind Sasuke's back, the bandage in his hand had already unraveled, and was wrapped around Sasuke's body. At this very moment, Sasuke's body suddenly disappeared from his vision. This scene made Shaoli look dumbfounded. It can disappear out of thin air without any help in the air. If everyone masters this move, then all his Lianhua moves will be abolished. If so, Konoha's lotus flower will never bloom. After looking around, the final result is still within the scope of Shaoli's acceptance, because there are no moves that disappear out of thin air. Sasuke was saved by someone, and it was not someone else who saved Sasuke, it was Shiu. Now that the Central Ninja Selection Exam is coming soon, it will not be good if the bones and eyes are injured at this juncture, especially the Lianhua style, which is not going to be cured for 10.5 months without bed training. Furthermore, Sasuke is Shiyu's default little brother. And Shiu didn't stop him from where he was before, so in order to let Sasuke know that there are many people in this world who are better than him. Genius is not the strongest, only the hardworking genius is the strongest. Boom. Xiao Li fell steadily from the air, keeping his eyes on Shiyu's body. It seems that my instinct is correct, this person is really strong. It's no wonder that Xiao Li had such thoughts, because Shiyu's speed was as fast as he had, and even faster. This is indeed the case. Shiyu's body strength has reached the strength to open the domain, which is no different from Xiao Li. Even worse, because the physique given by the system is the pinnacle physique of Domain, you can enter the 6th door with just one step. But Xiao Li has just reached the physique of Domain. Therefore, it is compelling to compare. Obviously Shiu is even better. Chapter 45. At this moment, the surprise was not only Xiao Li alone. There are also Tianxian, Neji, and Sakura who are watching the battle, especially Tianxian and Neji. As Xiao Li's teammates, they know Xiao Li's strength better than anyone, and it is not an idle generation to be able to save people from him. In addition to them, there is one more person present. This person's eyebrows are more luxuriant than Xiao Li. He originally wanted to stop Xiao Li, but when he was about to speak, Shiu had already rescued him. This person is Cassis's lifelong enemy, Metke. Xiao Li stared at Shiu for a while, and finally asked, "This schoolboy, why do you want to intervene in the battle between us? I didn't just act for Sasuke, but also for your sake." Xiao Li was taken aback when he heard Shiyu's words. Seeing this, Shiu continued, "This Chunin selection exam hasn't started yet. If your skills are exposed now, it will be very detrimental to your subsequent exams. Also, it's better to use less of that taboo movement. Although it is only the most inferior secret technique, it can also cause some damage to the body if it is used frequently." Shiu is naturally referring to Beauty Lotus Flower. This move is not harmful to the human body, but there will always be some effects over time. When Shiu said this, both Xiao Li and Kai Huang were shocked. But it was Shiyu's words that made Kai certain one thing and muttered to himself. It seems that Kakashi didn't lie, this little guy. Obviously, Kakashi had already told Kai that Shiu had mastered 8-gate Dunjia. Kakashi did this for Toki's sake too. Kai is an expert in this area, and he thinks the latter can give Shiu good advice. The reason why it is said to be an expert of the level of ashes is because the process of bone fracture is indispensable in the process of practicing 8-door Dunjia. How do you know? Before Xiao Li's questioning was finished, Kai interrupted, "Li, you are really young and energetic." With the sound of this voice, everyone's attention was attracted to the past. Upon seeing this, Naruto immediately complained, "Wow. Here comes another guy with thicker eyebrows." Not only Naruto, but Sasuke and Sakura are also exceptions. Advertisement, it's really super crude. Well, the head is still a hijab. Originally, Xiao Li's thick eyebrows were enough for them to be astonished, but they didn't expect a more powerful one now. Only Tian and Ning Si looked the same, because they were used to it. Upon hearing this, Xiao Li shouted angrily at the three Naruto. "Hey, don't laugh at Teacher Akai. You shut up and challenged us inexplicably, let us spit out a few words." Naruto replied unhappy, obviously because he was killed by a spike just now. Kai didn't have the slightest interest in what they said, and waved at Li Luke, saying, "Xiao Li, come here." Oh. Xiao Li nodded and turned to look at Kai. While he was still looking dumbfounded, a big fist came towards his forehead, and at the same time it was accompanied by an angry shout. "You be asterisk 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 D." Bump. No accident. Xiao Li was directly knocked to the ground with a punch. But Xiao Li didn't complain at all about this, but his eyes were full of tears, and Kai's eyes were facing each other, and he choked silently. "Xiao Li, don't say anything. Teacher Akai." When the voice fell, the two funny comparisons hugged together under everyone's stunned eyes. In this scene, I saw Sakura and others in an instant. Especially the proud ghost Sasuke, pouting his little mouth at the moment, muttered in his heart, "How can I lose to this kind of teasing?" After the two of them hugged, after Kai instilled a statement of youth in Xiao Li, his gaze also looked at the three of Shiu. "Hey, are you Kakashi's students? Do you know him?" Naruto asked puzzledly. "Of course. We're called forever rivals." After answering Naruto's question, Kei continued, "The result of the battle between me and him was 50 wins and 49 losses. So, I am better than Kakashi." Advertisement Shiu was not surprised when he heard Kai Wang's words, but Sasuke and Naruto were taken aback. In this, Nation of Waves, mission, they have deeply realized the power of Kakashi, but the guy with thick eyebrows in front of them is even more powerful than Kakashi. Seeing Shiu, who was calm from beginning to end, Kai couldn't help muttering in his heart. "This little guy is really unusual. No wonder that Kakashi guy will look down and ask me." Kaido glanced at Shiu, then said to Sasuke, "I'm sorry just now, for the sake of my face, you shouldn't care about him, Xiao Li, in general." Hearing this, Tsunere Ghost Sasuke did not speak, but Shiu did. Teacher Akai, Sasuke, has this temper and doesn't like to communicate with others. Since he didn't refute, he just acquiesced. "Yo, you still have more appetite for me." Kai laughed and then said, "For the sake of you and me, you can come to me at any time if you don't understand anything in cultivation in the future." Then I would like to thank Mr. Kai first. Shiu clearly understood the meaning of Kai's words, otherwise, the latter would not have said such words for no reason. Well, you should submit the application form as soon as possible, otherwise it will be too late. Hearing this, Shiu also nodded, and then led Naruto and Sasuke towards the 301 classroom. At this moment, Xiao Li said again, Sasuke, I lied to you just now. Actually, I am not the strongest person in Konoha, but the strongest person may be in our group. So, prepare yourself for the exam. During the speech, Xiao Li glanced at Ningxi next to him intentionally or unintentionally, obviously trying to convey some message. However, Sasuke, who hadn't spoken for a long time, spoke at this time. That person won't be in your group. When the voice fell, Sasuke also immediately followed Shiyu's pace. At this time, Emperor Kai's 4 people, their gazes fell on one of them for a long time. This back is Shiu, because they think that the so-called person Sasuke spoke of is most likely Tokiba. Only the more enchanting genius can make a genius surrender. Chapter 46. Along the way, something strange happened. Shiu saw that some freshmen who had come to sign up were taken away by his mentor. Moreover, he still looks downcast. After Sakura reunited with her teammates, under the leadership of their mentor, she also separated from Shiu and the others. When you and the 3 came to the door of 301 classroom, Kakashi had been waiting here for a long time. Just when Sasuke and Naruto were still wondering why Kakashi appeared here, the latter suddenly said something inexplicable. Now you can officially apply to participate in the Jonin selection exam. Naruto was taken aback and asked at any time, Mr. Kakashi, what do you mean by this? Before Kakashi could answer, Shiu said, the reason is very simple, because this is a test for our freshmen. Only when the 3 of us are here together can we be eligible to participate in the Central Ninja Selection Exam. Shiu, you are as smart as ever. Kakashi gave a compliment, and then asked curiously, when did you find it? Yesterday it was just a suspicion, until now it is finally confirmed. When we came up just now, we saw that some students were taken away by their instructors with a frustrated expression. They have 2 things in common. 1, they are all freshmen. 2, their personnel are not complete. Yesterday, your teacher gave us 3 application forms, saying that we can choose whether to participate or not. This means that we don't have to coerce the team members or ask them to participate so that we can qualify. After all, the Jonin selection test is life-threatening. And we are freshmen not long after graduation. If we didn't come here by our own will, even if we arrived at the examination room, we would flee because of fear at that time, and we would lose the meaning of participating. Yesterday, I saw people from other countries who came to take the test are basically in groups of 3. The seniors who have just graduated from ninja school are no exception. So, I guess this Chin Ninja selection test should be taken in groups of 3. This is one of the reasons why after graduating from ninja school, all students are divided into groups of 3. And Mr. Kakashi, your presence here confirms this even more. Because if any of us is not present, you will prevent the rest from entering the 301 classroom. Advertisement. Shiyu's analysis made Naruto and Sasuke dumbfounded, even Kakashi was no exception. He didn't expect that Shiu could analyze it so thoroughly with a clue, as if he knew everything in advance. Kakashi, you really have a good student. At this moment, Kai who rushed to the rear looked envied. As for Tien, Xiao Li and Ningxi, they looked at Shiu with more attention. They knew that Shiyu's strength should be very strong, but they didn't expect the latter's head to be so good. Nenji, that guy is so smart, for Xiao Li's astonishment, Ningxi nodded noncommittal. Hearing the words on the side, Tianxian became even more curious about Shiu. Looking at Kai and the members of Class 9, Kakashi also said, Kei, why are you so slow? Hey, something delayed for a while. After a simple greeting between the 2, Kakashi also said to Shiu and others. The time is coming, you guys go in quickly, you too, Kai said to the 3 of Tianxian. Then the 6 people walked into the 301 classroom, watched by Kakashi and Kai. Squeak. Quang. When 301, the door of the classroom opened and closed slowly, Kei also said. Kakashi, shall we discuss something? What's up? How about surrendering your student to me? Roll. Advertisement at the same time. 301, in the classroom, Naruto, Sasuke and others were slightly surprised by the scene in front of them. Because at this time there's already a sea of people. In addition to Konoha ninjas, there are also ninjas from various countries and villages. There is no age limit for the Jonin exam, so the age of the participants is also uneven. Shiu and others are undoubtedly the youngest group. When Sakura and Ino saw Sasuke appearing, they immediately rushed over. Sasuke, we haven't seen each other for so long, do you miss me? After hearing Ino's words, Sakura hurriedly drank. Smelly Ino, take your hand away. Hinata, who was standing next to Shino Kazuto, was also happy to see Tokiha and Naruto. But just watching it quietly, I didn't dare to be as bold as Sakura and Ino. Shiu, you guys are here too. Shikaru, who came up, greeted Shiu and the others. After all, they were graduates of the same class. At this point, Konoha's 12 Shaoqiangs have all gathered. It seems that we are the only freshmen taking part in the Zhongren selection examination this year. I don't know how far we can go. Hearing Shikamaru's words, y'all immediately said, we haven't worked hard, so don't lose to us when that happens. Less long-winded, we will never lose to you. After hearing Naruto's words, Hinata finally spoke. Naruto. Naruto, yeah, he didn't mean that. After Hinata's voice fell, a voice suddenly came from behind, a voice that did not belong to any of their new students. I said you guys, it's better to be quiet. After hearing the words, everyone looked forward to the prestige, and what entered their field of vision was a white-haired young man with round frame glasses. Shiu was not surprised to see this person, because the latter approached them on purpose. This person was the right-hand man of the Orochimaru and one of the leading figures in the Fourth Ninja War in the future. Little Prince of Intelligence, Pharmacist Pocket, Chapter 47. You are the freshman who just graduated from ninja school this year, right? Sasuke and the others were also a little bit astonished by the sudden insertion of the pocket. They didn't know what the senior man meant. Who are you? Ino asked first. However, before Dudu could answer, Shiu was the first to say. His name is Yakashidu. He is a candidate who has failed the Central Ninja exam 6 times. He belongs to the kind of spicy chicken. When Shiu said this, everyone was astonished. Not 6 times. That's really spicy. I haven't passed the graduation exam, only 3 times. After hearing Naruto's words, Sakura also said slightly, Naruto, how can this Chunin test compare with graduation test? Everyone who heard the words nodded. The difficulty of the two is indeed not the same level. The words were so right, but they didn't expect Shiu to be so domineering and expose others' shortcomings in person. The reason why Shiu did this was obviously intentional. Though this guy obviously has the strength of Shinobu, but he wants to pretend to be a grandson and wants to get Oscar. Therefore, it is natural to get him a good deal, and the most surprised was Do himself. He didn't expect Shiu to know his identity. But Do was not angry, or could not be angry, still looking easygoing. He smiled and said, this schoolboy, can't you save me some face? Sorry, I generally don't give spicy chicken face. Hearing the words, he was completely stunned. On the surface, he didn't seem to have much disturbance, but he was unhappy in his heart. Because he has always been in control of everything with a clear-cut look. But at the moment it is deflated. Seeing this, Sakura asked, I don't know what Do Senior has asked us for, in order to step down a step. It's the first time I saw you have participated in the Central Ninja Selection Exam. As a senior, I need to remind you. This Shin Shinobi Selection Exam is not as simple as you think. Do's tone was very affirmative, and wanted everyone to think that he hadn't been 6 times because he was too spicy. Seeing that everyone had begun to pay attention to what he said, Do took out a bunch of cards. This is Ninja Card. It records all the information of Jongjin Selection Examination, including participating countries, villages, number of people and personal information, etc. If you are interested, I can share the collected information with you. After hearing this, Sasuke and others were undoubtedly interested. Advertisement, however, before everyone could ask questions, Shiu dismantled the platform and said, no, I know all this information. Everyone wants to know anything, just ask me. Senior Do has not passed the exam 6 times. If this causes him to fail this time, I think everyone will be upset. Hearing Shiyu's words, everyone was taken aback. After thinking about it, they nodded one after another, all feeling that Shiyu's words were not unreasonable. Shiu was right. Senior Do, you still don't share it with us. Shikamaru, Sakura and others also agreed, and then their eyes fell on Toki. When Shiu said something, there was no chance for him to even pretend to be forced. As the saying goes, pretend to be forced by others, so that others can't be forced to pretend. This result made my face feel dumbfounded, at the same time. Naruto asked confirmingly, Shiu, you really know what Mr. Do said just now? That's natural. After getting confirmation from Shiu's confident mind, Do questioned, this schoolboy, then do you know how many Shinobu village participated this time? How many people took the exam? As far as I know, there are a total of 6 Shinobu villages including Konoha who participated in the Shin Ninja Selection Exam, this time. Among them, 72 Konoha ninjas. There are 30 people in Sand Ninja, 21 in Rain, 15 in Kushinen, 12 in Takainen, and 3 in Atonin, for a total of 153 people. Is it right? After Shiyufan spoke out the information exactly, Duo was taken aback. Sasuke, Sakura and others were also shocked when they heard this. Shiu, do you know his, Li Luke, information? During the speech, Sasuke pointed to Li Luke beside him, obviously unwilling to lose in the battle just now. He wants to know more about the latter, hoping to find a way to defeat the latter. Hearing this, Shiu looked at Xiao Li and said slowly. Li Luke, 13 years old, graduated 1 term earlier than us. I have performed D-level missions 20 times and C-level missions 11 times. The instructor is a Kai. He has greatly improved in physical skills this year, but he is weak in other aspects. Last year, when he was a rookie, he already showed great strength, but his mentor told him to be steady and not to rush for quick success. So I didn't participate in the last Central Ninja exam. Advertisement, this time, like us, it is the first time to take the exam. His teammates are Neji Hyuga and Tianshin. The 3 of them formed the 9th class. When Shiyu's words fell, it could be described as a thunderstorm on the ground, which stunned everyone. Especially Xiao Li himself, because everything is the same as Shiu said. Moreover, even he himself had forgotten how many missions he had performed, but the latter knew exactly what he had done. Seeing that Shiu is so powerful, Naruto also hurriedly asked, Shiu, where is the guy carrying the gourd over there? Obviously, he was very angry about being ignored by Gaara yesterday. He called me Gaara, Sand Ninja, the country of wind, known as Sand Waterfall I Gaara. Performed C-level missions 8 times and B-level missions once, and never had any damage in the mission. To be honest, his strength has already reached the level of Zongren. The two who participated in the Central Ninja examination, with him this time are his brothers, sister Temari, brother Konkuro, and all 3 are heirs of the 4 generations of Hokage in the country of wind. As Shiu made all Gaara's message clear, everyone had no doubt about Shiu's words. It is not difficult to know the information of Konoha ninjas, but it is as difficult to know the information of ninjas from other countries. But Shiu still knew it well. Even the pockets on this side are ashamed of this, because the information he has is far less detailed than Shiu. This made him feel a deep sense of frustration. He forced others to pretend, and he pretended to be bigger and bigger than him. Because of this, Shiu has already been included in his own notebook. It's just that he didn't think about why a person like Shiu was so powerful, but he didn't know it before, as if he appeared out of thin air. At this moment, Shikamaru, Shino, Ino and others looked at Toki's eyes with a slight change. Because for the first time they knew that Shiu had such an ability. Looking at Shiu in front of him, Ino couldn't help but murmur in his heart. Unfortunately, it's just soft power. If I have Sasuke's hard power, I don't have to fight with Sakura. Ino and Sakura were originally the 2 best friends of Xiaowu, but because of the appearance of Sasuke, the 2 began to compete and become jealous. At this moment, even Sakura's face was strange, and Hinata continued as usual, supporting Shiu in secret, just like supporting Naruto. She has a special affection for them. As for Tien, he couldn't help showing a hint of interest in Shi Hanyu. There is no doubt. Under the aura of Shiu, a traverser, the title of the Little Prince of Intelligence was obviously about to change hands. Chapter 48. After telling everyone what they want to know, Shiu also summed it up. In short, judging from the information I have, there are many more powerful people participating in Zhongren this year than in previous sessions. Therefore, the difficulty of promotion to Zhongnin has also been upgraded. Hearing Shiha's words, Shikamaru, Sasuke and others nodded thoughtfully, their expressions a little dignified. Have a new understanding of the degree of difficulty of this Central Ninja exam. For Shiu, the task of completing the system is the top priority. Therefore, it does not prevent Gaara's successful tailbeastization. As for the others, it depends on the mood. When Naruto, the second dumbfounded, heard that there were so many strong people on the scene, he suddenly yelled out of the pressure in his heart. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, I won't lose to you. After shouting, Naruto finally released the pressure in his heart completely, but in exchange it was the hostility of everyone present. In response, Naruto was immediately bombarded by Ino and Sakura. Naruto, are you an idiot, you fool, isn't this making us enemies? As predicted, Naruto's declaration attracted some irritable guys, among which the Atonin trio was the most. Because the goal of their trip is to kill Sasuke. Therefore, it is natural to be hostile to Naruto in the same group. Atonin trio, Toss Anvil, Sack Stirrup, and Chin Maul. Especially the Toss Anvil, which is known as the 6 Dao Toss in the Naruto mobile games. They were the target of Shiyu's second mission, and the strength of the 3 of them could be regarded as the top performers. After all, it was cultivated by Dashawan firsthand, and it was still a bit strong. But in the eyes of Shiu today, it is no longer worth mentioning. Not to mention that Shiu has mastered the 3 types of bloodstain limits, and the 2 powers of tail beasts, but 8 Door Dunjia can easily solve them. Not to mention, Shiu also has Shuolunyan and Flying Thunder God's art, too. Taking 10,000 steps back, even if Shiu didn't use these abilities, he could defeat him with the blessing of his 1,000 times talent and 1,000 times chakra. After the 3 of them stared at Naruto for a while, Toss, the leader of them, said, Sack, how about going to play with him? Okay, let's add some more information about Yin Village to them. Advertisement, just be cruel. A second after the voice fell, the 2 figures disappeared in place at the same time, and only the girl, Chin Maul, did not make a move. Huh. Everyone could only see 2 shadows moving through the crowd. In the next second, their figures appeared in front of Naruto. 2 people blocked Naruto's retreat from 2 directions. Because Naruto's left and back are Shiba and others, just when the inevitable Naruto was preparing to resist. A weird scene appeared. At this moment, the bodies of the 3 people froze in the air, as if they were caught by an invisible big hand, unable to touch the ground. This weird scene undoubtedly attracted the attention of all the people present, and everyone thought these 2 people had some stunts. Even their partner, Jin Hammer, looked confused, because as far as she knew, the 2 did not possess this ability. But who would have thought that at this moment, Toss and Sack were aggrieved in their hearts? Because this was not their stunt at all, but was controlled by others, as if they were hung by something. Immediately afterwards, when the 2 of them were still dumbfounded, they slammed heavily on the floor under everyone's stunned eyes. Boom. At that time, the 2 previously inextricable ones were lying in front of Naruto like 2 dead dogs. This scene is undoubtedly amazing to everyone. Just when everyone thought that all of this was done by Naruto, with a bang, a cloud of smoke suddenly appeared in the classroom. Then there was a voice that instantly attracted everyone's attention to the past. You bastards, be quiet. Everyone who heard the words looked at one after another, and a group of people appeared in the place where the smoke dissipated. Gangsiti, and Shenyue Izumo, were impressively included, but at this time, one of them was standing in front of them. It's not crude and surprising, the status of this person should be higher than the two of them. And the latter is the chief examiner of the first exam selected by Nakanobu. Konoha is especially ninja, Morino Ibiki. With his appearance, it undoubtedly means that the Central Ninja Selection Exam has just kicked off. The first sentence Ibis appeared was extremely overbearing, which fully demonstrated the majesty of the chief examiner. You guys from Yin Yin Village, it's better for me to converge. Otherwise, cancel your qualifications for the exam. Advertisement. After screaming at the two of Toss, Ibizi's eyes swept towards everyone, and the cold voice sounded again. Just take this opportunity, let me talk about the rules. Without the permission of the invigilator, private fights between the candidates are prohibited, and even with the permission of the invigilator, no killer is allowed. If there is any violation, the qualification for the exam will be cancelled immediately. As Ibizi's voice fell, the classroom fell into silence, because everyone thought that the strange scene just now was the latter. However, except for two of them, the first one is Pocket. Because as far as he knew, Ibis was good at mental torture and did not master this strange ability. But even if he had doubts, Do couldn't find the person who shot him in the first place, because the previous chakra disappeared too quickly. Moreover, quite weak. If it weren't for his possessing the strength of Shangnin, coupled with the dormant work of spying all the year round, it would be impossible to notice it. The second one is Sasuke, because this scene seems familiar. Sasuke couldn't help but fall on Tosuke when he saw the iron protective gear installed on Toss and Zack again. Regarding this, his heart was already certain, and the facts were indeed as Sasuke thought. It was Shiu who made the shot. Both Toss and Zack were hit by Shiu's own secret technique, open black lens bracket magnetic escape latte close black lens bracket. There are only two ways to prevent this trick. First, remove the iron products from your body. Second, use chakras to cover iron products in advance to prevent them from being interfered by magnetic force. However, this second method will continue to consume chakra. Otherwise, once you relax your vigilance, you will be hit. In fact, Toss and Zack are not weak, but Shiu is too strong, and the shot is extremely difficult to prevent. Bloodstain limit. If the Jin Mall was also shot just now, perhaps this task of the system has been completed. However, Shiu was not in a hurry. Anyway, when it comes to the second exam, they will come automatically. Because the purpose of their trip is not to come to the exam, but to assassinate Sasuke. By then, Shiu can play with them. Seeing such a quiet atmosphere, Ibiza nodded in satisfaction, and announced immediately. Then, now we will start the first session of Shin Shinobi Selection Exam. Written Test. Chapter 49, 301, in the classroom, Ibis's voice sounded one after another. Now submit your application form, in order, and then randomly pick up a number and sit in the corresponding position. Someone will send the written test papers to you later. Others are not too worried about the written test session, except for one person. That is Naruto, because this is what he is least good at. How to do. Seeing Naruto's panic, Shiu also stepped forward and said, Naruto, don't panic, isn't I here? Shiu, do you have any way? Certainly. After getting Shiu's confirmation, Naruto also hurriedly asked. Then you say it, it's our turn to hand in the form immediately. In a word, do you believe me or not? Of course I believe you. Well, Shiu replied, and then said, no matter what the examiner says later, don't panic, don't have any psychological pressure. You only need to insist on completing the exam without saying a word. I guarantee you can pass this link smoothly. What about the test paper? Just hand in a blank paper. White scroll. Naruto let out a startled voice, and his face was full of doubts. Even Sasuke, who was on the side, had doubts in his heart. It was not that he didn't believe in Shiu, it was just that it was ridiculous. A written test session. You told me that you can pass a blank paper. Isn't this, pull the Arhu in the crotch, pure bullshit? Since you choose to believe me, don't have any doubts. As for the reason, I don't have time to elaborate now. I will explain it to you after the exam is over. After hearing this, Naruto nodded heavily, and then the three of them also stepped forward and submitted the application form. Immediately afterwards, advertisement. The three Shiu were all assigned to different areas. This was obviously prepared in advance, and everyone's team was taken apart to prevent cheating. What made Shiu a little surprised was that his position was a place where yin and yang were declining. Because his front, back, left, and right, and all sides are actually girls. In front of him is a Tonin, Jin Mall, and the two front left and right front are female ninjas from Uin Village and Takin Village. Hinata on the left, Tianshin on the right, Sakura is on the left, Temari is on the back, and Ino is on the right. It is also because of this that this position has attracted the attention of countless people, and some boys are extremely coveted. But in the end it fell into Shiu's hands. Not to mention anything else, the moment Yu sat down, I didn't know how many jealous glances he drew. Seeing Shiu, Hinata, Sakura and others greeted each other. Even the Temari in the rear is no exception, because yesterday Shiu left a deep impression on her. Oh, it's you, it seems we are destined. When he heard Temari, Shiu also said, since it is so predestined, then I kindly remind you. Don't deal with a Tonin. Hearing this, Temari was taken aback for a moment, and there was no ridicule on his face. Asked immediately, what do you mean by this? Simply say this, nothing else can be said. This reminder was Shiyu's response in response to the latter's intention to greet him with no malice. Otherwise, he wouldn't bother to intervene in this unprofitable thing. After seeing the two of them talked, Ino was also curious. Shiu, how do you know her? It's not an acquaintance, it's just a fate. After a few brief conversations with a few women, Ibis's voice also rang again. Everyone, now I announce a few rules about this exam. 1. Each candidate has 10 points at the beginning. There are 10 questions in this written test, with a total of 10 points. 1 correct answer will get 1 point, 1 wrong answer will deduct 1 point, and the deduction system will be implemented. 2. The test is based on a group of 3, which is based on the team when you sign up. The judgment is based on the total score of the 3 members, 30 points in total. Advertisement. 3. If improper behavior is found in this exam, such as cheating, or if it is determined to be cheating, 2 points will be deducted at a time. 4. After the exam is over, the person who is deducted or scored 0 points for cheating, then all the members of his group will lose the qualification for the exam. After announcing the relevant regulations of the examination, Ibis also ordered people to distribute the test papers. After everyone got the test papers, Ibizi's voice sounded again. The exam is 1 hour long. Now, the exam begins. After Ibizi's voice fell, everyone's eyes immediately fell on the test paper. But the next second, almost everyone is dumbfounded because they don't know the topics on this test paper at all. Of course, there may be a few geniuses with theoretical knowledge that can do it, but that's all. 99% are destined to be eliminated. Unless the entire team is a genius of theoretical knowledge, all members can pass, but this is obviously unrealistic. Once one person is eliminated, it means that the entire group is eliminated. Therefore, such exam questions are undoubtedly forcing them to cheat. Otherwise, everyone here will probably be eliminated. After a short period of thinking, anyone who is not too stupid already understands the meaning of this written test, which is to test how ninja can successfully collect intelligence without being discovered. And this information is the answer to the test questions in this exam. Ibizi has arranged 2 candidates who know the answer in the examination room in advance, and all they have to do is to get the answer without being discovered by the invigilator. As a result, the candidates in the classroom began to show their magical powers. 1. Sasuke uses writing round eyes. Just copy the movements of other people's hands. 2. Ning-Si uses open black lens bracket white eyes close black lens bracket to see through directly. 3. The most showy is a tonin, toss, listening to the voice will know what others have written. 4. Gaara made a third eye out of sand. 5. Shino uses insects. 6. Ino uses the heart-turning technique. 7. Chapter 50. Some have their own magical powers, and some are more pragmatic. It's like Sakura, Hinata and others. Sakura has no means of cheating, but she is a master of theoretical knowledge and can barely answer. Although Hinata has white eyes, she is useless because her theoretical knowledge is not bad, and it seems that female ninjas are better at answering questions. Of course, there are exceptions, such as Temari and Ino sitting directly behind Takiwa. They are both helpless. However, Ino doesn't matter. Her heart-turning technique can be said to be the strongest cheating method. Even Shikamaru and Dingxiai rely on her. As for Tianshan, her methods are not bad. Use the sight glass in the center of the classroom ceiling to take a peek, but I don't know where she has such good eyesight. However, compared with that Atonin, toss, listening to the voice can hear what other people wrote, this is considered a pediatrics. But cheating always comes with risks. Therefore, with the passage of time, many people have been deducted and eliminated because of the cheating method. 1 is eliminated, 3 are eliminated. For this reason, the number of eliminated candidates is also increasing rapidly. However, under this pressure, there are still many people in the examination room who have not answered a question because they neither know how to do it, nor do they have clever means of cheating. But no one is as confident as Shiu. From beginning to end, just sit in the position and close your eyes and rest. This scene naturally attracted the attention of Hinata, Tianshan and others, which made them very puzzled. Seeing this, Hinata on the left finally couldn't help but worry. Shiu, can you show my answer? No, I can do the 10th question. Shiu is not blindly confident, because this question 10 is very special. Moreover, he also knows how to deal with this exam. Question 10. 45 minutes after the start of the exam, the invigilator will give the title of this question. Please answer it after you fully understand it. Close black lens bracket. Hearing the words on the left, Tianshan asked curiously, Shiu, are you so sure that you can answer the 10th question correctly? According to normal logic, the last question is undoubtedly the most difficult one. Since the first 9 questions are not good enough, why are you full of confidence in the last question? Is it possible that the invigilator for this question is your relative? Yes. Advertisement Kozakura echoed, and then said, furthermore, even if you get the 10th question correctly, you only get 1 point. This will lower your group's score, and the 3 of you are likely to be eliminated. For the kindness of the women, Shiu said something inexplicable. The answer to the previous 9 questions is of no avail. Hearing Shiu's answer, the attention of Temari and Ino in the back was also attracted. Ino was stunned for a while, and asked curiously, Shiu, do you know what? If you believe me, don't bother about it later. Keep silent until the exam is over. I promise you will pass the exam. After the voice fell, Shiu stopped talking, and Shiu's confident words made the women extremely puzzled, and they couldn't help but murmur in their hearts. Hinata didn't speak. She believed Shiu. Although Sakura, Tianqian, and Ino had doubts in their hearts, they did not regard Shiu as fools, because Shiu had just won the title of Little Prince of Intelligence. Therefore, they have reason to believe in Shiu. Seeing that Shiu was so confident, they were too embarrassed to say anything. Anyway, the latter's failure to pass would not affect their group. But Temari is different. In her opinion, Shiu is arrogant, self-deceiving, and she has already learned this yesterday. And this approach of Shiu also attracted the attention of examiner Ibiki. Because none of the candidates in the examination room with a blank test paper were as calm as him, that confident look seemed to have passed this link. In his opinion, Shiu probably mastered some superb cheating methods, such as copying all the spells after others had done it. Because of this, he paid more attention to Shiu. Boy, I'm curious, what exactly do you have? Soon after Ibiki's chant fell, the exam time had reached 45 minutes. And at this time, almost all those who can stay in the classroom have great means. Because they have already got the answers they want, but only 2 of them have blank test papers. One is Shiu, and the other is Naruto. Shiu was calm and composed from beginning to end, but there was still a trace of worry on Naruto's face. It's ridiculous that you can pass this by handing in a blank paper. Even if he believes in Shiu extremely, there will inevitably be a trace of worry in his heart before final confirmation. This is human nature. Advertisement, but Shiu is different. He already knew the result, so he didn't panic at all. At the same time, Ibiki's voice also sounded slowly. Time is up, now we will announce the 10th question. Hearing this, some of the examinees raised their spirits, because they were waiting for this question with a fluke. There are only a few lines on the test paper without cheating, and they don't know whether they answered right or wrong, so they can only pin all their hopes on this question 10. For question 10, I have to add a few rules now. First, tell me your choice. Question 10, are you taking the test, or not taking the test? If you choose, don't take the test, the first 9 questions will be invalidated, and the result will be 0 points. The consequences I have said before, that is, you and your group members will all lose the qualification for the test. If you choose exam, if you do not answer correctly, then you and the group members you are in will lose the qualification for Central Ninja Exam, forever. Ibiki's perverted regulations naturally aroused the dissatisfaction of everyone, and Ya was the first to stand up. What kind of shit rule is this? Isn't there anyone here who has taken the Central Ninja Exam more than once? Everyone agreed with Ya's righteous indignation. However, Ibiki was unmoved, like a cold-blooded animal. He. Then I can only blame you for bad luck. This year's regulations are up to me. Therefore, people with low confidence should choose not to take the test, as well, and just give up, so that they can take the test again in the future. With Ibiki's words falling, almost all the candidates were full of anger, and the atmosphere in the classroom was depressed to the extreme. Because choosing test is too expensive, Ibiki had obviously driven them to a desperate situation, and only left them a way to survive. That is to choose, not take the test, and give up on their own initiative. They can still come back in the next session. Otherwise, who can guarantee that all 3 in the group can answer correctly? This pressure is undoubtedly huge to herd teammates. Undoubtedly, this is Ibis testing a ninja's mental quality and spiritual endurance. At the same time, it is also testing how they should choose when facing difficulties. Chapter 51. When the atmosphere in the classroom was suppressed to a peak, Ibiki's voice also rang again. Not taking the test, raise your hand for a sign. You can leave after registering the number. Soon after Ibiki's voice fell, someone finally couldn't bear the pressure and raised his hand tremblingly. I won't take the exam. Someone expresses their opinions and others follow suit, because they also have no confidence in themselves or their teammates. I give up. I won't take the exam anymore. Immediately afterwards, the examinees in the classroom left one by one, and in less than a moment, dozens of people had already left. This shows the professionalism of Ibiki, worthy of being a tortured mental torturer. After the atmosphere was silent for a while, another person raised his hand. But this identity surprised Sasuke and others, because it was not someone else who raised his hand, but Naruto. Just when everyone thought Naruto was about to give up, he saw his big hand instantly fall on the tabletop. Snapped. A crisp voice resounded in the classroom, accompanied by a voice that resembled a hongzong. Don't look down on people, I won't back down. Naruto's words attacked the hearts of all the candidates present, and regained the self-confidence of those candidates who were prepared to give up. Let them understand why they want to take this exam, meaning. Yes, I am not afraid, I want to take the test. Me too, even if I can only be forbearance in this life, I can go against my heart. Because of this, no one raised their hands after that. And everyone obviously took the credit to Naruto, but no one thought of the confidence that Shiu gave Naruto. Of course, except Sasuke, because Shiu told Naruto before the exam, no matter what the chief examiner said, there should be no psychological pressure. As long as you persist until the end of the exam, you can pass. And what Ibiki said just now undoubtedly verified Shiu's previous explanation, which made Naruto completely believe in Shiu. As for why he would say such bold words, he was obviously afraid that Sakura and others would not be able to bear the pressure and gave up. Therefore, he chose to stand up. Ibiki saw this scene, although his complexion did not change much, but his heart was quite upset. He didn't expect that such an alien would appear at this critical time. Staring at Naruto, a cold voice slowly spit out from his mouth. I'll give you another chance. Advertisement. This decision is about your life, you still have time to regret it now. No need. Naruto directly refused, and then pretended to be full of confidence. Follow my heart, this is my forbearance. Ibis was also startled when he heard that. He really couldn't understand why Naruto was so confident. Is this his own inner instinct, or who gave him the confidence? Actually, there are both, but without Shiyu's words, he would not have been so confident, nor would he have survived until now without any sign of collapse. Ibiki looked at all the candidates in the classroom, and saw that everyone's faces no longer had the previous mental burden. In this regard, he knew it would be of no avail to wait any longer. It just made him wonder why Shiu, who was paying attention to him earlier, was still so calm at this time. From beginning to end, he didn't see Shiu writing. Has he already finished answering? Staring at Shiu for a while, Ibis could only think of this. He was very curious about what method Shiu used to complete the test questions without using a pen. This method is unique to the entire classroom, because even those who don't know how to do it, they will symbolically think about it with a pen. Moreover, you have to write a pen when you cheat and fill in the answer at the end. But Shiu did not from beginning to end. This is why Ibis pays more attention to Shiu. After thinking to no avail, Ibis didn't bother but praised Naruto. Very wise decision. As the voice fell, Ibiki's eyes scanned the audience, and the high-pitched voice slowly sounded. So everyone here, I announce your first exam, all passed. As soon as this remark came out, the audience was astonished. What? Passed? What the hell is going on? You ask me? Who am I asking? At this moment, everyone looked dumbfounded. Compared with this result, Naruto, Sakura, Hinata and others were even more shocked. At this time, their eyes all focused on Shiu. They really can't figure out how the latter knew how to pass this examination. Moreover, it is so sure. Seeing confusion in the classroom, Ibis also smiled and explained. Everyone, there is no question 10 at all. If you insist, then the second choice just now is the 10th question. After hearing this explanation, advertisement dissatisfaction appeared on everyone's faces, and Sakura, Tianshin and others sitting next to Toki were even more shocked. Because this answer coincides with Shiyu's previous inexplicable remark, the previous 9 questions are not helpful. Temari, who had a bit of a grumpy temper, was the first to ask questions. Ibiki examiner. According to you, the 9 previous exam questions are not the same as the test for nothing? It's no wonder that Temari society is so angry, but it took 9 years for her to get the answer. But now others tell her that the final result has nothing to do with it. Can this not make her angry? That's not all. The first 9 questions are to examine your intelligence gathering ability. As an excellent ninja, this ability is indispensable. Because intelligence is sometimes more important than life, it may be a key factor in determining the victory or defeat of a war. So, when you are caught by the enemy or other competitors, if you have a strong psychological quality and mental endurance, then it is not necessarily true that they get information. Ibiki took off her headscarf during the words. There was not a single hair on the top of her head, but only countless scars with shocking scabs. Immediately afterwards, Ibis gave a brief explanation of his purpose for the 78 people who passed this examination. In a word, this assessment is psychological endurance. This is the top priority of becoming a ninja, because the road of the ninja is cruel, it is to face death, and they will face this problem in the next exam. So, if you can't even pass the first level, what qualifications do you have to face the life and death test of the second level? In the end, Ibiki concluded. So, this, I would rather die than surrender, is the true meaning of question 10. It is also the purpose of this exam. After hearing Ibiki's words, everyone suddenly realized. I feel that this exam is necessary. I would rather die than surrender, as one of the prerequisites for becoming a qualified ninja. Congratulations on passing my level, please do your best for the next exam. 1 second after Ibis's voice fell, the glass in the classroom suddenly broke. Boom! Everyone vaguely saw a figure shooting from the outside, the speed was beyond their imagination. Immediately afterwards, a beautiful purple-haired beauty with a Konoha ninja's forehead guard was greeted by everyone, and a banner was hung behind the female ninja. It says, the second examiner, Midoriya Adzuki Beans, C. Thank you, Changshu, Lao Tai for your reward chapter 52. Midoriya Red Bean, one of the beautiful ninjas of Konoha Hidden Village. One of the 3 ninjas, Orochimaru, disciple, has a bold personality, and belongs to the special ninja, just like Mori Milk Ibis. The way the Red Bean appeared on the stage made Ibis a bit ashamed, not to mention Sasuke and others. Everyone, it's too early to be happy now. I am the chief examiner of the second game, Midoriya Adzuki Beans. The next test is waiting for you. This is the first sentence of Hongdu's debut. It sounds domineering, but in fact it is like a secondary disease. This image fell in the eyes of Sakura, Ino and others, and a figure subconsciously appeared in their minds. That is, Naruto. I have to say that the 2 people are quite similar in character. While everyone was still thinking about what the second exam would be, Hongdu frowned slightly and looked at Ibiki beside her. Ibiki, why are there 26 teams left? Your exam is too easy. It's no wonder that Red Bean is so surprised, because last year's first exam basically wiped out 2/3. But there is still half of this year, 153 people, 75 people were eliminated, and 78 people remained. Ibiki was shocked, and said helplessly, this year's candidates are relatively strong. No way, he can't say that it was caused by Naruto, this kid, that would make him very shameless. Huh, alright. Look at me, I will cut the number of people to less than half in the second exam. Hearing Hongdu's words, most of the 78 people present were panicked. They are obviously not confident in their own strength. Immediately afterwards, Hongdu continued. The content of the second test will not be announced until tomorrow when we arrive at the designated place. Please ask your Shangren teacher for the time and place of the assembly. Now, all disband. As Hongdu's voice fell, the students in the classroom also left one after another, leaving only Ibiki, the chief examiner, to clean up the papers. However, advertisement when he received Shiyu's paper, he was stunned immediately, with a touch of consternation leaking out of his eyes. The test paper is blank. There is no name written on it, only a line of words. Teacher Ibiki, why keep staring at me during the exam? Am I so good? Close black lens bracket. After looking at this line of words, Ibiki was stunned for a long time before coming back to his senses, and a smile appeared on that expressionless face. This kid is funny. This was the first time he saw a person who was so arrogant when he handed in a blank paper, but he was not angry because of it. On the contrary, I like Shiu more and more, because it was not what he expected. Shiu should have seen his purpose early in the morning. Otherwise, it is impossible to be so confident. Ibis was very curious about how Shiu knew what he thought, and he wanted to see Shiu in person. What special ninjutsu does Shiu possess, or does he have any other special talents? However, Ibis saw another, blank paper, when he was packing up other test papers. Naruto Uzumaki, isn't this the kid just now? Is this a coincidence? Or, at this time, Ibis was questioned, because Naruto felt too confident for him, just like Shiu. Is it impossible? Suddenly I thought of a possible Ibis, and directly checked the application form. Originally he wanted to know Shiyu's name and it would take a lot of trouble, but now he doesn't need it. Sure enough. Things were the same as he thought. It was not a coincidence that two blank scrolls appeared, and Naruto's self-confidence was not for no reason. All this is because of a person named Takikawa Tokiha. Obviously, Ibis found Naruto from the application form, and thus Shiu. However, Ibis was shocked. There was also a line on the back of this application form, which read, Advertisement, Teacher Ibis, it looks like you have found me, close black lens bracket. When I saw this line of words, Ibis was shocked. Shiu knew that Ibiki would think of this in his mind, and went to look through his application form, so he wrote this line in advance. Hi, what a terrible kid. If he was just astonished before, then he was already shocked now. He has evaluated how many students he has, but he has never seen a person who is so smart and bold as Shiu. Moreover, he is still a freshman who has just graduated a month. A Kakashi student? It seems I have to make time to talk to him. At the same time, after leaving the classroom, Naruto could not help but curiosity in his heart. He wanted to know how Shiu knew that he could pass the first exam by handing in a blank paper. Not only Naruto, but also Sasuke, Sakura, Tianshin and others. Although Temari also wants to know, but because of yesterday's incident, Gaara and Shiu still have a rift. So, she didn't dare to get too close with Shiu and others, because she was afraid to upset her brother, so she could only leave with Gaara and the others. However, when she told me about it, Gaara and Konkuro, they were also greatly shocked. Temari, do you know his name? Obviously because of Shiu's arrogance yesterday, I remembered Gaara. Have no idea, Temari, you don't know how to read his test paper, Konkuro said silently. He didn't even write his name what I think, and he seems to know that he can pass without answering questions. When Temari said this, Gaara and Konkuro were surprised again. After a stunned moment, Gaara looked at the direction where Shiu and his party disappeared, and a word was slowly spit out from his mouth. Interesting. I hope you won't let me down. Chapter 53. At this time, Shiba was surrounded by Naruto, Sakura, Shikamaru and others, and they couldn't wait to know the answer. Shiu, do you know the test questions in advance? Naruto asked first. Of course not. That's how do you know how to pass the exam, Sakura said. It's easy. Shiu replied and said succinctly. According to the information I have collected, Ibis is an expert who is good at mental torture and can create various psychological pressures. First of all, it is obviously not simple to have an expert-level person who is mentally tortured serve as the chief examiner of the first exam. Secondly, the theoretical knowledge test can never be a decisive factor in whether a Sha Ren can become Zhang Ren, because some people in our village also have poor theoretical knowledge or general Zhang Ren and Shang Ren tolerate close black lens bracket. So, as long as it is a normal written test, even hand in a blank paper is absolutely impossible to be eliminated. At most it will lower the total score. Finally, what is the most serious problem for Central Ninja Exam? For candidates, it is nothing more than death threat. Combining the above 3 points, coupled with the fact that teacher Ibiki has been constantly exerting mental pressure on us at the beginning of the test, we can be completely sure that the purpose of this test is not pure. Finally, teacher Ibis also said it himself. What this exam examines is whether a candidate's psychological quality is excellent. Can he withstand the pressure of a difficult time? Can he face up to difficulties? Shiyu's words finally solved everyone's doubts, but they would never think that this was just what Shiu was doing casually for the sake of sophistry. However, there is still some truth to what I said, and even Shikamaru, an IQ genius, nodded involuntarily. After a brief thought, Sasuke was a little puzzled. Shiu, but you told Naruto, hand in blank paper, before the exam started? Before Shiu could answer, Shikaru was the first to speak. It's not easy, Shiu said so in order to prevent Naruto from being stressed, because no matter whether this exam is normal or not, as long as hand in a blank paper can pass. Hearing this explanation, everyone nodded. However, their gazes at Shiu had changed a lot at this time, and they felt a sense of admiration in their hearts. Who can think of an exam that can be passed by handing in a blank paper? Only after everyone knew the truth did they disperse. And Shiu and the three of them also went to Kakashi to ask about the specific time and place of tomorrow's exam. The second day. When the Yu and the three arrived at the location of the second exam hall, the candidates who passed the first exam yesterday also showed up one after another. Advertisement, second examination hall, is a forest surrounded by a 10-meter high iron net, surrounded by dozens of identical entrances, except for the number. This is Konoha's 44th practice range, which also has a scary name. It's called Dead Forest. This forest gives people a gloomy feeling, and I don't know how many dead bones are buried in it. This place is allowed to kill in open black lens bracket central ninja examination close black lens bracket. To become a Zhang Ren, you have to pass the experience of death. Looking at the forest in front of him, Hinata couldn't help but slap a sharp spirit, muttering in his mouth. It feels so scary here. This feeling is not only for girls like Hinata and Sakura, but also for boys like Shikamaru and Dingji. And Hongdu seemed to see the fear of everyone and said with a smile. Hee. You will soon know why this place is called Dead Forest. Hearing the words of Red Bean, Naruto, Erlangsi, was the first to stand up. Come. Stop scaring people. I'm not afraid. Yo, are you motivated? Hongdu responded, throwing a shuriken and then disappeared in place. Huh. When Idzuki dashed behind Naruto, he didn't have the next move, on the contrary, he froze in place. Not only her, but everyone present was dumbfounded. Because the shuriken that was supposed to pass through Naruto's cheeks was firmly clasped by a big hand. Although the red bean appeared behind Naruto at this time, there was still a figure sandwiched between the two of them. At this moment, the red bean is facing the latter's eyes. The distance between the two seems to be less than 1 millimeter, and both can smell each other's breath. Teacher Hongdu, I admit that I am handsome, but you can't stare at me like this, right? After hearing this, the red bean finally came back to his senses, his pre-face blushed, and immediately distanced himself from Shiu. Obviously, this result completely exceeded her expectations. She originally wanted Naruto to know what it was like to bleed, so that the latter knew that the so-called Death Forest was not a joke. Advertisement, but she never imagined that Shiu, who was Shimonen, would appear behind Naruto in advance. Was this coincidence or deliberate? If it's a coincidence, it's okay, but if it was intentional, then Yu would be a bit enchanting. Because the latter must have an insight into her purpose in advance, and be seated in advance, in order for the scene just now to appear. Of course, there are also reasons why she has not done her best. Since Shiu is still a young man who has just graduated, Hongdo can only first classify the possibility as the former. In other words, this result is more acceptable, but she couldn't confirm the real result now, unless she played against Shiu herself, or saw Shiu show extraordinary strength. But the former is obviously impossible. As a chief examiner, it is naturally impossible for her to challenge a forbearance for no reason. It seems that only by looking at his performance in the next exam can we make the final judgment. Shiu's figure was reflected in Hongdu's beautiful eyes, and then he pretended to be nonchalant and smiled. Boy, you are very good. I'm flattered to get the compliment from teacher Hongdu, Shiu also responded politely. However, Shiu, Ya and others were a little uncomfortable seeing this scene. They didn't expect Idzuki-do to pay attention to Shiu's ridicule. Because of this, Shiu couldn't help but gave a thumbs up. Even if someone had this idea among all the people present, who would dare to do this? In other words, Shiu happened to have a good time. But what most people see is only one-sided. Only Gaara, Ningxiai, Shikamaru, Shaoli, and the hidden, Orochimaru, can see the essence through phenomena. That is, Shiu's speed has already reached a point, which is completely comparable to that of the elites. Oh, it looks like a good seed. A female in the crowd, Kushinen, said with a stunned voice, and then muttered to herself. I don't know how it compares to that kid in Uchiha. Undoubtedly, this female Kushinen was disguised by Dashimaru. Teacher Hongdu, your kanai. During the speech, Shiu handed the shuriken in his hand to Hongdu, looking respectful of his teacher. Well, thanks. After taking the kuwu from Shiu's hand, Hongdu smiled at Shiu, and then glanced at all the candidates. It seems that what Ibiki said is true, this year's candidates are really not bad. Hee, I am really looking forward to it. Chapter 54. So, now the second exam will begin. Before the exam, you have to sign this consent form. The red bean between the words took out a thick stack of paper. Why? For Naruto's puzzlement, Hongdu also explained, because you may die at any time during the exam, you must ask for your consent. Otherwise, if there is an accident, I will be in trouble. The red bean, whose voice fell, looked at the crowd, and briefly explained the process. First of all, each of you come to me and get a consent form. After signing the names above, a group of 3 will hand in your consent form to the examiner at the registration office. Immediately after, Hongdu gave a general explanation for everyone, the content of this exam. This is an extreme challenge to survival. The terrain in Death Forest is The red bean between the words took out a map and gave a detailed introduction to everyone. In short, what you have to do is to challenge the limit of survival in a limited space. There is no limit to what means you use. The ultimate goal is scroll battle. When entering the Dead Forest, each team will get a corresponding scroll, namely, Book of Heaven and Book of Earth. If you want to pass this exam, you must reach the Central Tower in Death Forest with the Book of Heaven and Book of Earth at the same time. The exam lasts 120 hours, which is 5 days. After the red bean's voice fell, the first reaction problem was Ding. 5 days. Then what shall we eat? Undoubtedly, this is Ding C's biggest concern. Solve it yourself. It has formed an independent ecosystem, which contains wild animals, of course. There are also beasts, poisonous insects, poisonous weeds, etc. After answering the first question at the meeting, Hongdu also read out the elimination rules to everyone, which is undoubtedly the thing that everyone cares most about. It will be eliminated if there are the following conditions. 1. Within the specified time, the 3 of them failed to arrive at the designated Central Tower, with Book of Heaven and Book of Earth. 2. Someone in the team lost their lives, or was unable to continue fighting. 3. It is not allowed to withdraw halfway after the test starts. You must spend these 5 days in this forest. 4. It is strictly forbidden to peek at the contents of the scroll before arriving at the Central Tower. Advertisement. Hearing this last rule, Naruto couldn't help but ask, what would happen if I watched it? If you want to know, you can try it later. After teasing Naruto, Itsuki said again, okay, there are so many rules. Now you can take the 3 signed consent letters to the registration office in exchange for the scrolls. Then choose an intersection. When the time is up, 26 teams will enter at the same time. There is one last sentence. As the chief examiner of this exam, I hope that none of you will die. Following the announcement of the red bean, all teams took 3 consent letters to the registration office to exchange for a scroll. In order to prevent others from coveting it, no one else knows the scroll each team gets. Shiu and the others got the scroll of Book of Heaven, and the entrance was the 12 entrance. Wait until everyone is holding the roll after the shaft, the red bean also announced. Now, candidates from each group follow the person in charge of each entrance to the designated entrance to prepare. 30 minutes later, enter the forest at the same time. Hearing Hongdu's words, Shiu also left with the person in charge of 12 entrance. When they left, Hongdu's gaze stayed on Shiu's body until their figure disappeared at the end of the corner. Boy, let me see what you can do. After half an hour. Closing the red bean with the stopwatch in his hand, there was also a loud shout from his throat. Central Ninja Selection Exam, the second session, now starts. With the order of Hongdu, 26 teams stepped into the Death Forest in unison. After entering the forest, Orochimaru, the Kushinen trio where he was in, directly started looking for Shiu and the 3 of them. His purpose is Sasuke, but Naruto and Sasuke obviously didn't know it, and their eyes fell on Toki. Advertisement. Obviously, the 2 of them now regard Shiu as their backbone. Sasuke, the arrogant ghost, would naturally not be the first to speak, so the job of asking for instructions naturally fell on Naruto. Shiu, what shall we do now? Find a place to rest first. Take a rest? Naruto was puzzled in the words. Everyone wanted to grab the scroll from other teams right away, but Shiu even said to find a place to rest. Why are you so anxious? Even if we find a team, if their scroll is the same as ours, wouldn't it be in vain? So, instead of looking for it aimlessly like this, it's better to let the prey take the initiative to send it to the door. After a brief thought, Sasuke said, I agree with Toki's method. Since you both agree, I naturally have no problem. The question now is, how can I let the prey that suit us take the initiative to send it to the door? Sasuke said. It's easy. When we rest later, we only need to deliberately reveal the scroll of the Book of Heaven in our hands. Then we only need to wait for other teams to find us. As long as they are attacking us, they will most likely be the scrolls of the Book of Earth in their hands. Because it cannot be ruled out that some teams are in order to eliminate more opponents, regardless of whether you have Book of Heaven or Book of Earth, they will only grab people when they see it. Even if you see someone, kill. So, this is no longer a simple exam, but a game of killing and hunting treasures. Hearing what Shiba said, Sasuke and Naruto were also shocked. Immediately afterwards, the 2 were led by Shiu to an empty shade of a tree, where they stopped. Shiu glanced around, then said, this place is good. It has a wide field of vision and is easy for people to discover. It is an excellent place to fish. If Shiyu's words were heard by other players, they would have to vomit blood and refuse to vomit. They would hide in fear and fear. He is better, and directly put himself in danger. It is also beautifully named. This is the one who wishes to be taken the bait, chapter 55. After choosing the location, Shiu and the 3 were also ready to lie down and fish. Shiu, let me go and make it easier. Seeing Shiu nodding, Naruto hurriedly went behind the bushes in front of him. This is their resting place, and naturally they can't urinate and defecate anywhere. If it's so angry, it's not good. After a while, with the rustling sound coming from the bushes, Naruto also appeared in front of the 2 Toki again. Haha, it's so cool that the convenience is over. After hearing Naruto's words, Shiu said something inexplicable. I didn't expect it to come so soon. What came so quickly? Naruto looked puzzled. However, before Naruto could react, Shiyu's punch had already landed on his chest. Bump. With Shiyu's punch in the front, Naruto shot backwards like a cannonball, directly hitting the big tree behind. Boom. Naruto, who slipped to the ground, was shocked in his heart at this time, because he had lost the ability to fight. At this moment, his heart is painful and aggrieved. He never expected Shiu to be so perverted. With one punch, he couldn't move with just one punch. With this kind of strength, Shi told me that he was a ninja. I didn't believe in killing me. In response, he could only roar angrily. What's your nerve? Sorry, I didn't master the strength. Shiu chuckled, and then said to Sasuke next to him. Surely you are aware of it too, right? Sasuke nodded, then stared at the severely injured Naruto, and said sharply. Where is Naruto? That tone seems to say again, hand over my daughter-in-law. Hearing this, Naruto was taken aback for a moment, and said with difficulty. F***K. Don't understand what you were talking about. Shiu sneered, then said, pretend, continue to pretend. Advertisement in response, Sasuke drank directly. Do you think a right-handed guy will tie dark cover to his left leg? And you don't even know my names. Your transformation skills are worse than Naruto. Knowing that his identity was found out, the guy disguised as Naruto also changed back to his original appearance. First, the identity has been seen through and can no longer be pretended. Second, he was already unable to maintain his transformation, because Shiyu's punch had already seriously injured him. He tried his best to maintain the transformation state just now, just trying to fool Shiu and the two, and then escape after a little recovery. But what he never expected was, his identity was seen through. After the other party reveals his true body, Shiu also knew the true face of the latter, and turned out to be a ninja from Yuyan village. And Shiba and Sasuke found Naruto tied up behind a small hill behind the bushes, who looked like a caterpillar. Immediately afterwards, Shiu asked Naruto to hang the urinin. First, let Naruto vent her anger. Second, it is naturally to attract his companions to come to rescue. Because the scroll owned by this person's team happened to be the Book of the Earth, is this Shiu and the others lucky? Naturally not, because this urine saw the scroll of Book of Heaven that Shiu was playing with earlier. He became greedy. It can only be said that this fishing is still very efficient. But to be honest, this Ming-Yu Ren's strength is really not weak. Otherwise, I dare not act rashly alone. It's a pity that he encountered Shiu, who was destined to end up like this. To be honest, Shiyu's current strength has reached the shadow level. Even stronger, therefore, even if this urine reached the level of Zongren, and even Shangren, Shiu was nothing more than an ant in the eyes of Shiu. An ant that can be crushed at any time, after everything is ready. Shiu also sat down leisurely, waiting for the new fish to take the initiative to bite. Sasuke, Naruto. In order to prevent the things from happening again, we need a secret sign. What kind of signal? Naruto pouted. The secret sign is, Chunin doesn't wash my feet, the big snake licks my feet, and the small snake pill at night will break his C***K with 1 foot. Just after Shiyu's words fell, a strong strange wind suddenly blew up here. Advertisement. The strong wind was so strong that even a layer of skin was lifted on the ground, making the originally empty field filled with thick smoke and dust. But this is not a natural phenomenon, but a kind of ninjutsu. It's called Wind Escape Breakthrough. At this time, 3 figures appeared in the smoke. Their foreheads were wearing grass ninja forehead. Immediately afterwards, the woman in the middle, Sao Shinobu, said, "You go and have fun, I'll be alone here." During the words, there was a murderous look in her eyes that could not be concealed, as if she was irritated by something. The 2 men quickly disappeared where they were after hearing the words. After the smoke clears, Takiwa, Sasuke, and Naruto appeared in the same place, but they were not dispelled by the move just now. All this is naturally due to Shiu. As for the urine who was hung up by Shiu and others, he was not so lucky. He who was hit in the front didn't know where he was scraped. Life or death is unknown. Immediately afterwards, the 3 Shiu began to signal to them. The big snake licked my foot, and broke his C***K, the female Kushinohori's complexion became worse. But at the same time there was a trace of doubt in his heart. The 3 of Shiu were able to avoid his Feng Dun big breakthrough, which he never expected. Is it luck? Originally, he thought he could at least knock one person into the air, and then use the transformation technique to get close to the other 2. But now it seems that this idea has undoubtedly failed. Shijiu and Sasuke don't need any secret codes at all, and their Julunion is the best proof. As for the so-called secret code, Shiu used it to tease someone. Immediately afterwards, the female Kushinen also appeared in front of the 3 of Shiu, and Naruto, who had the worst memory, still chanted a secret signal. Yellai. Xiaoshuan, 1 kick. Break off. Break his D***K. Ha ha ha, am I very smart? At this moment, the female Sao Ren really couldn't stand it anymore. As smart as she is naturally able to hear the object of this so-called signal, to ridicule, it is undoubtedly one of Konohamaru's, Snake Maru. And why this female Kushinoba is so unhappy, that's because she is Oshinaru. This is also the reason why he who was hiding in the secret suddenly launched an attack after Shiu had said the secret. As one of the 3 forbearances, he still has such an arrogance in his heart. Chapter 56. It's Kushinen. Sasuke exclaimed at the second when he saw the female Kushinen, and Naruto said, Shiu, this fish is not fishing right, because this is Saurinen, but the rain shinobi, they imagined. Now, Orochimaru has not revealed its true face, so Sasuke and Naruto are both ninjas who regard him as Kauyan village. Of course, even if Orochimaru showed its true colors, the two of them would not be able to recognize it. Because of the legendary Konohamaru, neither of them have ever met. And Orochimaru saw Shiyu's first sentence about the secret code, and he was very curious about it. Boy, since just now, you have been talking about that secret sign. I'm very curious, what exactly do you mean by that? You and I know well, why bother to ask? Shiyu's answer made Sasuke and Naruto puzzled, but it fell in the ears of Orochimaru like a bolt from the blue. Could it be that this kid sees through my identity? But soon this idea was denied by Orochimaru, and he pretended to be Sauren and has leaked a trace of flaws. Impossible. Even Hongdu didn't find me. How could he, such a kid who just graduated, do it? No wonder Orochimaru would deny this, because he defected to Konoha earlier than Itachi, and ran before the death of 4 generations. In other words, these little guys in front of you have not been born yet. After calming down, Orochimaru temporarily left this time behind. He felt that he wanted to know the answer. As long as Shiu was arrested and questioned 1 or 2 times, it would come to the end. At this point, he directly took out a scroll from his body. There is a big character, written on it, undoubtedly, the scroll of Book of the Earth, held by the team of Orochimaru. Immediately afterwards, under Sasuke and Naruto's stunned gaze, Orochimaru directly swallowed the Book of the Earth scroll directly into the belly. Then, the scroll scramble will begin. I will do my best. In the middle of the words, Orochimaru stretched his hand out of the corner of his eye, making himself look even more terrifying. Orochimaru's operations are all paving the way for an illusion. That's the Naraku seeing art. When Orochimaru stretched out his hand to pull the corner of his eyes, this illusion was used. Advertisement, because the horror atmosphere created by Orochimaru made Naruto and Sasuke feel nauseous and jealous. The two have no suspense. They saw the scene where they were killed. However, what surprised Dashiwan was that Shiu didn't even get hit. Moreover, Naruto and Sasuke were also rescued from the illusion. How are you two? Hearing Shiu's condolences, Sasuke also said, Shiu, if you didn't help me in time, I would have felt that I was dead. Yes, this person is terrifying. Naruto agreed. At that moment, he deeply felt his own weakness, and he was like a leaf of duckweed in front of Dashiwan, letting the wind blow and rain. You kid, it's really not easy. Undoubtedly, from the time when Shiu showed his hand in front of Idzuki beans, Dashimaru had already noticed Shiu. What he didn't expect was that the latter was even more powerful than he thought. In that case, I will show you a little bit of ability to play with you. As Orochimaru's voice fell, he saw a knot in his hand, and 3 monas suddenly appeared. Evil Snake Wrist Explosion. Summon several giant snakes to devour the enemy, then use chakra to detonate the giant snake. The 3 beasts did not move very quickly, as if they had been ordered, and opened their mouths in the blood basin and rushed towards the 3 people of Shiu. Sasuke and Naruto were panicked when they saw this. The color. Because I was hit by Dashiwan's illusion just now, my body is still a bit paralyzed and unable to move. At this time, Shiu made a knot in his hand, and a low drink came from his mouth. Open black lens bracket fire escape. The art of Phoenix Fire. Close black lens bracket. Phoenix Fire technique. Sea level ninjutsu. Spouting flames spreading in all directions from the mouth. The attack trajectory is controlled by the caster, and it is extremely difficult to avoid. But through Shiyu's hands, the power is beyond imagination. I saw 3 groups of super large flames spit out from Shiyu's mouth, and in a short period of time, they directly cooked the 3 big pythons. Boom, boom, boom. After the 3 giant pythons struggled for a while, they fell to the ground one after another. In addition to breathing and black smoke, there were constant, sizzling noises. Nourish, nourish. This scene saw everyone in an instant. Phoenix Fire art. But the unique fire escape ninjutsu of their Uchiha clan, few foreigners can master it. But at this time, it was displayed in Shiyu's hands. In particular, Shiyu's power is much stronger than him, and the effects of the two are not at the same level at all. Advertisement. No wonder Sasuke was so shocked. This ninjutsu was naturally the second half of Toki and the others repairing the bridge in Namino country. When Sasuke was practicing, Toki accidentally took a glance and mastered it. It was his that he hadn't turned on. Sholinyan just used 1,000 times the talent blessing to write it down. Although the talent of 1,000 quilts can't be used simultaneously with the caster in the way of Shaolunyan, it can also be mastered after Unforgettable. Although this ninjutsu has a wide range, its disadvantage is its aggressiveness is too weak. Therefore, Shiyu only slightly improved. The ninja who can improve the ninjutsu is definitely a monster-level existence. This is also the reason why Dashimaru was so surprised. After he recovered, he directly resorted to a secret technique. Shulking Snake Hand. Shulker Snake Hand. Limb. Sea-level ninjutsu, surprises opponents with a number of snakes hidden in the cuffs. The snakes will bite, have themselves against the enemy. Seeing the swarms of snakes coming all over the sky, Shiyu didn't panic at all, and his hand printing style revived, instantly transforming into a stronger ninjutsu. Open black lens bracket Feng Dun Air Training Bomb. Close black lens bracket, Wind Escape Training Empty Bomb. spit out a huge wind ball containing a lot of chakras from the mouth to violently attack the enemy, fast and powerful. This ninjutsu was learned by Toki when he gained the power of Sho Crane. With the release of this ninjutsu, the swarm of snakes scattered all over the sky. Because the wind speed is too fast, there is still a certain cutting ability. If the body is not strong enough, it will leave a lot of scars. Even, it was cut into countless segments. Without the slightest accident, the Liankong bomb destroyed the snake swarms as soon as it destroyed the Gula. Boom! The training airwave hit the big tree behind, and the ladder couldn't support such a powerful force and collapsed. As for the second when the Orochimaru shot it, it had already been avoided with the short body art. Worthy of being a master of Sannin level, Dashimaru, which emerged from a tree trunk, glanced at the place hit by the open black lens bracket care training bullet close black lens bracket, and his heart was extremely shocked. Because he still underestimated Shiyu's strength. This kind of strength is completely comparable to Shang Ren, and even surpasses it. However, Dashimaru absolutely never thought that the strength he saw now was only the tip of Shiyu's iceberg. Moreover, this is Shiyu's use of ordinary chakras. Once the tail beast chakras are used, the power will only be stronger. Is this really a freshman who just graduated? Dashimaru stared at Shiu at his feet, with a strong expression of excitement in his eyes. Undoubtedly, he became interested in Shiu, chapter 57. Boy, your ninjutsu skills are pretty good, I don't know how physical skills are. When the voice fell, the Orochimaru instantly made Shiu even stronger, and with one punch he swung towards Shiyu's door. Obviously Dashimaru wanted to test Shiyu's qualifications to be his container. Therefore, I want to understand Shiu in all aspects. Spear. Dashimaru missed a punch, and the attack was perfectly avoided by Shiu. Moreover, it is still in the absence of Riding Wheel Eye. From this, it can be seen that Shiu has reached a very strong level in his physical skills with a 1000-fold increase in his talent. What's more, he now has a Doman physique, and his physical strength is far more comparable. But compared with Sannin's Orochimaru, there is still a gap. But this is not a problem, because Shiyu's talent will soon be able to catch up. Bump, bump, bump. After a brief fight, Dashiwan became more and more astonished as he fought. Because Shiyu's physical skills were not as good as him, but in the course of the battle, the latter was approaching step by step. The speed of this progress is terrible. Dashimaru once doubted whether Shiu had any special physique. Otherwise, how could it be so perverted? And the reason for this is naturally because of Shiyu's 1000 times talent. Ninjutsu Shiu can be directly comprehended by his powerful talent, instantly reaching a super high level, and even improving it to the next level. But physical skills are not good, this thing can only accumulate day by day, and the battle continues to strengthen. Shiu has only obtained the 1000 talent ability for only half a month. During this period, he did not conduct any special training. Therefore, the attainments of physical skills are naturally stagnant. But now that Orochimaru, the three ninja powerhouse, is acting as his opponent, it is undoubtedly equivalent to teaching on the spot. Sasuke and Naruto are even more surprised if Orochimaru was like this. They didn't expect Shiu to be able to get close to this kind of existence, and the situation is gradually improving. Shiu, who was originally at a disadvantage, was already showing signs of reversal at this time. Dashimaru naturally felt this too, and Lee Mara drew a distance from Shiu, not choosing physical skills to fight. So far, the ninja who can let the Orochimaru, one of the three ninjas, take the initiative to stretch the distance. Shiu is undoubtedly the first one. Dashimaru looked at Shiu in front of him, and couldn't help muttering in his heart. What the hell is this kid? How come you have never heard of him before? We must catch him today and study it. At this point, Dashiwan directly performed psychic art. Immediately afterwards, a huge cloud of white smoke suddenly drifted through the forest, and the ladder python, which was several times larger than before, appeared in the eyes of the three people. Open black lens bracket block snake close black lens bracket. Longnadong, one of the powerful psychic beasts, a strong existence. The appearance of Black Snake surprised Sasuke and Naruto again. They didn't expect the strength of the female Kushinen in front of them to be so powerful. Advertisement seeing the Orochimaru standing above Black Snake's head, Shiu felt a little envious, because he thought it was very exciting. Boy, I haven't been so excited for a long time. Now, let me see what else you can do. In Dashimaru's eyes at this time, Sasuke's interest in Shiu has completely overwhelmed Sasuke. But as for whether Shiu can become his container, only after studying it will I know. The reason why he fell in love with Sasuke was because the latter possessed Bloodstain Limit, which he had always dreamed of. That's why he will make those containers, such as Gurren, Junmero, etc. Originally, he wanted to beat Itachi, but he couldn't beat it, so he could only retreat and focus on Sasuke. Being defeated in Itachi's hands made Dashiwan more eager to get Shorinyan. At this moment, Black Snake's Orochimaru's strength greatly increased. With Shiu's current strength, it was possible to kill Black Snake, but with Dashimaru watching around, he couldn't let go of his hands and feet. Because Shiu has not yet mastered Wanwa Right Round Eyes, and has not obtained intercolumn cells. Therefore, he cannot use Izanagi now. Even though he is already very strong now, he still has to proceed with caution when he has no life-saving skills. For example, Dashiwan directly uses Foul Earth Reincarnation to summon the first and second generations, which can be quite tricky. Moreover, Dashimaru also has an access control technique called the Art of 8 Chi. Biki Art. S-level forbidden art, transforming into a frightening Biki big snake, with a body of more than 10,000 snakes and sharp fangs, is the incarnation of long-lasting obsession, and is known as the Shenlong. Seeing this scene, Shiu knew it was time to show some strength. Since you want to see, I will let you see enough. When he fell with a soft drink, Shiu directly displayed the scheme of the fireball. When Da Shiwan saw this, a cold snort came from his mouth. Boy, this little flame can't hurt, Black Snake. Is it? Shiu shattered slightly, as if he was in control. Seeing the flame hit, Black Snake opened its blood basin and exhaled a thick gray-black fog, which instantly extinguished the flame. Just when the flame is extinguished, a handful of karma is revealed from it. Oh, do you entrain shuriken in the flames? Nice way to fight? In the words, Da Shiwan's head gently twitched, and it was easy to avoid the shuriken attack. But at this moment, Shiyu's figure disappeared in the same place strangely, as if it had evaporated out of thin air. This scene made Orochimaru's eyes look stunned, but it was far more shocking. Because when Yu appeared again, he was already behind him. That is the location where suffering is nowhere, and these things just happen between the electric light and flint, so fast that people can't react at all. Even those who are as strong as Orochimaru are no exception. This is, obviously, Orochimaru, who was shocked, recognized the Flying Thunder God technique. At this moment, he noticed the difference between the shuriken in Zhang Shiyu's hand and the ordinary shuriken. There is an extremely complicated rune on it, which is obscure and difficult to understand. Since this technique was developed in the second generation, thousands of hands, few people have mastered it, or can't really explore the mystery of it. The only people who can fully master it are the second and fourth generations, and the fourth generation has also developed this ninjutsu to the extreme. Advertisement, but since the Watergate went down, no one can grasp it anymore. In today's Konoha, only the combination of Shiranui Kenma, Kanezi, and Daiwahi can barely use the Flying Thunder Ray technique. And they did not comprehend it by themselves, but were taught by 4 generations. This shows that the difficulty of mastering time and space ninjutsu is very high. Although Orochimaru knew what kind of ninjutsu Shiu was using, he had no time to evade, so he could only watch the kunai and Shiyu's hand pierce his heart. Nourish. In an instant, blood splattered. In this scene, Sasuke and Naruto looked dull. If nothing happens, Orochimaru must be buried under Shiyu's blow. At this time, Dashimaru's face was frozen in horror, and Shiu didn't need any nonsense, and kicked Dashimaru's abdomen. Boom. Orochimaru's body just fell towards the ground, and at the same time, a scroll was spit out from his mouth. It is the one that was swallowed earlier, Book of the Earth. Boom. With a loud noise, Dashiwan's body slammed onto the ground without any suspense, and the sky was full of smoke. Chapter 58 Chapter 59 When the smoke and dust dissipated, the body of Orochimaru was also revealed. But what is shocking is that the body of Orochimaru was squirming at this time. This scene looks quite strange. Next second, the corpse's mouth suddenly opened, and then another big snake pill emerged from it. In this scene, I saw Sasuke and Naruto in an instant. If Shiu hadn't known the trick of Orochimaru, he would have been as shocked as Sasuke. Snake flow substitute technique. Original substitute technique. Use the external body as a substitute and transfer itself from the mouth. It does not require seals. It is the most perfect substitute technique. This substitute technique can even avoid Amaterasu, but except for the Orochimaru people outside will consume a lot of chakras. It can be said to be a special technique for Orochimaru. Without this technique, Orochimaru would not know how many times it would have died. This ninjutsu is only used when Orochimaru is endangered. After all, this ninjutsu consumes chakra, it's not small. If you are facing other instant ninjutsu, you can basically react with the strength of Orochimaru. But in the face of the Flying Thunder God art, it is not good. One carelessness can lead to death. Of course, Orochimaru underestimated the enemy is also a small part of the reason, because he did not treat Shiu as an opponent of the same level. That's what made it happen right now, above the ground. Dashimaru looked up at Shiu, who was standing above the snake's head, with deep consternation and jealousy in her eyes. What he was shocked was that when Yu was young, he could be so perverted. Not only could he master the changes in the nature of the 2 attributes, he could even use the most difficult .. space ninjutsu. There is no doubt that Shiyu's strength has reached the shadow level. A shadow level ninja who is only 12 years old, this undoubtedly seems to be the most enchanting genius he has ever seen. Can this kind of enchanting make him jealous? Orochimaru knows that it is impossible for him to get benefits from Shiu now, and there is a possibility of death at any time. The post-surgery is getting stronger and stronger, and this ninjutsu is even more powerful. The one who shocked him the most is now that chakra has exhausted most of it, but when viewed from the other hand, Shiu still looks energetic and does not breathe. With breath, it seems that the latter has never experienced half of a big battle. Is this still a human? This is simply a monster. This is Orochimaru's evaluation of Toki, and this is one of the reasons why he has no desire to fight. Boy, we will see you again. The Orochimaru, whose voice fell, disappeared directly in front of Shiyu's Trio 3. With the disappearance of the Orochimaru, his psychic beast, Black Snake, turned into a cloud of smoke and returned to the Dragon Cavern. With Shiyu's current strength, it's not difficult to defeat Orochimaru. Although Orochimaru has not used the forbidden techniques, the art of 8 Chi, and unclean reincarnation, Shiu also has Bloodstain Limit and Power of the Tail Beast. But wanting to keep the latter, it is a little difficult. In the anime, Orochimaru will be sealed by Itachi because of underestimating the enemy. He did not expect the legend to have the seal power. His 10-fist sword is actually in Itachi's Susanoo no. Advertisement: the soil escape of Orochimaru can freely shuttle between the earth and trees, which is a very coping method. If there is no corresponding restraint method, it is very easy to find out. For example, Lei Dun. It is a pity that Shiu has not yet mastered the Thunder Genus Carrot, and the Yin and Yang 5 elements and 7 chakras have now only mastered 5. Just the Thunder attribute and the Yin attribute. Of course, if you have mastered White Eyes, or 9-tailed chakra, it would be another matter. But this battle is undoubtedly a shame for Dashimaru. One of the legendary 3 ninjas, the little prince of scientific research, unexpectedly lost to an unknown new student, Shurin, and retreated. If this matter is spread out, it will definitely cause an uproar, long after the battle ended. Sasuke and Naruto are still in a daze later. It wasn't until Shiu came next to them that she woke up. At this moment, the two looked at Shiyu's eyes full of admiration. Shiu, you are too strong. Naruto was extremely excited, and as Shiyu's best friend, he felt extremely proud. Okay. Shiyu's answer made the two of them ashamed. Shiu, what did you become? So strong? Hearing Sasuke's doubts, Naruto also agreed. Yes, you were pretty much the same as me when you were in the ninja school. It's just that I don't want to be too high profile. Shiu explained, and then said, okay, now that the scrolls are all gathered, we don't need to fish. Then what are you doing now? Hearing Naruto's doubts, Sasuke also said, if you say you are stupid, you still don't believe it. Of course you went to the Central Tower. There is one more thing to do before going to Central Tower. What's up? Naruto and Sasuke said in unison, you'll know later. Shiu knew that there was no Orochimaru for the Yin Ren trio. Advertisement: they don't know when they will find themselves if they are called. Until now, I can only take the initiative. Fortunately, before the start of the first test, Shiu left a mark of chakra on Toss and Sack. Otherwise, it would obviously take a lot of effort to find 2 people in the huge death forest. Fortunately, Shiu made 2 preparations in advance. Seeing Shiyu's back strode away, after Zuoming looked at each other, they followed him. Then wait for the small steps to become more proficient. After watching this battle, the two have gone farther and farther on the road of the little brother. Looking at Shiyu's back, they seem to have seen Zhang Ren beckoning to them. After a while, in Shiu, a few people were looking for the Atonin trio. On the way, I ran into 3 familiar faces. Their classmate, the Pig Deer Butterfly group. At this time, the 3 of people 3 are fighting Urinen. Originally with the aid of Shikamaru and Ino's functional ninjutsu, it should not be difficult to defeat a small team. But the problem is that the opponent actually has 5 people 5, to be precise, there should be 6 people 6, but one person didn't participate in the war. The reason why this man didn't participate in the war was not because he didn't want to, but because he couldn't. Because he has lost the ability to fight, he is lying on the ground like a dead dog. Coincidentally, Shiu and the others knew this person. That's right, it was the one who was hung up by them before and was then blown away by Orochimaru's Wind Dunge breakthrough, Urin. Is this a coincidence? This is destined. It is destined to be planted into Kiwa's hands? If Kato Toki is not wrong, it should be the Konohamaru trio. 3 seeing each other loses combat power, they want to take this Urin squad. However, the unexpected opponent's helper is here, the same as Urin, so naturally it is the team that helped his own Chunin village. Just like Naruto wanted to help Shikamaru and others at this time, he jumped directly into the battlefield and immediately shouted. 5-3, you are too bullying. Seeing Naruto, Shikamaru, Ino, and Shochi was instantly happy. Since Naruto has arrived, Sasuke and Toki must be nearby. As long as the 3 of them help, it will definitely be able to stabilize the situation, as expected. A second after Naruto's debut, Tokiba and Sasuke also appeared. It's just that the 2 of them are not as high profile as Naruto. To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download Fate Chapter 60. Shikamaru, are you alright? Hearing Naruto's condolences, Shikamaru replied. If you come later, I guess something will happen. NS. Seeing the number of people reversed, Ding Si also shouted. Let you bully people, now 6-5, I see what you do. Do you Konoha know bullying? Previously, 3 of them beat us too, now you have 666 against us 555. One of them Urin said. HMPH, this kind of thing is not what you said too. How come you didn't expect to bully when the 5 of us dealt with the 3 of us just now? Now that you find that the situation is not right, you want to make sense, right? Ino snorted coldly, and continued. Who told you not to protect your teammates? You can blame us for being injured and unable to fight. That's it. Ding Si squinted his eyes and agreed. Looking at his dirty appearance, I was afraid that he had not suffered before. They were able to stick to the scene. I am afraid that it has a lot to do with Ding Si's meat bomb chariot. After all, among the 3 of them, only the offensive type that Ding Si belongs to. The words of Ino and Ding Ji undoubtedly proved Toki's previous guess. Just when the 5 Yunin didn't know what to do, Shiyu's voice slowly sounded. If you want to survive, hand over the scroll in your hand. Hearing Shiyu's words, it is naturally impossible for the 5 Yurin to compromise, but the scroll is an important certificate for passing this exam. How can it be easily handed over? HMPH, if you want a scroll, you can get it with strength. That is, our urine is not as weak as you think. Even if it is 5 to 6, we may not have no chance of winning. Since you have to do it, let's be conscious of death. When Shiyu's domineering words came out, the 5 Urine's bodies trembled, and there was a feeling of chills in the back. Not only the 2 of them, but also the Shikamaru Trio 3, the 5 Urine glances at each other, but when they were about to fight to the death, they were stopped by a vain voice. And many more. Hearing that, everyone's eyes are looking at the source of the sound. It's not someone else who is talking, it's the Urine who is lying on the ground. Boss, why stop us? One of them Urine asked, because I was punched like this by him. As soon as the words that severely hurt Urine boo, everyone except Naruto and Sasuke was shocked. Advertisement, especially the 5 Yunin, because the Yunin who was lying on the ground was the strongest person from their Yunin village who came to take the Shinobu selection test, but it was so strong that it was punched by Shiba, made this look. Can this not shock them? Because of this, the eyes of Shiu they looked at this moment were no different from the perverted look they looked at. Under their boss's suggestion, 5 people 5 could only hand over the scrolls obediently. Hell, still need the scroll. They undoubtedly chose the former, and the Shin Shinobi exam failed to pass the next time. But if life is gone, then it will be nothing, so as long as they are not stupid, they will be right. Just like that, Shiyu and the others effortlessly harvested 2 scrolls, both of which are the Book of Heaven. Shikamaru was also grateful after the departure of Yunin 6 with a gray head and face. Shiyu, thank you so much this time, raise your hand. Shiyu replied, and then said, your poor scroll should be this, Book of Heaven, right? Before Shikamaru could answer, Ino was the first to say, how do you know? Because Shikamaru never does meaningless things. Shiyu was also taken aback when he heard that. He didn't expect Shiyu to know himself so much. Okay, you can keep this. During the words, Shiyu handed the 3 people of Shikamaru 3 volumes, Book of Heaven. Seeing that Shikamaru hadn't reached out for a long time, Naruto also said, Shikamaru, just take it. Anyway, we have gathered it all, so it's useless to keep it. Thank you. Seeing Shikamaru taking over the Book of Heaven from Tokiyu's book, Ino and Dingsei were also delighted. In this way, they will be able to pass this exam smoothly. For this reason, both of them cast extremely grateful glances at Shiyu. For a time, Shiyu's position in their hearts instantly rose a lot. Especially for Ino, Shiyu's previous domineering and boundless words still linger in his ears. Judging from the shrinking performance of Yunin 6, Shiyu is absolutely strong, which is something she never expected. In the first test, she knew Shiyu's amazing wisdom. In the second test, she knew Shiyu's powerful strength. For a time, Shiyu's position in her mind rose sharply, and she was about to surpass Sasuke. If there is any more something to stimulate, Shiyu's position in her heart is estimated to stand out. Hurry up and go to Central High Platform. Shikamaru was taken aback for a moment, and then asked, what about you? We have one more thing to deal with, advertisement. After this episode, Shiu and the others bid farewell to the Kamaru Trio 3. A quarter of an hour later, Shiyu finally found the mission goal, a Tonin Trio. And at that time Yusan 3 appeared in a Tonin Trio. In front of him, the other 3 people 3 were also taken aback. Because this result was completely beyond their expectations, they originally thought they wanted to find Sasuke. It must take some time, but what I didn't expect was that the latter took the initiative to send it to the door. Looking at Tokiyu's Trio 3, a Toninaka-headed Toss sneered and said, it's really nowhere to find anything to break through the iron shoes. It takes no time to come. Ha ha ha, brother, our luck is not so good, Sak said. Just when the 3 of Toss 3 thought that they were out of luck, Shiyu's next sentence directly gave them a headshot. It's not that you were lucky, but we came to you specially. Hearing that, the 3 of them 3 were instantly stunned. They went to Sasuke. There was an order, and why did Shiu come to them for what not only they didn't know, but Naruto and Sasuke were also confused. F*K them. As for the reason, they don't know yet. After a long pause, Toss finally said. Interesting. Boy, I'm curious why you're looking for us. Hearing that Shiu didn't hide it, because he didn't need to hide it. Solving the 3 ants in front of him is as simple as squeezing 3 ants to death. The same reason you were looking for, Sasuke. As soon as these words came out, the hearts of the 3 of Toss 3 were also shocked, and their expressions were astonished. And Sasuke is even more confused, he and the Tonin Trio. I don't know each other, why did the latter look for him to find him? How do you know that we are here to kill Uchiha Sasuke? For the dead, I don't want to explain too much. When Shiyu said this, he undoubtedly put the label of death on the Trio 3. Chapter 61. Looking at the Tonin Trio, in front of me. Shiyu originally wanted to solve it himself, but when he thought of 2 of them he had already defeated, he now only needs to defeat the last one to complete the task. Task progress. Defeat the Tonin Trio. Toss Anvil. Defeated. Zack Stirrup. Defeated. Piano Hammer. Not defeated. Therefore, he wants to take this opportunity to hone Sasuke and Naruto, so that they can grow in evenly matched battles. At this point, Shiyu also said, Sasuke, Naruto, the 2 men will be handed over to you. What about that woman? Naruto asked. I'll fix it. You are so strong, and everyone is the same. Why don't we change? Naruto wanted to deal with women who should be easier, but he was directly hit by Shiyu. Naruto, I ask you, do you still want to become stronger? Naturally want. Then do you still want to defeat Sasuke? Of course. If you want to, then you should challenge someone who is stronger. I get it. Naruto nodded heavily. It turned out that Shiu was not relaxed and greedy for beauty, but to temper himself and make himself stronger. For this reason, he admired Shiu more and more. Undoubtedly, Shiu's chicken soup was very successful. At this time, Sasuke was still immersed in doubts. He did not think of this, a Tonin trio. It turned out to be to kill himself. Sasuke, if you want to know the answer, defeat him. It is good. After Sasuke agreed, Tuz also sneered. Little devil, you really think that we won't be able to eat it? What do you say? When the voice fell, Shiu stretched his palm forward and suddenly, a strange chakra gathered in Shiu's palm. Immediately after, Toss 3 was directly lifted by Shiu and lost control of his body. This open black lens bracket magnetic escape latte close black lens bracket technique, as long as you have ironwork on your body, you can't get rid of Toki's control. Unless you can discover the two weaknesses of this secret technique. Otherwise, he can only become Shiu's plaything, and Shiu has enough chakra as a backing, so he can play whatever he wants. Advertisement. The current situation made Ditos and the three of them stunned for an instant. How similar this scene is, especially Toss and Sak, the two of them have personally experienced it. Originally, they all thought it was a good thing, Mori Ibiki did. Who would have thought that the person who shot yesterday would be Shiu? This ordinary kid in their eyes, after recovering, a difficult voice came from Toss' mouth. You did it yesterday. Not too dumb. There are iron pieces on the Trio 3's wristbands, and they cannot perform ninjutsu with their hands controlled, and with their physical skills, they can't forcibly break away from Tokiba's restraints. After trying to no avail, the leader panicked. What do you want? I know that you were instructed by others, so I decided to give you a chance to survive. What chance? Sak said. Just fight with them, Zuoming. If you can defeat them, I will let you go. If you lose, then you can only accept your fate. Really? Tuz gritted his teeth. Naturally, I have always said something. A touch of evil appeared on Shiu's face between the words, and he continued. However, since it is a game, there are naturally corresponding rules. The rule is that the two of them, Zuoming, can kill you, but you can't. If I find that you violate the rules, then this game will end. By then, the only way to greet you is death. Hearing Shiu's words, the grumpy Sak spoke out angrily. It's not fair. Why can they kill us, and we can't kill them? Don't tell me anything fair. I have the final say in this game. Either fight or die. Under the deterrence of Tokiwa's domineering and unparalleled, Toss and Sak could only choose to compromise. The strong make the rules, and the weak can only accept the rules. Shiu put Toss and Sak down, and then said, I have left the mark of chakra on you, so you still give up the stupid idea of running away. Chakra mark. Hearing the two of them, Shiu also said, if not, how could I find you in such a short period of time? Shiu's words undoubtedly cut off the last thoughts of the two of them. To escape, that would not work. Shiu, is this rule a bit unfair? Hearing Naruto's words, Shiu had a direct meal. Education. They can come to kill us, and they will naturally kill others in the future. Advertisement. If you don't want this kind of person to kill more innocent people, then beat me to death until he is dead. Hearing what Shiu said, Naruto felt much better in an instant. Nodded heavily, and then he and Sasuke also strode forward, preparing to face Toss and Sak. Although Toss and Sak were aggrieved in their hearts, they can only bite the bullet now. No surprise. The battle of 4 players 4 soon started, and Shiu, who was watching the battle, could only play with the piano hammer under his control. At this moment, the latter's eyes were full of fear, daring to be angry but not daring to speak. At this moment, she only hopes, those. And, Sak, able to win this game. Otherwise, all 3 of them have to explain here today. However, they don't know it. Even if Shiu doesn't kill them today, they will still die. The 3 of them are just dolls in the hands of Orochimaru. Once it's worthless, there is no need to keep it. In the animation, Toss received an order to test Gaara and was killed. Zack and muscles were used as sacrifices for reincarnation of the dirty earth by Orochimaru. Product and violent death. Shiu knew that this piano hammer was the last goal of the system mission. Piano hammer, right? Hearing this, the chin hammer was stunned for a moment. She didn't have time to think about how Shiu knew her name, and nodded quickly, for fear of angering Shiu. Do you want to fight with me? I don't want to. I give up. Chin mallet, said very simply, but also because this sentence saved her from the punishment of ravaging. Because after her voice fell, the voice of the system appeared. Ding! The task of defeating the sound of Shinobi Trio is complete. Hearing this systematic reminder, Shiu was also stunned. He didn't expect this to work. Of course, it is also possible that the life and death of Piano Hammer is now in Toki's hands. Therefore, the system judged that she was defeated, and shortly after Shiu played with muscles, the battle between Naruto and Sasuke was also coming to an end. In the beginning, Toss and Sak relied on sonic attacks. Has the upper hand, because this attack can paralyze the opponent's auditory nerve. But the two eventually lost. Toss was caught by Sasuke, who had opened the writing round eyes, and he was directly taken away by his new move, Lion Link. And Naruto also used the gourd to draw a scoop, using the shadow clone to create Naruto Links to complete the final anti-kill. When Sasuke saw this scene, He was obviously spit out. At the moment when Toss and Zack were defeated, Shiu also showed a gratified smile on his face, and the two finally did not disappoint him. But Chin Hammer was ashamed. Because the death of her teammate confirmed her fate, without all the pity and sympathy, Shiu sent her directly to see Toss and Zack. The moment the three of them were sent to assassinate Sasuke, it was already doomed. If Shiu does not kill, they will also become victims of Orochimaru. Please download Faye to read the novel without underline. Chapter 62. When Sasuke is fighting Toss, he also needs to know who sent them to kill him. Shiu, how do you know they're here to kill me? Because after they came to Konoha village, you have been targeted, but they are good at hiding voices, but you didn't notice it. Shiu casually explained. Who is that Orochimaru? A disciple of 3 generations of Naruto, one of the legendary 3 ninjas. When Shiu said this, Sasuke and Naruto were dumbfounded. Especially for Sasuke, he couldn't think of why Orochimaru sent someone to kill him. As for why Orochimaru sought his purpose, Shiu didn't say yet. This Orochimaru hasn't really showed up yet. If he knows everything, it's a bit unreasonable. So, it's more appropriate after a while, solve the Atonin trio. After that, there is nothing worthy of nostalgia in Dead Forest. Compared to the game here, it is obviously the Yilaku ramen outside. More fragrant. After a short break, Shiu's Trio 3 also set off again. This time, their destination is the Central Tower. At a distance of 10 kilometers away from the Central Tower, Shiu and the others moved forward at full speed. After half an hour, 3 finally arrived at the periphery of the destination. This is a circular area with a forest and lake on the periphery and a tower-shaped building in the center. There is no doubt that the tower-shaped building is the so-called Central Tower. The reason why they were able to arrive here in such a short period of time is naturally due to Shiu's contribution. You should know that this road is difficult and dangerous, and there are beasts and poisonous insects from time to time. It is not so easy to arrive here safe and sound. Some candidates who had collected the 2 types of scrolls, and many planted on it. It was like the Konohamaru Trio 3 who went to the Central Tower first, and they haven't seen them at this moment. Although it is not an easy task to get here, it does not mean that there is no one here. Because Shiu has found some traces. This forest is a must-pass through the Central Tower. But someone has already arrived here 1 step ahead of them. Obviously, they were not the first to arrive. There were 2 reasons for being able to arrive here in such a short time. The first is that these people will come directly towards the Central Tower from the moment they enter the Death Forest. Their intention is very simple. This is the only place to enter the Central Tower. As long as they set up an ambush here, they can sit back and enjoy their success. There is no need to try to find the team, just save their strength and wait for the fish to be caught here. Advertisement. The second type is the Children of Luck. As soon as they came in, there was a battle, and obtaining the scroll was exactly what they needed. It's like Shiu and the others. They met Orochimaru soon after they came in and got the Book of Earth they needed. If it's not for the Atonin trio, if so, Shiu and the others would have arrived here early. After some surveys, Shiu determined that it was the first situation because there was an ambush here. Sure enough, when Shiu's Trio 3 stepped into this forest, the surrounding environment was gloomy and terrifying, with poisonous insects and beasts everywhere. Not only that, there is a strong smell of blood in the air here. There are still traces of fighting around, and if not unexpected, there must have been fighting here before. Moreover, there are corpses. If nothing else, it should be a battle between several teams of the same idea here, and one of them was killed. I can think of a good way to reap the benefits, but it also depends on whether there is tough strength. Once the arrested person is much stronger than them, then only death will greet them. It's like now, 3 steps in Shiu 3 soon after entering the forest, the enemy finally took action. The dark area of the forest is constantly, hee voice, followed by black shadows continued to emerge from the corners of various shrubs, trees, behind stones, etc. In a short period of time, Shiu and the others appeared before dozens of black shadows. You have become a turtle in the urn. Hearing the words of a dark shadow, the impatient Naruto yelled violently. Isn't it a clone? Immediately, there was no procrastination. However, the result was unsatisfactory. These clones he thought did not disappear as he thought, but just like liquid. Even if you break him up, he will recover again. Whole. How so? Seeing Naruto's anxious look, Sasuke said solemnly. Well, who are they? After a thought, Sasuke directly opened the Shoringan because he thought it was very likely to be an illusion. However, this is not the case, not an illusion. Advertisement. After confirming that it was not an illusion, Sasuke also joined the battlefield. However, these dark shadows can't break up. What makes them even more puzzled is that the shurikens they threw out of these black shadows holding kunai turned out to be real. Had it not been for Shiu's magnetic escape latte, Sasuke and Naruto would have been injured at this moment. This scene made the two of Dazuming look stunned. Their attack on the clones never worked, but the shuriken thrown by the clones turned out to be real, which made them confused for a while. What on earth is it? Naruto said angrily. That's because these clones in front of you are ghosts created by the enemy. As long as the caster is not interrupted, they will not disappear. Phantom ninja, Sasuke murmured, and then asked, since it is a phantom, why are the shurikens they threw real? These are nothing more than the enemy's blindfolds. In fact, the kuwu in Phantom's hand has not been thrown at all, there is only space for action. First of all, the caster made us mistakenly believe that these clones are not aggressive, and then controlled the clones to throw the shuriken, and then the caster teammates hiding in the dark threw the real hands at us. Sword. The purpose is to confuse us to avoid attacks, because we can't tell which time they throw the real shuriken, so once these phantoms move, we must avoid their attacks. In this way, even if we can dodge all attacks, our chakras will be exhausted. When we are exhausted, the enemy can show up and finish. After hearing what Shiba said, Naruto and Sasuke also suddenly realized. But when Shiu explained, the three Rains in the dark had stopped attacking because their battle plan was restrained by Shiu's magnetic escape latte. Damn, what kind of ninjutsu? The caster Yurin, Zanai, muttered to himself, and then said to the two of them, Jiu, Bon, how do you know? Ninjutsu that can control iron weapons, I seem to have heard of it there. Yu Shinobu named, Mungwo Jiu, murmured to herself. Oh, then think about it carefully and see if there is any way to crack it. The last Yurin urged. After a brief thought, Kazuo suddenly patted his thigh. I remember. Hearing what he said, the eyes of Bon and Zanai also fell on Jiu. However, it hasn't waited for the latter to speak. They were weird to find that their body seemed a little out of control, as if they had been summoned. Next second, when the two of them didn't know what was going on, the three of them were directly dragged away by a huge suction force. Otherwise, block the collection of IP to chapter 63. At this time, there was a constant sound from the forest. Boom. 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 These noises are the sounds of the three Yunin crashing along the way. The noises are continuous, and I don't know how many times they have been hit. Every sound is always accompanied by a painful wailing, and the caller can't bear to listen anymore. This moment, Yu endured the pain caused by the impact and shouted, Bon, Jenna, quickly mobilize chakra to cover the whole body. After hearing this, the two did not hesitate at all, immediately. Just do it. As predicted, after they covered the whole body with chakra, the powerful suction suddenly disappeared. However, the three of them are already bruised all over. Ju, what kind of ninjutsu is that? Bon asked. If I didn't guess wrong, it should be a kind of bloodstain limit. Bloodstain limit? Bon and Zanai suddenly startled. Yes, this kind of bloodstain limit is called magnetic escape. This kind of bloodstain boundary basically appeared in Bloodstain Boundary, and now the person who owns this bloodstain boundary is the 4th generation Fengying of Bloodstain Boundary, Luo Sha. After hearing these words, Na Bon and Zanai also had a shocked expression, and there was a thick color of astonishment in their eyes. The owners of Bloodstain Limit are so rare that they didn't expect to be met by the three of them. Moreover, it was just enough to restrain their battle plan, Bloodstain Limit. At the same time, they also understood the reason why they and others were pulled away by a huge suction just now. It turned out to be because of magnetism. At this moment, the hearts of the trio three were also aggrieved. After learning the truth, Zanai also asked, quickly. According to your statement, these three people should be ninja from Knowledge of Wind, but the Ninja Guardian on their heads is obviously from Konoha. Are you stupid? I mean basically appearing in the Kingdom of Wind, but it doesn't mean that it won't appear in other places. The ambiguity between the words gave Zanai a glance. Then what should I do now and continue? After thinking about the Bon issue, Yu also said. We now know what kind of bloodstain limit the other party has. As long as we make corresponding countermeasures, we can still keep them here. What do you mean, Bon Road? Since iron products such as kunai and darts cannot be used, then we will use appwood instead. Although the power is a little bit smaller, it doesn't matter much. After all, our main purpose is to consume their physical strength. Advertisement. After hearing these words, Bon and Zanna also nodded and agreed to the former's method. Then let's act quickly, lest we let them run away. The words of the bonbon just fell, and the other two had no response, and an extremely strange voice rang in their ears. Sorry, we didn't plan to run. Hearing this, the three of Yunin 3 were taken aback. When they looked at the source of the sound, they found that there were already 3 figures standing there at this time. No surprise, it was Shiu and 3. When did you get here? Zanai exclaimed. He didn't think that the three of them could approach them silently, just when you were immersed in the discussion. Naruto laughed. Bon, Jenna, hurry up and throw away all the iron products on your body. Otherwise, our chakras will be exhausted soon. Hearing this, Schwanai and the two did not hesitate to do so. Because they also know very well that if they fight in this state, they will definitely not be able to support it for too long. At this moment, they could only throw away the rain-bearing forehead, temporarily. Seeing the appearance of the trio 3, Shiu and the others couldn't help laughing as if they were watching a monkey show. Shiu. Look at them 3-3, ha ha ha, Naruto. With such a sneer, Yunin's trio 3 also had a temper. Huh, you like to laugh, right? Now I will make you unable to laugh. We already know the weakness of your bloodstain limit, I see how you can break our trick. After the words, Yu looked at Bon and Zanna, and the three of them nodded 3. Immediately after, the three of them pose in Indian style together, and a low drink comes from their mouths. Ninfa Obi technique. The technique of Aussie clone. It is one of the representative illusions in Yu Ninja Village. Looking at the dozen or so chakra clones that appeared in front of him, Naruto said in surprise. Is it Phantom again? Almost, the same method? In the words, Sasuke has already opened the Shaolunyan see through the illusion of the three people three, and continued to speak. However, the body does not seem to be hidden in these clones. Hearing Sasuke's words, the three Yurenbu hiding in the ground saw Sasuke's eyes, and he was immediately taken aback. That's Jiaolunyan, writing round eyes, but in the legend, only the Uchiha clan can have bloodstain limit. Advertisement, it seems that the kid should be a descendant of the Uchiha clan. After the three of them exchange, they were also extremely shocked. They didn't expect that there would be 2 bloodstain limits in a small team. They really had lost blood for 8 lives. HMPH, even if he has Jiaolunyan, Mungwojiki snorted coldly, and continued. As long as no one of them knows to escape, we are absolutely safe. Naruto was also angrily after he slapped the clone. Damn it, those 3 people hid there again. In the next instant, Sasuke noticed a chakra movement on the ground and hurriedly reminded him. Naruto, be careful. Sasuke's voice fell, and a palm suddenly stretched out on the ground, on which there was a detonation talisman pinched. Duh. After avoiding the attack, Naruto was also angrily said, these guys know that hiding in the dark sneak attack, it's too hateful. Yu Ren, indeed has his own uniqueness. Although his own combat effectiveness is not very good, these dirty methods are quite playful. No wonder they were able to kill another group of people. It is not unreasonable. If they are hiding in the ground, it is almost difficult to find them if they are not good at earth escape. However, except for those who are powerful, Takiwa, Naruto, and Sasuke are all 3 of them with the earth attribute chakra, but the 2 of them have not mastered the earth attribute chakra change, and they can't use the two-done ninjutsu. As for Shiu, although he has mastered it, but there is no research. And there is no ninjutsu in Shoheru's skills, and Shiu also murmured a few words to himself. Hey, I knew I let Kakashi casually teach Chunin ninjutsu. Up until now, you can only use that secret technique. At this point, Shiu also said to the 2 Zuoming, Naruto, Sasuke, you 2 stand back. The 2 people who heard this were stunned. Although they didn't know what Shiu wanted to do, they still did. Because they believed in Shiu. When Shiu's hand was printed, the whole earth seemed to be trembling. Next second, countless small particles emerged from the ground, and then condensed on Shiu's head to form a huge hammer. It looks like a clear sky hammer. Obviously, this hammer is the clear sky hammer in Shiyu's animation, Doro Enlightenment. Condensed by the prototype. And those small things are undoubtedly metal particles, due to the different colors of metals, such clear sky hammer. Presenting colorful colors. Understanding the weakness of magnetic escape latte, I am not the only one, so let you try my own secret technique. Magnetic escape clear sky hammer. Chapter 64. Looking at the sky above, Sasuke and Naruto were shocked by the clear sky hammer condensed from various colors. The Yunin trio 3 who was hiding in the ground were all in a deep shock. He obviously didn't expect a Shaoren to master such a powerful ninjutsu. Zan Na, what does he want to do? Bon spoke out. Isn't it just used to hammer our clone? Zan Na murmured. Hearing what the 2 said, after a brief thought, Mungwo and Yu suddenly thought of something and immediately shouted. No, run away. However, as soon as his voice sounded, Shiu had already controlled the colorful clear sky hammer. Fell down. Shoo, shoo. The air was squeezed away when it fell, and there was a sound of breaking wind. Boom. With a loud noise, the clear sky hammer hit the dozens of chakra clones without any suspense. Suddenly, smoke and dust are everywhere. The surrounding shrubs and gravel could not support the spreading energy ripples, and they were directly swept away. After a while, after the smoke dissipated, a huge pit appeared on the ground. In the deep pit at this time, the dozen or so chakra clones had long since disappeared, leaving only 3 corpses embedded in the mud. There was still blood flowing in it, and it was obvious that the dead couldn't die anymore. After Naruto was stunned for a long time, he said, Toki, you are too handsome with ninjutsu. Well, I am quite satisfied myself. Shiu responded and said, Naruto, go get the scrolls from them. Didn't we have gathered 2 kinds of scrolls? If you say you are stupid, you still don't admit it. If we don't take the scrolls away, wouldn't it be cheaper to pass by other candidates here? Once they get the 2 types of scrolls together, we will have more opponents in the next level. Would you like to see such a result? Hearing Shiyu's words, Naruto nodded with a sudden realization. Immediately after Naruto's body search, 2 scrolls were also found on the trio 3, both of them are Book of the Earth. It can only be said that this team is really back. The first team killed is the same as their own scroll, so they can only stay here and wait for the next arrested person. The tragedy was that they had waited until Shiu was this abnormal. Now Shiu and the others already have 666 scrolls in their hands, 3 volumes of the Book of Heaven, and 3 volumes of the Book of Earth. Because of this, Naruto was suddenly curious. Shiu, what do you think is written in this scroll? Why did teacher Hongdu not let us open it? Advertisement, there is something like hypnotism in it. Shiu said. Hypnosis, Shiu nodded, and then said, according to the information I have collected, last year some examinees opened the scrolls out of curiosity, causing them to sleep in the dead forest for 5 days and 5 nights. Isn't the exam over? Otherwise, how could it be included in the elimination rules? If you are unlucky, it may become a beast's dish. Hearing Shiyu's words, Naruto and Sashi took a breath. Especially Naruto. He was fortunate that he was the little prince of intelligence in his team. Otherwise, he might really be curious to open it. Okay, let's go. After solving the 3 Chunin, this area is a safe zone. And just as Shiyu's Trio 3 was about to leave, they suddenly heard a huge roar. Roar. This voice obviously didn't come from a human being, and if nothing else, it would be a beast. It's just that Shiu was puzzled that the beasts couldn't scream for no reason, unless they were in danger or they encountered prey. We used to look good. As Shiyu's voice fell, the Trio 3 also went directly to the source of the sound. And as soon as they rushed to the scene, things were as good as Shiu guessed. Sure enough, this sound was made by a wild beast, and it was also made by a huge brown bear. At this time, in addition to the brown bear's roar, there was also a scream. What? The owner of this voice is a female ninja from Kushinen village, with black-rimmed glasses and red hair. Others didn't know the identity of the latter, and Shiu spotted it at a glance. Uzumaki fragrant phosphorus. Shiu didn't expect to meet the latter in this place adjacent to the central tower, and she seemed to be alone. Looking at the Judah brown bear that rushed towards him, Shanglin originally thought he was going to die in the bear's belly. Suddenly, a figure fell from the sky, kicking the huge brown bear to the ground with one kick. Advertisement boom. Looking at the motionless brown bear in the smoke and dust, Shanglin was also very relieved. There is no doubt that she has recovered a life, and when the smoke and dust completely dissipated, the figure standing on the top of the brown bear was also caught in the eyes of phosphorus. This figure is naturally Shiu. If Shiu didn't make a timely move just now, Shanglin would undoubtedly die. Duh. Shiu jumped off the brown bear and gave a cry of condolences. Are you okay? It's okay. Wasn't there a blush on Shanglin's face between the words, and his beautiful eyes didn't dare to look directly at Shiu. At this moment, 2 more slight landing sounds sounded. Duh. Immediately, there were 2 more figures in Shanglin's eyes. They were Sasuke and Naruto who had just arrived. At this moment, Naruto looked at the huge brown bear on the ground and couldn't help but sigh for a moment, and then they turned their attention to Phosphorus. Hey, why are you here alone? Where are your teammates? Hearing Naruto's words, Shanglin glanced at Shiu and said slowly. You are not here to grab my scroll, are you? It's no wonder that Phosphorus would think like this. After all, now in the exam, all candidates are fighting for the scroll. In her eyes, Shiu Trio 3 is no exception. We don't need scrolls anymore. Naruto grinned. Unnecessary. Naruto also dazzled the 666 scrolls in his hand to the astonishment of Shanglin. Knowing this result, Shanglin was also extremely shocked. It was difficult for others to get a scroll, but I didn't expect that the 3 people in front of them already had 6 scrolls. At this point, she couldn't help but think of a reason. That is, they don't need scrolls, but they may not let others have them, so that they can prevent more people from advancing. Don't worry, we won't steal your scroll. It's just a way to save you. If there is nothing wrong, we will leave first. Hearing Shiyu's words, Shanglin was also startled, but there was still a trace of worry in his heart. She didn't come back to her senses until Shiyu's Trio 3 left. She wanted to ask Shiyu's name, but it was a pity that she was already far away, and this result made her extremely disappointed. Can only look stupidly at the direction in which the 3 of Shiu 3 disappeared, secretly. As for the 3 of Shiu 3, there were no more obstacles or accidents along the way, and he arrived directly at the central tower. Chapter 65. When Yu-san 3 arrived at the central tower, there was no candidate here except the examiner. In other words, the 3 of them were the first to arrive. From the invigilator's mouth, they learned that the test took 1 hour and 3 minutes to the present. It broke the fastest record of this assessment in all previous years, or in other words, created a record. Because the best time in the past was 4 hours, but now, Shiu is really more than 2 hours faster than them. Moreover, this is also the reason why Shiu and the others were delayed a lot of time. Otherwise, it will only be faster, and this result naturally alarmed Konoha's high-level staff, especially the Red Beans who were watching the Tokiba Trio 3 at the moment in the central tower. As the chief examiner of the second exam, after learning this news, he was naturally deeply shocked. This result completely surpassed her expectations. She knew Shiu should have good strength, but she didn't expect the latter to be so strong. This achievement has surpassed Zhang Ren, because even a Zhang Ren, I am afraid that it will not be able to reach here in such a short time. From the outermost periphery of the Death Forest to here, there are many difficulties on the way, and there are many beasts and poisonous insects. Moreover, it is necessary to guard against secret sneak attacks by other candidates. Therefore, if you want to arrive in such a short period of time, it would be impossible to do without strong strength. Seeing Shiu and the 3 of them stepping into the central tower, Red Bean also muttered. This kid seems to be stronger than I thought, and just as the Red Bean's voice fell, the examiner's astonishment sounded in the room. Master Hongdu, someone else has arrived. What? Hongdo was startled and looked at another part of the forest. I saw 3 human figures walking slowly there at this time, and the leader was that person carrying an earthy yellow gourd on his back. Undoubtedly, this group of people are Gaara, Temari and Konkuro. With the protection of Gaara Shaza, the 3 of them don't have to worry about a sneak attack. Because of this, they have also been rampant along the way. If it weren't for Gaara's current bloodthirsty tendency, they should be able to get here faster. Sarah Shinobu of the Kingdom of Wind. It seems that the quality of candidates in this session is much better than before. It's really getting more and more interesting. When Gaara and others came towards the central tower, Shiu and the others had already entered a special room. This room is specially prepared for candidates. After entering the room, There was no one inside, and there was no teacher. Naruto, Sasuke. Take out the scrolls, and open the Book of Heaven, and Book of Earth, at the same time as Mr. Hondu said. Advertisement. After hearing Shiyu's words, Zuoming and the two also nodded. Immediately, Sasuke held the Book of Heaven, Naruto held the Book of Earth, and after a glance at each other, the two slowly opened it. The next moment the scroll opens. The scheme in the two scrolls are combined to form a person, word, summoning. Bang. As a white smoke dissipated, one was also caught in the eyes of Shiyu's Trio 3. Is this a Jongnin? And they all know each other. Naruto looked surprised when he saw this. You are, hi, long time no see, Teacher Luca, how could it be you? What's the matter? Naruto looked puzzled. Our Zonran was originally the messenger of this exam, and the task is to welcome those of you who have passed the second exam. And the messenger in this room, it is me. After hearing Iruka's explanation, Naruto and Sasuke came to understand. It's just that what they didn't expect was that it would be such a coincidence, and their herald would turn out to be the Iruka who taught them. Is this really a coincidence? Of course it is not. It was Iruka's initiative to apply. It's just that Iruka didn't expect that Tokiba's Trio 3 passed the exam so quickly. You know, this is an unprecedented record. Iruka was both shocked and gratified in his thoughts. Yeah. Iruka screamed, and then said very formally, congratulations, you passed second exam. After hearing this, Naruto couldn't help it. One swoop is directly Iruka, expressing his excitement. Hearing this, Sasuke also sat down on the ground, because he was one step closer to Nakanin. After Naruto let go, Sasuke also asked, Mr. Iruka, if we open the scroll midway, I will still be hypnotized. Iruka was stunned, and then said, how did you know? It's the information Shiu collected from previous candidates. Advertisement, so it is. During the speech, Iruka looked at Shiu, and felt that the latter had changed a lot. This kind of performance is not only in terms of strength, but also in terms of mentality. He is also very happy that Shiu can grow like this. After all, they have had the same experience, yes. If you open the scroll before arriving in this special room, the person who opened it will lose consciousness instantly and won't wake up until the end of second exam. Immediately after, Iruka also told the three of Shiu 3 about the content of his pass, which is what the three generations of Hokage so-called Wall of Fire. Shiu, Naruto, Sasuke. Although you have passed second exam, there is still the most difficult third exam waiting for you. Until the last minute, don't let go. Seeing the three of them nodded at 3, Iruka said again. There are still 4 days left before the third exam. You can take a good rest and go to meet the last exam. Teacher Iruka, let's go eat ramen. Naruto. Ah ha ha ha. Iruka was stunned, and then laughed. Okay, as a reward for celebrating your passing second exam. And after Shiu and others left the Death Forest, the information that they passed the second exam spread throughout Konoha in an instant. This news is undoubtedly shocking everyone, because they not only broke the record, but also set a record. For this reason, everyone congratulated Kakashi, and while Kakashi was happy, he was also very pleased. But it was Gaara's group that shocked them, because they were only 2 minutes slower than Shiyu's Trio 3. Gaara's group score is 97 minutes. Time flies. 4 days have passed in a flash, and the second exam has ended successfully. Shikamaru, Ningxiai and other 12 and 2 Xiaoqiangs all passed this level, a total of 7 teams, a total of 21 people. The person who passed the exam on the last day was the worst. Because they don't have time to rest, but directly participate in the qualifiers of the third test. Only through the qualifiers, talents are eligible to participate in the third exam, which is also the final selection. To see the ununderlined version of the novel, please download and fly. Chapter 66 The Qualifier Venue. At this time, all the candidates who passed the second test have all arrived, including the examiners from the first 2 sessions. Even the 3 generations of Sarutobi Hisaki were here in person. After the atmosphere was silent, the voice of Itsuki Beans also sounded. Next, I would like Master Naruto to explain about the third test, qualifier-related matters. Master Naruto, please. As Itsuki Beans' voice fell, everyone's eyes focused on Sarutobi Hitoshi. The 3 generations glanced at Shiu and other candidates, and began his long discussion. In short, this is not a simple test, but it is about your own dreams, the prestige of the village, and even the height of the country. So, this is a battle that requires you to die. After Sarutobi Hisaki's voice fell, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Sandai. Master Naruto, leave the following things to the referee. Seeing 3 generations nodding, the qualifiers. The referee also turned to look at Shiu and others, and his voice seemed a little bit. Hello. My name is Moonlight Hayate, and I am the referee of this qualifying tournament. Moonlight gusts, he looks sickly, but he is a particularly forbearer. Moreover, he is still the owner of Bloodstain Limit. Moonlight Hayate talked to Shiu and others about the qualifiers. The rules have said immediately. In short, as long as the winners in the qualifiers are eligible to participate in the final selection of third exam. Then if you feel that you are unwell now, you should withdraw first, or if there is something you don't understand, hurry up and ask questions. Just as the sound of the moonlight blast fell, the voice of the pocket rang along with it. I abstain. Dudu's behavior makes everyone puzzled, but sometimes you knows the hidden secrets. Advertisement Moonlight Blast was taken aback for a moment, and then said, then you can go. When the 3 generations saw this, they said to the red beans on the side, "Red beans, I feel very familiar with this." The red bean who heard this also checked the information in his pocket, and found that this was the 7th time the latter took the Central Ninja exam. Moreover, every time I opted out of this link, this answer made the 3 generations suspicious of Do, but it was only doubtful, because the identity of Konoha was seamless. For 3 generations, they couldn't find out anything at a time, and Naruto, Sakura and others were shocked by the sudden withdrawal of 2, and Shiu was too lazy to bother. However, Dudu took a deep look at Shiu when he left. If nothing else, it was obviously Orochimaru, and as for the news of Orochimaru's defeat, he obviously didn't know. Now he just knew that Shiu didn't look like that in his performance. He had learned this from the first exam. Seeing that no one had any more questions, the sound of the moonlight and gust of wind also sounded again. Then now I announce that the qualifiers of 3rd exam will now begin. Now start assigning opponents immediately. As the words of the moonlight blast fell, everyone's eyes were looking at a wall. There was an electronic display screen hanging on it, and it had already started to flicker, a few seconds later. 2 names appeared on the display, Uchiha Sasuke and Akaboshi Kai. Seeing this result, Naruto and others also cheered for Sasuke. Unexpectedly the first "it is me." After Sasuke chanted, he slowly walked to the playing field, and there was one person like him. He is Akaburo Kai, Osamaru's subordinate. Seeing the 2 players in place, Moonlight Hayate also announced. The first round player, Uchiha Sasuke Akaburo Kai, the 2 sides may have objections. No. The same 2 words were spit out from the mouths of the 2 of them, and both of them were extremely confident in their own strength. No surprises. The first round of the game officially started in the eyes of everyone's expectations. Akatsuki Kaizi was called this name because he was able to condense the fire attribute chakra on his arm. It is also very because of this that his attacks are quite threatening and have a certain degree of burn effect. However, his strength is comparable to that of the Atonin trio. The toss anvil is a lot weaker. At the moment Sasuke opened the Shoringan, he had already fallen into the next imitation. Advertisement in the end, he was taken away directly by a move of Lion Bomb. The reason why Sasuke Sheng was able to win this battle was so easy, and it was inseparable from the battle in the Dead Forest. Coupled with Shiu's slight guidance for a few days, his use of Shoringan has reached the point of free control. Therefore, it is naturally easy to deal with the red copper Kailai. And when Sasuke used the Lion Bomb, Kakashi, Akai and Xiao Li were all surprised because the start of this trick is different from Table Lianhua. Is the same, they are all shadow dance. If nothing else, Sasuke obviously learned it by using Shaolunyan in a short confrontation with Xiao Li. Because of this, the 3 of them can't help but sigh. This Uchiha is worthy of being a family known as a genius ninja, and this kind of talent is indeed not comparable to ordinary people. In the first round, the winner, Sasuke Uchiha. As the words of Moonlight Storm fell, Naruto also shouted. Sasuke is good. Knowing this result, Sakura, Ino's face was also dissatisfied with joy, but for some reason, they did not have the enthusiasm of the past. Seeing this scene, Neji also said, "Is this the strength of the first freshman this year?" Hearing the words on the side, Tianshin looked at Neji and said in his heart, "This year's first freshman Sasuke Uchiha and last year's first freshman, Hyuga, who is better?" At this moment, not only do they hold this idea every day, but the vast majority of people present are like that. With Sasuke's victory and Akatsuki's defeat, it also announced the end of the first round of competition. Now start the second round of competition. When the sound of the moonlight and blast fell, the display on the wall flickered again. Yu Nishino, Ken Meisumi. There was no surprise in the outcome of this battle, and Shino, who had never failed, won the final victory. Sakura and Ino's best friend battle followed, and the battle between the 2 ended in a tie. Next is Konkuro versus Tianshin. The result is that Konkuro's puppet technique is stronger, because Tianshin has never been in contact with a ninja like a puppet master, and unfortunately lost. In the 4th round of competition, Kanjuro wins. The 5th round was Shikamaru's battle. With his superb IQ and shadow imitation, he easily defeated his opponent. Functional ninjas like Shikamaru and Ino, as long as their opponents are not too perverted, they can win very much. With Shikamaru's victory, it was finally Naruto's turn. Moonlight Hayate looked at the 2 names on the display, and said in a hurry. The 6th round of competition, Naruto Uzumaki, to Inuzuka Toa. Chapter 67. Hearing the words of the moonlight blast, Naruto instantly became excited. It's here, finally it's my turn, ha ha ha, let everyone wait for a long time, finally it's time for me to perform. Ya at the moment also looked happy, but he was not excited because it was his turn to play. But because his opponent is Naruto, ha ha ha, good luck. Akamaru, we are determined to win. The reason why Ya is so confident is because Naruto is known as the tale of the 10,000 years crane in the ninja school, and the strongest oil bottle in history. Therefore, in the eyes of everyone, Naruto is the worst kind. It is also because of this. When Naruto played, there was no one to cheer for him except Takuya and Sasuke, as well as the Komaru Trio 3 who had previously been helped by Naruto. As for Hinata, she would only secretly cheer in her heart. When Naruto and Ya were fighting on the field, Ya still couldn't stop the excitement in her heart. Naruto. I met you and I was promoted ahead of time, he. Hearing this, Naruto was upset in an instant. Humph, you don't talk big, I won't lose to you. Naruto replied, and then said, Okay, yeah, the game is about to start, let your dog go. Don't interfere with our game, ha ha ha, Naruto, you idiot, Akamaru is my partner, of course he wants to fight with me together. Wow, Akamaru called. Naruto heard the words and looked directly at the examiner of Moonlight Hayate. Hey, this won't work. The ninja includes animals and bugs, and even all living things. Hearing Moonlight Hayate's answer, Naruto pursed his mouth, looking indifferent. Humph. Well then, let him. In this regard, Naruto can only comfort himself in this way. After the two ridiculed each other, the game finally started. Ya directly used the unique secret skill of their Inuzuka clan, four-legged ninja art of simulating beasts. As the name suggests, it is like a dog on all fours, so that you can have the same speed as a dog, and you can cooperate with Akamaru. If Naruto didn't talk to the Atonin trio before this qualifying tournament. Advertisement, Sark, if there has been a confrontation, he will definitely suffer from it now. Ya's strength is obviously above him, however, Naruto can't do anything else, but he is resistant to beatings, and he is used to human flesh sandbags. Known as. The reason Naruto was so resistant was because of his amazing recovery, and all of this was due to the power that Kyuubi gave. Of course, it could also be because he has the blood of the Maelstrom family. The Whirlpool family not only have a strong chakra by nature, but their physical resilience is also quite amazing. But this is only compared to ordinary people, because not every Maelstrom clan has abnormal level of resilience. It's like Vortex Phosphorus. This ability of her is more obvious, and this ability is similar to Six Daoshen's fairy human body. There is a certain relationship. Both the Uzumaki clan and the Senshu clan are descendants of Asura, and Asura inherited the body power of 6 Dao immortals, which is the so-called fairy human body. Therefore, as the descendants of Asura, the Uzumaki clan and the Chianshu clan have stronger resilience than ordinary people. And Senjuzuzuma, it's because of the awakening of the fairy human body. Will have such an amazing resilience, which can be called an immortal body. And this fairy human body, it's not for nothing. It was made by the 6 ways of immortal Itsuki Yui when he was practicing the fairy mode. From the animation, we can know that the 6 ways of the immortal followed the Toad Immortal, Toad Pill, when they were adults. Practice fairy skills, but he was still young when he arrived, cultivating as a 6 Dao immortals. It's impossible for him to have that bad talent, so there is only one explanation, that is, he is condensing the fairy human body. Fairy human body. You can directly turn on the ferryman mode. Automatically absorb the natural energy between heaven and earth, because although the pillars have awakened the fairy human body, but because too many generations have passed, it is impossible to awaken the most perfect immortal human body, and you need to cultivate to enter this state. Chianshu Juma was cultivated in the wet bone forest, into the fairy model. Only then did he manage the fairy human body perfectly. This point can be confirmed by the changes in eyes and facial lines after entering the fairy mode from the first generation. Moreover, Tsunade's psychic beast, the slug, is inherited from the first generation. Bang! Naruto blasted away with a punch, and Ya also said proudly, Naruto, you are not my opponent, so hurry up and give up. Everyone thought that Naruto would lose the competition, but Naruto still straightened his waist. Advertisement, Ya, I won't just give in that case, don't blame me for being impolite. The teeth that fell from the voice directly caused Akamaru to jump on his body, and then used the second family secret technique. Imitation beast ninja or clone. Bang! As a white smoke drifted by, Akamaru, who was originally a dog, now became a human form exactly like a tooth. Naruto, take it, roar. After a loud roar, the 2 teeth rushed towards Naruto at the same time. At this moment, Naruto is also stressed, but he can't lose, and he doesn't want to lose. Sasuke has won. How can he lose? A kind of belief occupied his heart, and his eyes became firm. Firm stand up. The art of shadow clone. Naruto used the shadow clone to fight Ya, hoping to win by the advantage of numbers, but the result was unsatisfactory. Ya is not so easy to deal with, he is better than that. Atonin, Sark. After a lot of shopping, everyone thought that Naruto was going to lose, but Naruto relied on his fighting talent and used the transformation technique to fool Fang. He turned himself into a tooth, which led to the scene, and all 3 of them were tooth. Akamaru can't help but speak. Satoa can only recognize Naruto by her keen sense of smell. Tooth has a sense of smell tens of thousands times more than normal, so he immediately recognized that it was Naruto's change. So he didn't have the slightest nonsense, and his backhand was a punch. Bang! No accident, Naruto was hit to the ground with a punch. However, Naruto was so skilled that he took the opportunity to become an Akamaru when he was blasted to the ground. Tia mistakenly thought that he had identified it wrong, so in a rage, he beat the real Akamaru. Akamaru was blasted to the ground with a fist from the tooth, and Akamaru, which chakra used to consume almost the same amount, also lost his combat ability. And without the assistance of Akamaru, Ya's combat power was greatly reduced. This is ushering in Naruto's Jedi counterattack. After the 2 fierce battles, Naruto won the final victory with a newly created move, Naruto Links. This scene made Kakashi, Akai and the others very embarrassed. This plagiarism is not enough, even the name is plagiarized. Looking at the fallen, tooth. Moonlight Hayate waited for a while, after confirming that it was correct, it was also announced. The sixth round, the winner, Naruto Uzumaki. This result is undoubtedly beyond everyone's expectation, Shikamaru, Ino, and Dinxiai who have been helped by Naruto all exclaimed. Good job. Good job. Following Naruto's exit as a winner, the players of both sides in the 7th round were also released. Hyuga Ningji, Hyuga Hinata. To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download and fly. Chapter 68 on the playing field. Ningxi looked at Hinata, with no emotion in his eyes, and indifferent words slowly spit out from his mouth. I didn't expect that my opponent would be you, Miss Hinata. Brother Ningxi. Seeing the names of the two, and hearing the conversation between the two at this time, Naruto realized that the two were actually cousins. What, they are brothers and sisters. They are all from Konoha's ancient famous family with excellent bloodlines, the Hyuga clan. To be precise, it should be the relationship between the clan and the division. At this point, Kakashi was also a little bit hesitant to speak, apparently knowing some of these things. Immediately after, as a teammate of Ningxi, Xiao Li was to popularize science for Naruto and others about the meaning of the existence of the family and the division of families. Then isn't this a fateful duel, Kozakura said. The final result of this battle was within everyone's expectations, and Hinata was undoubtedly defeated by the genius Neji. It's just that through this battle, Hinata has grown a lot. Another point, this battle shocked Naruto and the others because they knew another type of bloodstain limit. White eyes. It is said that the pupil technique of white eyes is not under Shulunyan, but in the Hyuga family. Look at the usage situation. Obviously it's declining. They didn't develop the ability of white eyes at all. They could only observe the human body's veins and assist with the soft fist. Moreover, there are those who act as scouts, white eyes. In fact, it can also evolve, but the Hyuga family doesn't know it. White eyes, clean eyes, reincarnation eyes, just like the white eyes of Dadung Mu Huye. It is estimated that it is the ultimate of ordinary white eyes, and the super powerful 80 Sky Magic Strike can already be used. In addition to this, white eyes has some other abilities. For example, white eyes pressure, Itsuki Teru. White eyes can deter opponents and make them unable to move. If they are heavy, they can directly turn the opponent into a ball of blood. Fog. White eye illusion. Itsuki Teru. Use unknown abilities to control Hamura, similar to Uchiha Shisui's Farewell God illusion. Even though Shiu knew this, it was because he didn't roll his eyes now. Otherwise, I will definitely study it carefully. With Hinata's defeat, the 8th round of the game immediately followed. Gaara Li rocked. This result made Xiao Li very excited, but Gaara was very dissatisfied because he only wanted to fight Shiu. Advertisement others, he is not interested. This one is undoubtedly a lot of attention, because many people want to know Gaara's victory. In addition to Naruto and Sasuke, the other candidates present undoubtedly think Gaara is probably the strongest among the candidates this year. As for Shiu, it is undoubtedly the finale, the 8th round of competition, start. As the sound of the moonlight blast fell, I was not talking nonsense, and rushed towards Gaara at an extreme speed. Coming up is the Konoha tornado, that sweeps the legs of the hall, but without opening the 8-door Dunjia, Xiao Li has never been able to break through Gaara's defense. It was also at this moment that Kaka and the others all knew why Gaara was so strong and why he could pass the second exam without any damage. Undoubtedly, all this must be sand with him. It's related. While watching the battle, Kankuro and Temari also have a confident look on their faces, muttering in their hearts. No one can hurt Gaara. Seeing that Xiao Li had been using physical skills to attack, Naruto also asked, Teacher Akai, why Xiao Li only uses physical skills? Are you not using it, but not, because he knows nothing about ninjutsu and illusion? After Kai's voice fell, he also knew that Xiao Li was not Gaara's opponent. So let Xiao Li untie his body. Xiao Li, take it down. Bar. But Mr. Akai, you said that only when I encounter situations that require protection for me, it can be done. I allow you to make an exception. Hearing Kai's words, Xiao Li also nodded excitedly. Immediately under everyone's stunned eyes, the two weights under their feet. When they were taken off, there was a loud noise when they fell to the ground. Boom. The sound seemed like a huge rock smashed to the ground, and countless smoke and dust rose up. This scene undoubtedly shocked everyone. Who can do two seemingly ordinary, heavy objects? With such a weight, looking at the dense runes on it, it is obvious that some kind of gravity has been applied. Huh. With the sound of breaking the wind, Xiao Li's figure has disappeared in place. When he appeared again, he was already in front of Gaara, but this time was different because the speed of sand could not keep up with Xiao Li. Xiao Li's speed can only be so great. The first is because he has taken off the heavy objects that bind him. The second is that he has now opened the first door of 8-door Dunjia, open the door. Advertisement therefore, his speed and strength have been significantly improved. Bang. 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 After several offensives, Xiao Li found a flaw and hit Gaara in the cheek with a kick. Bang. This scene made Naruto and others not calm. They didn't expect Xiao Li to be so strong, even the genius Sasuke and Neji. Kankuro and Temari would also have a wrong look. They didn't expect someone in Chunin could hurt Gaara. And just when they were shocked, the battle in the field became more and more intense. After opening the 8-door Dunjia, Xiao Li must quickly resolve the battle. Otherwise, the consumption of overload will only accelerate the consumption of his chakra physical and mental power, and will soon fall into a state of vain. Although the current Xiao Li can break through Gaara's defense, the problem is that it can break his shell of sand. That's it. It still couldn't cause damage to its body. For this result, Xiao Li also knew that he could only use the forbidden technique. Otherwise, he will not have the slightest chance of winning if he drags on it. Xiao Li didn't procrastinate either, he directly untied the bandage in his hand. His figure disappeared again in the next second. After attacking Gaara, he used his extreme speed to grab a flaw in Gaara, and then used it directly. Shadow Leaf Dance. Bang. Look at the trick. There was a low drink in his heart, and the bandage in Xiao Li's hand bloomed in an instant, and then it seemed as if there was life. It directly entangled Gaara. Immediately after, Gaara was hugged by Xiao Li in the air and fell down. The high-speed rotation caused the air to friction and make a squeaking sound. Boom. No accident. Gaara directly hit Xiao Li's taboo secret skills, Biao Lianhua. When the smoke cleared, Gaara lay motionless among the collapsed slabs. Seeing this scene, everyone thought Gaara was defeated. Naruto, Sakura and others all shouted for Xiao Li. Even Shikamaru and others were no exception. Because they defeated the strongest of shinobu in other countries, this is undoubtedly a proud thing for Konoha. As a member of Konoha Shinobu village, they are naturally happy for this. However, only Kakashi and Toki know that Xiao Li's Beauty Lotus hit is just Gaara's sand clone. That's it. This is indeed the case. Gaara, who was lying on the collapsed stone slab, was slowly cracking, then disintegrating, turning into grains of sand. This result made the scene quiet for a while. Filu reminds you. 3 things to read. Chapter 69. How is this going? When did that guy escape? If it's a clone, Xiao Li should be able to detect it. Seeing this scene, Kai came directly into a puzzle of 3 lines, because this result was undoubtedly telling him that Xiao Li's taboo moves were equivalent to hitting the air, and it was unacceptable. Regarding Kai Huang's doubts, Kakashi also told him the truth. Just when you closed your eyes. Xiao Li's continuous load training all the year round led to a gap when he performed Shadow Leaf Dance just now, and this allowed his opponent to escape. Hearing this, Emperor Kai's hands were also clenched tightly. Because Xiao Li was exhausted after using this trick. This is the consequence of overloading consumption. No way, Xiao Li can make limited chakras, and most of it has been consumed after a battle. The use of Biao Lianhua just now completely squandered the remaining chakra in his body, and now he is extremely weak. As for Emperor Kai, it is because he has reached a very high level. The first 5 or 6 doors are also playing like they are open. At the same time, Gaara has fallen into anger because he has been blackened until now. No one has forced him to this point. At this moment, the battle has shown a one-sided situation. Xiao Li, who is incomparably emptied, can only be beaten, when Naruto, Sasuke and others thought that the game would end with Gaara's victory. Shiu said, "Don't worry, it's not yet time to decide the winner." Naruto was stunned, and then asked, "But it is very difficult for Xiao Li Mingming to even stand up, how can he fight?" That was just now. Look at Xiao Li now. Hearing Shiba's words, when Naruto and Sasuke looked at the court again, their expressions also changed suddenly. Because now Xiao Li has regained his state, and the speed is even better than before. Undoubtedly, Xiao Li has opened the second door, closed door, closed door. Lift the limit of physical fatigue, overload and squeeze body energy to restore physical strength, and offset the fatigue caused by the energy consumption speed of opening the door. What is going on here? This is Xiao Li's physical skill, 8-door Dunjia. Shiu gave an explanation, then looked at Emperor Kai and said, "Master Akai, if I guess correctly, Konoha's lotus will bloom again." Hearing this, Akai was also taken aback, because this sentence was originally what he wanted to say, but Shiu was ahead of him. It is also because of this. Emperor Kai couldn't help but look at Kakashi, with an enviable expression on his face. "Kakashi, you really have a good student. That kid won't be able to open the inner door now, right?" Inner gate refers to the last 5 gates of Beiman Dunjia, which is the true meaning of Beiman Dunjia. Once opened, it will cause great damage to the body. Yes, it will open. Emperor Kai didn't hide it, and directly gave Kakashi an affirmative answer. When Kakashi and the Emperor were discussing, the battle in the field had become more and more intense. Because of this, Kakashi had to write round eyes, to observe. Otherwise, with the naked eye's ability to perceive, the speed of the last 5 doors will not be able to be seen clearly. And when Kakashi revealed the writer's eyes, Xiao Li's whole body had turned red, and there was a low drink in his mouth. The third door, the life door, open. Shengmen. Further increase the attack and speed. The body begins to congest and turn red. The last safe area of the 8-door Dunjia. The body begins to emit green energy. In this scene, everyone except the insiders was shocked. Even the examiners who maintain order are exceptions. After all, there are only a handful of people in Konoha Ninja Village who practice this physical art, and they have never seen it before. But it shocked them. The shock was far more than that. I saw that Xiao Li's skin became more and more red at this time, and the blue veins on his forehead were exposed to the air. The 4th door, hurt the door, open it. With a low drink, Xiao Li directly opened the last restriction of the inner door, hurting the door. As soon as this door is opened, it means that the real 8-door Dunjia is present, and the real lotus flower is already accumulating power. Injury door. Further increase the attack and speed. The body begins to be damaged, and the danger of entering the 8-door Dunjia district, in the true sense of entering the 8-door Dunjia state. In an instant, Xiao Li disappeared, and almost no one was able to capture his location. Only Shiu and others who have Shilunyan and white eyes can see Xiao Li's movements clearly. But because of this, Denning Si was surprised. He knew that Xiao Li was very strong, but he didn't expect to be so strong. Shoo, 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 touch, touch, touch. At this moment, the situation has reversed, and the roles are completely reversed. Gaara has fallen into complete passivity, only to be beaten. Xiao Li's speed was so fast that Gaara couldn't fall in the air at all. When he saw that Gaara was no longer able to resist, Xiao Li's mouth also heard a low growl. Final hit. The fifth door, Duman, open. As this voice fell, Xiao Li's breath suddenly rose again, and he looked at Naruto and others with a look of horror. Even Sasuke and Neji are no exception, because facing Xiao Li like this, they have no confidence that they can defeat him. Advertisement Duman. The speed is enough to drive the air to lift the ground when moving, and the speed exceeds the speed of sound. Immediately after, Xiao Li used his own will to display his strongest trick today, which is a taboo stunt. Lilianhua. A move without any suspense hits Gaara, who is weak and rebelling. Boom. With a sound, the ripples of energy dispersed. Boom. Gaara also smashed the slate on the ground heavily. This time it was more powerful than before. Kankuro and Temari exclaimed when they saw this. At this time, everyone's eyes were focused on the place covered in smoke and dust, after seeing how Gaara had gotten away. Everyone also saw the truth and emptiness inside, and saw Gaara lying on the ground unable to move at this time. His shell of sand has long been crushed by Xiao Li, if it weren't for the gourd behind him in the end. Turned into a fool to protect him, I am afraid Gaara has lost consciousness at this time. If I change to another person, I guess it's only death. Gaara is unwilling to fully recover, before the body is fully recovered, with one hand, sand-bound, directly to make the bones of one hand and 1 foot of Xiao Li complete shattered. But Gaara did not stop the offensive because of this. Xiao Li has already angered him, so he wants to kill Xiao Li on the spot. At this time, Xiao Li has no ability to act, just when Gaara prepares to give Xiao Li the fatal blow. The Emperor Kai made a move. Gaara, who was prevented, knew that he could not kill Xiao Li, and because of the actions of the Emperor Kai protecting Xiao Li, a different kind of memory popped up in his heart. So, he stopped. At this point, the 8th round of the battle ended with Gaara's victory. In the 9th round, Ding Si and a teammate of Sakura got a tie after a bitter battle, making Shi Rihong a little regretful. Because none of her 3 students advanced to the 3rd exam. And the next round is also the final round. Although it is not the strongest battle that everyone has watched, it is the one that everyone wants to watch. Because one of them is Toki. He has attracted too many people's attention since the Central Ninja Selection exam. It is also because of this that everyone wants to see his strength. Under anticipation, the sound of the moonlight and blast also slowly spread to everyone's ears. The following is the final round of this qualifying tournament. Temari versus Takikawa Tokiha. To read the novel without underline, please download Faye. The 72nd chapter shocked 4 people, and the audience was boiling. When the sound of the moonlight blast fell, everyone in the room focused on Temari and Tokiba. Especially Shiu. Because the latter's performance in the 2nd exam was too impressive, not only breaking records, but also setting records. A team of 1 holds 666 reels. This is unprecedented in history. Shiu slowly walked into the field under the eyes of everyone. This may not be the strongest battle, but it was a highly anticipated battle. Even 3 generations can't help but observe in secret, especially those candidates who don't know Shiu's strength, such as Ning Si, Tien, Gaara, Kankuro, etc. And Temari, who is the party involved, is no exception. Temari looked at Shiu, who was standing opposite him, and a smile appeared on his pretty face. She didn't expect that in the end, the 2 of them would be left as the finale of the battle. To be honest, she was also quite curious about Shiu. However, it was due to the fact that the 2 parties were not in the same camp, and their plan to come to Konoha Shinobu this time. Therefore, she had to bury her curiosity in her heart. But this time God gave her a chance to test Shiu. She naturally had to take it well. There is no doubt about the ability of the boy in front of her. Shiu was surprised by both the 1st and 2nd exams. Your name is Takikawa Tokiha, right? What is the problem? Regarding Shiu's light and breezy, Temari also coldly snorted. I want to try now. Do you have the qualifications to say that sentence? If you can't even beat me, then don't expect to defeat Gaara. Why, you worry about me? After hearing Shiu's ridicule, a serious Temari's expression instantly cooled down. Although there was a taunt in her words, she kindly reminded Shiu not to provoke Gaara. As Gaara's sister, she naturally knows that Gaara is terrible after the runaway. Let me see how many caddies you weigh. When the voice fell, Temari directly took out the weapon, Samsung fan. This ninja strengthens her open black lens bracket Feng Dun close black lens bracket ninjutsu. 3-star fan. There are 3 spots on the fan, and a few spots are just a few stars. The 3 stars are the most powerful, and they can even blow the tree away. In the face of Temari's Samsung fan attack, Shiu had no intention to evade. Raising his hand slightly, he flicked his finger. Clang. With a sound of metal, the Temari that flew from the body shot directly backwards. Boom. Without any accident, Temari slammed directly on the wall behind. This scene made everyone dumbfounded. What kind of trick is this? Is it ninjutsu? Hearing the doubts of Sasuke and others, Kakashi also said, "That's not ninjutsu, it's just an attack by chakra with the wind attribute. Attack that incorporates attributes, advertisement." Naruto murmured, and then asked, "Ms. Kakashi, Nasi?" Sakura Kai, who had previously fought with Sasuke, also had this trick. However, because he didn't use the chakra attributes very well, he couldn't achieve the power like Toki. Kakashi in the words was also extremely shocked, because it would not be a day's work to simply realize the chakra of a kind of attribute to this kind of attainment. So it is. No wonder I feel that when I fight against it, I feel a burning sensation on my skin. Sasuke murmured to himself. Shiyu's move is a bit similar to the Shenluo Tianzheng of Heavenly Dao Pain, but it is a manifestation of a certain level of understanding of the wind attribute. Just this blow gave everyone a new understanding of Shiu. Looking at the calm and composed Shiu in the field every day, he turned his head to Ning Sadao aside. "Ningji, I feel he is so strong, Ning-si nodded, and then said, "It seems that Sasuke's words yesterday were not groundless. You may be stronger than him at this time. From this, it is not just Neji and Tianshin, Gaara and Konkuro. Temari won't just lose like this bar." Konkuro stared at the field stubbornly, and there was a worrisome expression on his face covered with patterns. I love Luo Wenyan's face did not change in the slightest. For him now, his only concern is whether Shiyu's the strength to fight him. "I look forward to fighting you," Gaara murmured in his mouth, and there was excitement in his eyes. As for Sakura, Ino, Hinata and others saw a scene, and their mouths grew in shock. It was the first time they met such a powerful Toki. When they were in the ninja school before, the latter was a poor student who couldn't even beat them. But now they can easily defeat Temari with just one move. In their eyes, Temari must be a not weak existence. Anyway, they are definitely better than them. At this moment, they seem to have met Shiu for the first time. Not only that, but Shikamaru, Denji and others have the same idea. And while everyone was still in shock, Shiu in the field also spoke. "Give up. You are not my opponent." Hearing Shiyu's words, Temari was unusually unwilling, and stood up from the ground with difficulty. She was able to stand up, thanks to Shiyu's mercy. Otherwise, it is estimated that she would have passed out at this moment. Temari wanted to use her own Feng Dai ninjutsu to fight it, but I heard Shiyu's after the next sentence. He suddenly lost confidence. "Don't fight fearlessly. If you choose to continue fighting, I won't be as merciful as before." Shiyu's words contained a kind of domineering aura that could not be resisted, and heard Teju for a moment, feeling the aura of the former, and she instantly lost the desire to fight. "I admit defeat." As Temari's words fell, there was a dead silence in the field. One move to defeat the enemy. This is undoubtedly the first time since the qualifying tournament. It is important to know that the candidates who can pass the second exam basically have a certain degree of strength. Of course, Sakura and Ino are exceptions. They are basically functional now. Sakura is good at healing, and Ino is good at mental skills. It belongs to the auxiliary ninja, except for the later, Haihao Sakura. With Temari's surrender, the entire qualifiers is completely over. Takikawa Tokiha wins the 10th round. Then, I now announce that the qualifiers of third exam are all over. With the announcement of the victory of the Moonlight and Wind, it also completely pulled the curtain for this qualifier. A total of 21 people in the qualifiers, because one person abstained and the two games were tied. Therefore, there are only 8 players 8 in the final promotion, for Gaara, Konkuro, Najimaru, Sasuke, Naruto, Neji, Shino and Tokiha. Konoha occupied 6 of them 6. Through this qualifier, all 8 candidates have a certain understanding of the strength of others. Now, please come to the center of the venue for the 8 candidates who have passed the qualifiers. Master Naruto has something to say. As soon as Moonlight Hayate said this, the third generation of Hokage also appeared in everyone's field of vision again. "First of all, I have to congratulate you for successfully shortlisting the third exam. I also said before that this exam is different from the previous ones. Many Da Ming and nobles from many countries came to watch the battle. You represent the combat power of your respective countries. I hope you can play your best level by then. In order to give you enough time to rest and prepare, this third exam will be held in 1 month." The 3 generations who had fallen silent couldn't help but glance at Shiu, because he had a panoramic view of the battle just now. He was also quite shocked by Shiyu's strength, although he didn't know how far Shiu had reached. With the hand just now, it was enough to see Shiyu's enchanting talent. If you want a chakra attribute to comprehend that state, it really can't be done by time. You must have an extremely abnormal talent, after the time has been announced. The third generation also continued. Then, let's decide the opponent from the beginning. Chapter 70. With the sound of the 3 generations falling, Itsuki Do also took a box and walked in front of Tokiba 8. Immediately after, 8 people 8 took a note from the box one by one, and each note had a number on it. Naruto number 5, Neji number 2, Shino number 4, Gaara number 7, Sasuke number 8, Shikamaru number 6, Tokiba number 1, Konkuro number 3. After everyone draws, Ibis will also announce the information about their 8-door match. First round. The first group, number 1 Time, against number 2 Ningsi, the second group 2, number 3 Kanlang, against 4 Shino, the third group, number 5 Ming, against number 6 Shikamaru, the fourth group, number 7 Ira, versus number 8 Sasuke, second round. the winners of the first two groups compete for one place in the final, and the winners of the latter two groups compete for the other final quota. The third round. It is the final battle. For this result, it has no meaning. Kankuro is grateful that it is not Gaara that he is facing, and Sasuke wants to fight Gaara. As for Gaara, although Gaara didn't directly meet Shiu, he didn't feel lost. On the contrary, he was even more excited. Because he has absolute self-confidence, he can enter the final. According to this sort of order, as long as Shiu is strong enough, the two can meet in the final. If they can't meet each other, then it can only be said that Shiu is not as strong as he thought, and then he is not qualified to fight him. After the announcement of the battle information, the third generation also said, "Before disbanding, do you have any questions? I have got?" Shikamaru raised his hand and said, then he asked, "According to this elimination system, doesn't it mean that only one person can obtain the qualification of Jongnin in the end?" It's not true. In the official competition, Feng Ying and I, as well as the daimyo of each country and the ninja leaders of each village, will be judged based on their performance in the battle. Those who have the qualifications of Zhongren can become Zhongren, even if they lose in the first round of the game. After getting this answer, Toki and Sasuke were also relieved. Because they know that they don't care now. No matter how hard you try, you will never be able to defeat Shiu. They know very well that they and Shiu are not at the same level. Then everyone, see you in a month. Disband. With the fall of the three generations of Hokage, everyone has left the arena one after another, looking for themselves, but helping them strengthen their training. Gaara and Temari both couldn't help but glance at Toki when they were leaving. The expressions in their eyes were obviously different. Gaara hopes that Temari will not let him down, but Temari doesn't know why. In short, there is something that can't be said. It seems that the latter has some magical power, and it has subdued his personality. Because Shiu had previously fought with her without pity, and some of them were just resolute, and resolute means advertisement. Not only that, but even the last sentence of persuading her to surrender impressed her. Shiyu's Trio 3 also came to Kakashi, but Shiu didn't say anything. Because now, he doesn't need Kakashi to know anything about him, and he can just play with him if the latter has any arrangements. Anyway, he didn't want to spend time researching ninjutsu and training physical skills. It would be boring. He doesn't have this thought at all. "Teacher Kakashi, you have to help us in our cultivation this month." Hearing Naruto's words, Kakashi said, "I guessed you would say that a long time ago, so I have already found a good candidate for you." "Why? I want to follow you practice." Naruto was dissatisfied. I have something to deal with. I can't take care of you." Regarding Kakashi's words, Naruto was not stupid this time, and immediately heard Kakashi's intentions. "Humph, do you want to help Sasuke train?" "Don't say that. I'll help you find this candidate, but it's better than me." "Oh yes." Naruto in the words was also interested, and hurriedly asked, "Who is he?" "It's me." Before Kakashi could answer, a voice came from behind. Hearing this, Naruto followed the prestige and greeted a familiar figure, which couldn't help but let out a scream. F***K. Big pervert. Naruto, whose voice fell down, was extremely dissatisfied, because Ebisu was too spicy in his heart. In order to prevent Naruto from being involved in the harem art, Kakashi, Ebisu also promised Naruto to ask him to eat ramen, the kind of vomiting. Originally, Naruto still disagrees a bit, knowing that Shiu quietly said a word in his ear. "Naruto, it's okay. I promise you will gain a lot from your practice this time." "Real, don't you still trust me?" Advertisement. After getting Shiu's assurance, Naruto nodded in agreement. After Sasuke and Naruto's mentors were determined, Kakashi looked at Toki. However, before Kakashi could speak, Shiu was the first to speak. "Mr. Kakashi, you can concentrate on instructing Sasuke. I will learn from teacher Ebisu with Naruto, so you don't have to worry about me." Kakashi was also taken aback when he heard that, because he knew Shiu was a monster, and he had nothing to teach. In his eyes, Shiu would definitely pass this test. Originally, he wanted Shiu to learn more about 8-Gate Dunjia with Emperor Kai, but since Shiu said so, he didn't say much. NS. Because Emperor Kai is not in a very good mood because of Shaoli's affairs, and he still has to teach Ning-Si. Because of this, Takiwa and Naruto left with Ebisu, a moment later. After the three of them ate ramen, Ebisu also began to teach the two people to practice cultivation. Obviously, Ebisu still doesn't know Shiu's metamorphosis. All he knows is that Shiu's avatar technique is very accomplished, and chakra is dozens of times more than ordinary people. They practiced in a hot spring. After arriving at the destination, Naruto was also puzzled and said, "Mr. Pervert, why are we here? I want to soak in the hot springs, but I still need to peek." "Yeah." Hearing Naruto's words, Ebisu also coughed heavily, and then said, "Naturally it is cultivation." "Cultivation? What can I practice here? How to practice?" Naruto came directly to the 3 lines of doubts, which made Ebisu a headache. "It's very simple. I want you to walk on the hot spring." The Naruto who heard this was stunned, remembering that Kakashi had taught them how to climb while in the country of Wave. To be precise, it should be Shiu's teaching. However, they only mastered walking on trees at the time, but they had not tried to get into the water. Obviously, Kakashi informed Ebisu of Naruto's situation and asked the latter to conduct targeted training. Only in this way can you improve your strength faster. To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download Faye. Chapter 71. I will give you a demonstration first. As the voice fell, Ebisu folded his hands together, letting the trace of chakra gather on the soles of his feet. Then, under the eyes of the two people, Shiu slowly stepped into the hot spring pool. As a special kind of forbearance, he was naturally able to be as steady as Mount Tai on the water, and even walked as fast as flying. Otherwise, Kakashi would not ask him to guide Naruto. After seeing this scene, Naruto also exclaimed, "Wow, okay, then I'll try it too." With the experience of climbing trees, Naruto can already control chakra well. Since it was not imposed by the Dashimaru, the current Naruto will not cause disorder when using chakra. However, walking on the water is more subtle than chakra, who is controlled by climbing trees. So, for a while, Naruto couldn't understand the trick. When one of his feet stepped into the spring water, Tokiba and Ebisu heard a pudong. No accident, Naruto fell into the water. So hot, so hot. Seeing this scene, Ebisu also smiled triumphantly. Apparently he almost revealed the secret that Naruto was almost lustful in front of Kakashi just now. Moreover, Naruto made a fortune in Yilei Noodle House. Hey, I forgot to tell you just now. The temperature of this spring is 60 degrees. If you always fail, you will be cooked. Hearing Ebisu's words, Naruto also got a temper. HMPH, I will definitely succeed. Ever since, Naruto started an uncertain attempt, and with the experience of climbing, he slowly mastered it. But after all, it won't last long for him. This process still needs to be honed. Seeing Naruto practicing desperately, Ebisu nodded in satisfaction, and immediately looked at Toki. What surprised him was that the latter at this time was sitting there and dozing off, and couldn't help but reprimand. Shiu, if you choose to learn from me, then you can't be lazy. Teacher Ebisu, I am not lazy. Shiu replied that Ebisu was a little speechless, and couldn't help shouting angrily. Although I wear sunglasses, I am not blind. I don't mean that, I mean I have learned it. Advertisement. Hearing that Ebisu was taken aback for a moment, he had just finished the demonstration, and Shiu had never tried it once, and the latter said that he had learned it. Isn't this what makes him open his eyes and talk nonsense for the sake of being lazy? Although he knows from Kakashi that Shiu's talent is very enchanting, he can't fool him. If this is the case, it will make him, the instructor, very shameless. In that case, you can show it to me. Ebisu obviously wanted to give Toki a hard time, in his opinion, even if it was a process of hard work. Otherwise, it's not a genius. That's abnormal. Okay, anyway, it's boring to be idle anyway, just treat it as a pedicure. When the voice fell, Shiu slowly stood up from the ground, and then walked slowly into the spring water. This scene made Ebisu a little bit astonished because this training must be to hold his breath and form a seal, so the chakra can better gather on the soles of the feet. In this way, you can walk on the water. If you want to save this step, it will have to go through a long practice. Even if he became a particularly forbearer, it took several months to skip this step at the beginning. And just as he was thinking like this, Shiu was already standing steadily on the surface of the water. This scene completely stunned him. Kakashi said Shiu's talent was extremely enchanting. Is the strongest genius he has ever seen in his life, not one of them. Originally Ebisu didn't believe it, but now he is a little bit convinced. Teacher Ebisu, I said I didn't lie to you. Ebisu, who heard this, was also speechless, and could only give up the idea of reprimanding Shiu. And at this moment, a wretched, hee, but the sound came from everyone's ears. Shiu and the others looked at it, and they saw a man dressed in long red, with white hair tied into a long braid, naturally gathered behind his head. Undoubtedly, he is Jiraiya. At this time, the latter is peeping. Woman, hot spring room. That's why it makes that kind of insignificant sound. When Ebisu saw this kind of thing, he also couldn't stand it with the same color heart. This is the typical color heart and boldness, but they don't allow others to do such indiscriminate things in front of him. Humph. Even though you don't know me, but you dare to do such a shameless thing, I will never agree. When the voice fell, Ebisu rushed directly towards Jiraiya. And as one of Konohamaru, Jiraiya naturally noticed it a long time ago, there is no unnecessary nonsense, it is a trick, psychic art, that comes up. I directly summoned a toad, which seemed to be more than 10 times the size of Ebisu, with a loyal hanging on his neck. Word collar. Seeing this scene, Ebisu suddenly stopped, with a look of astonishment. Advertisement. You are, however, before Ebisu confided the identity of Jiraiya, he was stunned by the tongue of the big toad. In this regard, Jiraiya also gave a light break. What the hell, so loud? What if I was discovered? Jiraiya. This statement has a double meaning. First, he is afraid of being discovered by the female relatives in the hot spring, and second, he is afraid that Naruto will know his identity, because he still does not want to let Naruto know. Naruto, who crawled out of the hot spring, was surprised to see this scene in his eyes. Big Pervert was defeated unexpectedly. That, who is Super Pervert? For Naruto only, Ebisu is a big satyr of the sorrow type, the kind with a color heart and a lack of courage. However, Jiraiya is different, he came here completely blatantly. Naruto immediately checked Ebisu's situation, and he found that the latter had completely fainted. Naruto couldn't help but look at Shiu, and said, Shiu, the big satyr, he fainted. Then you have to ask that super pervert. Hearing Shiu's words, Naruto's gaze also fell on the Jiraiya, who was sitting on the top of the big toad, and directly asked 3 questions. Who are you? Why stun my big pervert? Also, what happened to that big frog? Hearing Naruto's words, Jiraiya also said, This is not a frog, this is called toad, understand? Aren't they all look the same? That's what it said. Jiraiya also murmured. So, you can tell me who you are now. Naruto asked again, this question is very good. I am, Miaomu Mountain, Toad Elf Immortal Taoist, known as Toad Immortal, in the world, I am lucky enough to meet. Chapter 72 Hearing, Jiraiya's self-introduction, Naruto was very confused. Fairy. At this time, Shiu was happy, because he accompanied Naruto and Ebisu to practice, just to wait for Jiraiya to appear. Hey, what is that, horny fairy, this big pervert is going to teach us to cultivate. If you make him look like this, what do you tell us to do? Who let him get in the way of getting the material? Jiraiya said. Taking materials, hearing Naruto's doubts, Jiraiya also directly took out a book. This is it. Hearing the words, Naruto looked directly at the book, and he could clearly see that it had a big character .. heavenly love. This is it. No, I know you, even a kid like you, it seems I have a reputation, hee. Of course, that's not a serious novel. Naruto scolded angrily because he had seen this book in Kakashi's hands. Moreover, at the beginning of the bell-robbing session of the survival exercise, Shiu also wrote an extra, which he remembered still fresh. What kind of material? You are clearly a pervert. After Naruto and Jiraiya had a quarrel, they stopped until they were a little out of breath. No excuses. In a word, what about our cultivation? Cultivation, Jiraiya also murmured, and then said, do you mean walking on the water? So you understand. Naruto between the words pointed to Jiraiya and chuckled softly. If this is the case, then our cultivation will be handed over to you. In Naruto's eyes, since Jiraiya can easily overcome Ebisu, it means that the strength of the former is definitely higher than that of the latter. Originally, he was very dissatisfied with Ebisu's guidance. I hate such rude fellows like you the most, also, I have no interest in men. Hearing these words, Naruto was instantly dumb, because he didn't know what to do. If Jiraiya hadn't instructed him, he hadn't withdrawn either. When Shiu saw this, he said, Naruto, this guy is so lustful, isn't your seduction technique just right to come in handy? Why didn't I think about it? Naruto's eyes suddenly changed between the words, and he said to Jiraiya, lecherous fairy, what do you think of this? Advertisement bang. As a white smoke drifted by, Naruto transformed into a beautiful girl. Moreover, it's still the kind of naked. Seeing this scene, Jiraiya couldn't help it instantly, and the nosebleeds couldn't stop flowing out. This is good, I like. After an exclamation, Jiraiya also said, quickly tell me what ninjutsu is called. Hearing this, Naruto took a white look and said immediately. The art of seduction, ha. Thank you to think it out, he is really a talent. Seeing that Jiraiya was also hooked, Naruto also stepped up his efforts, posing a more seductive posture, and said in a Shoujobyu's tone. Then the cultivation of the two of us, no problem. But I have one condition. The words between the words are also squinting, and they seem to be making some crooked ideas. What conditions? That is when we are together, you must always keep this look. Hearing these words, Naruto was also taken aback, and immediately cursed. You are a super pervert. No, I'm just looking for inspiration for creation. HMPH, don't listen or listen, Wangba reciting the scriptures. Okay, let's end the joke, I will accompany you to practice now. Real, Naruto said in surprise. Of course, Toad Immortal, has always kept my promise. Great, Shiu, however, before Naruto was happy, Jiraiya poured cold water on him. Little devil, I said I knew you were cultivating, but I didn't say that I included him. Jiraiya between the words also looked at Shiu. His original intention was to guide Naruto's cultivation, and Shiu was naturally not included. Because he would not accept disciples easily. If Naruto was not the son of 4 generations, it would be impossible for Jiraiya to teach it himself. Why? Regarding Naruto's question, Jiraiya's reason was, because you have the seduction technique, I reluctantly agreed to you, so what does he have? Naruto was stunned, and then said, lecherous fairy, didn't you just say you want to collect materials? Yes. Advertisement, that's right, Naruto clapped his palms, and then said, I tell you, Shiu wrote a Family Paradise biography, which was extremely liked by Kakashi teacher, and it was regarded as a treasure. Real, I didn't believe the self-reliance between the words, because Shiu was so old, how could it be possible to write such a connotative thing, come? Of course, because there is only one in the world. I do not believe. Hearing what Jiraiya said, Shiu, who had been silent for a long time, finally said, I have the second volume. Volume 2. For Naruto's doubts, Shiu also explained, well, because Mrs. Kakashi likes it very much, he always urges the following plot. So, I wrote the second volume. Shiu took it out between the words, obviously showing it to Jiraiya also to see it on purpose. This, Golden Lotus Biography of Love in Heaven, Volume 2, is what he used to catch Jiraiya, because he would find Naruto even when he was Jiraiya. Therefore, I had prepared this hand long ago. Looking at the book in Shiu's hand, Jiraiya was obviously also a little moved. Let me take a look, if it can give me some inspiration, I don't mind teaching one more. Having said that, Jiraiya can't wait to take a look. He also wanted to know what kind of things a 12-year-old boy could write that fascinated Kakashi so much. In this regard, Shiu did not refuse. After receiving the .. Golden Lotus Legend in Heaven, from Shiu, Jiraiya immediately read it. I don't know if I look at it, I can't stop at a glance, until Naruto asked aloud. Jiraiya's mind returned to reality from the book. Laughter fairy, can you do it? Yeah, Jiraiya also snorted, pretending to be calm and said, it's not bad, I can barely find a hint of inspiration. For this sake, let me teach you by the way. Hearing these words, Naruto also showed excitement on his face. He didn't expect that the shabby book would still have this effect. However, I have one condition. What, Shiu said. That's what you have to do, Volume 1. And the following plots are written to me, so that I can get more inspiration. For Shiu, this is not a difficult task at all. Immediately after, Jiraiya directly took the Golden Lotus Legend of Intimacy in Heaven, Volume 2, into the bag, and then said. Okay, start practicing now, Chapter 73 immediately after. Shiu and Zilai also began to practice, and this step was walking on the water. 2 hours later, after unremitting efforts, Naruto finally mastered it. Although it is a bit jerky, but at least able to stand firm and not fall, all of this is because of the foundation laid by the Nation of Wave, a month ago. During this time when Naruto was practicing, Shiu was eagerly fighting with Jiraiya. Because the content of the two of them talked is extremely connotative, it is fascinating at every turn, and it makes people have a kind of impulse to think about things. This is also thanks to Shiu's previous World Expo books, reading countless films, and I don't know how many mysteries are hidden in one disc. Those were all encrypted in hidden files, and most people would never find it. After seeing Naruto finally mastered this technique, Jiraiya also stopped talking with Shiu. Since you have successfully mastered this trick, then I will call you a powerful move next. Great. Naruto in the words was very excited, because he is now in addition to the multi-shadow clone art, and his own, Naruto linking. There are no tricks that can be drawn, however, before that, I hope you can figure out one thing. What's up? Naruto's question had just fallen, and before Jiraiya said it, Shiu was the first to speak. You don't know a kind of chakra in your body. When Shiu said this, both Naruto and Jiraiya were stunned, but the reasons for their surprise were different. Oh, how did you know? Jiraiya also looked at Shiu as he spoke, and there was a look of vigilance in his heart. In addition to the ninjas who participated in the war knowing about this incident, it is also a part of the villagers who have ninjas in their homes. It is also because of everyone in this section that almost all the people of the previous generation knew that the 9 tails were sealed in Naruto's body. But as far as Jiraiya knows, this news is also blocked on the new generation. It stands to reason that Shiu is impossible to know about this. Even if he learned that Naruto's body sealer, Q-tail, was accidentally heard, how did he conclude that there are 2 types of chakras in Naruto's body? You know, the reason for this is due to the 4 generations of 4 elephant seals. The 4 generations used 4 elephant seals to form the Bagua seal, to seal the 9 tails, but it left a gap to let 9 tails can give its chakras to Naruto at critical moments. It can be said that it is a means to protect Naruto. After passing through the incident of Mizuki, both Toki and Naruto knew that the 9 tails, who had attacked Konoha, were sealed in Naruto's body. To Jiraiya's question, Shiu also said, the last time in Nami no Country's mission, Naruto had a red chakra in his body when he was fighting Mizan rebel Shinobu. So it is. Regarding Shiyu's explanation, Jiraiya found it acceptable. However, Shiyu's next sentence made Jiraiya instantly dumbfounded. Advertisement, also, I have it. Oh, Jiraiya responded, and didn't react until the next second, and then said very excitedly. What did you say? I said that I also have that, red cha. After receiving Shiyu's confirmation, Ziyi's face was covered with a thick color. As this kid also, Renju Li, this idea just came up, and Li was denied by Zilai. Renzu Li. Such an important matter, if they Konoha have 2, Renzu Li, as Konoha Sanin, it is impossible not to know it. But if it weren't for Renju Li, there might be a red chakra in the body, and you must know that this red chakra is unique to the tail beast. This is the end of my thought. Jiraiya also directly probed Shiyu's body, but he discovered that there was no seal on Shiyu's body. In other words, the term Renju Li has been dismissed. Then there is only one possibility left. That is, Shiu lied to him, but instead of using a tone of opening, he said with suspicion, You said you also have that kind of, red chakra. Shiu nodded, pretending to know nothing, and continued. I don't believe it, look. When Shiyu's thoughts moved between the words, red chakra, appeared from him. Seeing this scene, Jiraiya was shocked beyond words. He didn't expect that what Shiu said turned out to be true, and what made him even more shocked was that Shiu was able to control this power. But at the same time, I also wondered, why is it not human Julie's Toki who has a chakra with a tailed beast in his body? However, at this time, there is a beast that is more shocked than Jiraiya. That is the one who is in the body of 9 Lama. Because of this, he also woke up, and the mouth full of fangs moved slightly. This is the chakra of Civet Cat and Demon Cat. Between the words, the eyes of the 9 Lama flashed a look of shock, and obviously did not expect that the chakras of the 2 beasts would appear on one person. Tokiba did this to make Jiraiya more trust and let the latter know that he can help Naruto control Kaiyu's chakra. Moreover, Shiu knew that Jiraiya would not easily tell others about this. Shiu knew that only in this way would it be possible for Jiraiya to also let him also sign the blood contract with the toads of Miao Mushan. Of course, other than that, This is also regarded as a greeting from Shiu and Kyuubi because sooner or later he wants to deal with the latter. But Jiraiya will never know why Shiu has tailed beast chakra. At most, I can only find golden horn and silver horn in Thunder Kingdom, or the so-called anthropomorphic force. Golden horn and silver horn, after the two were born, they had the 6 Tao immortals pedigree, so they can master 9-tailed chakra after eating 9-tailed flesh and flesh. Advertisement in the so-called human-like pillar force. It is to collect the chakras scattered by the tail beast, and then seal it in a person's body. But if there is no 6 Tao bloodline, it cannot be controlled. It can only be said that golden horn and silver horn are special cases, they have awakened the 6 ways. The power of the bloodline, it's like 1,000-handed pillars can still awaken the fairy human body, after countless generations. But there is no such thing in all, and it is almost difficult to be born, after a shock. After recovering, Jiraiya took a deep breath and said at any time, Shiu, does anyone else know about this matter? No, that's good. Jiraiya also responded and continued. Remember, this must not be known to the 4th person. It is good, Shiu nodded, and then said, Lecherous fairy, do you want to help Naruto control this kind of power? Indeed, but it's not a day's work. Jiraiya also responded, and then said, It's not early, you go back first. We will meet here tomorrow. When the voice fell, Jiraiya also carried Ebisu who was unconscious and left. The next day, I also brought Naruto and Shiu to a mountain stream in the forest. Jiraiya chose this place because in the stream under this mountain stream, there will be some women from time to time, come to play water frolics, swimming outing. Seeing Jiraiya's super sexy appearance, Naruto couldn't stand it anymore, and he drank it immediately. Laughter fairy. You said yesterday that you want to teach us new moves, but you hurry up. What an annoying kid. Jiraiya also complained, and then said, You won't learn more like Shiu, and watch us quietly for a while. After reluctantly retracting his gaze, Jiraiya also came to Naruto's side and said immediately. Before you start learning that move, you have to learn how to master that red chakra, like Shiba. Otherwise, you won't be able to use your current chakra. Chapter 74. Laughter Fairy. How do you know that I have that kind of chakra in my body? Naruto was puzzled. Who made me a fairy? When the voice fell, Jiraiya also told Naruto about the situation of chakra in his body. For example, some of the chakras in Naruto are usually used to suppress another chakra, which is 9-tailed chakra. Therefore, he can also develop his own chakra to the extreme. Once that part of the chakra that restrained 9 tails is removed, it will be more than 100 times his. But the problem Naruto now can't squander this chakra wantonly. Therefore, if you want to use psychic skills, you must use the huge chakra of 9 tails. In short, if you have 2 types of chakras, you should release them as much as possible and use them. In this way, you can use more ninjutsu and moves. For example, I am going to call you psychic now. If I heard it, Shiu knew that the good show was finally about to appear. And Naruto also looked excited, and he was also very curious about what this so-called psychic technique was. What kind of ninjutsu is that? Simply put, it is a blood contract between a spellcaster and a certain creature, and then it's time to summon them. This is a type of time and space ninjutsu. Sounds great. Naruto exclaimed, and then said, Hurry up, teach me quickly. Before learning, you have to walk on the water now and use up all the chakras you usually use, so that you can better draw out the kind of red chakras. Don't do that, in case I am drowned. Don't worry, isn't it me and Shiu are here? Jiraiya said. Okay then. Naruto nodded helplessly, and then he walked to the surface of the water and started practicing. Because Shiu can control the red chakra, he doesn't need to practice like Shiu, and this is just one of the purposes of Shiu's tailed chakra, also shown to Jiraiya. Because the use of psychic techniques requires a lot of chakras, if Shiu doesn't have enough chakras, Jiraiya will not necessarily let him practice. When Naruto was practicing, Shiu and Jiraiya were always discussing something. Advertisement from time to time, they were still making gestures in their hands, and their eyes were always looking at the stream on the other side to make comparisons. Well, this is almost the same. That should have it. As for the one with the red belt, at most only, but the best figure. As expected to be a lecherous fairy, you can see the clues at a glance, admire and admire. Shiu said very sincerely. This time he didn't lie. Jiraiya is also defending. The talent in this area is indeed different from ordinary people, and it is beyond his reach, and he has to admire it. Hey, let's take it. Shiu and Jiraiya also talked and laughed, and Naruto's chakra was almost consumed. It was okay at the beginning, he was still level, but after a long time, Naruto was always unable to stabilize his figure and couldn't be Naruto's shortcomings. Thump. Another sound of falling water sounded. But this time there is no follow-up. Naruto climbed up without a bottom. Obviously he has reached the limit. When Shiu saw this, he immediately fished him out. After some rest. After Naruto woke up, Jiraiya also said, It seems that your own chakras are finally exhausted, then. I will call you two now. Spiritualism, okay. Finally wait until this moment. Naruto was extremely excited during the words, and Shiu's face also showed a touch of expectation. Okay, I will show you a side now. When the voice fell, Jiraiya also directly bit one of his own fingers, and then applied it to the other palm. Immediately afterwards, there was finally a low drink. Psychic art. Boom. A slight noise drifted by with a burst of white smoke, and a big toad appeared in the eyes of the two Shiu. Even yesterday, Jiraiya also summoned that one. The only difference was that the latter had a scroll in his mouth at this time. Upon seeing this, Naruto exclaimed with starlight in his eyes. It's the frog from yesterday. Advertisement. It's a toad. Jiraiya also emphasized. It's almost the same, Naruto said and continued. Lecherous fairy, teach us quickly, I can't wait, hee. Hearing that, Jiraiya also asked the big toad to slowly send out the scroll that was held in his mouth with a colored tongue and said. This is the signature, signed with Psychic Toad, passed down from generation to generation. You need to dip a bit of your own blood to write your name on it, and then leave 5 fingerprints of blood dipped in blood. Use the blood fingerprint of that hand with which hand you are used to. When you use it, you only need to condense the chakra on the hand you ordered and imagine where you want it to be summoned. The order of the seal is, Hai, Shu, Yu, Shen, Wei close black lens bracket. Spiritualism belongs to the special art of ninjutsu. The essence is to summon creatures to assist the ninja in battle. It is mainly divided into 2 types. Blood psychic, non-blood psychic, blood psychic. The caster makes a blood contract with any creature, and the signatory has blood patterns on the blood contract. Therefore, blood must be used as a medium. As Jiraiya's voice fell, Takiwa and Naruto left their own names on the signature reel, one after another. And blood fingerprints. That's it. Hearing Naruto's words, Jiraiya also nodded and then said, you can try it now. Jiraiya thought too easily. He thought Naruto would be able to use nine-tailed chakra after he used up his chakra. Actually not. Nine-tailed chakra will only appear when Naruto is in danger, because Nine-tailed life is linked to Naruto. In the comics, Nine-Tails said personally, but this does not mean that Nine-Tails will really die. Tailed beasts are aggregates of chakras and will never die. After Renjuli dies, the seal in his body will collapse, and the tail beast will slowly flow out from the form of chakra. After a period of silence, it will be revived. Reason 1. After Lin died, Sanwei Isofu became wild. Reason 2. During the 4th Ninja World War, Raikage said that killing Naruto can be delayed. Q appeared. Naruto nodded after hearing what Jiraiya said. Then I will do it first. After the voice fell, Ming Shang succumbed to Hai, Shu, Yu, Shen, Wei, 555 Indian styles accompanied by low drink. Psychic art. Then he slapped the palm of his hand to the ground, spreading out with a series of complicated runes. Next second, a psychic beast appeared in front of the 3 of them. Looking at the summoned beast reflected in the pupils of the eyes, Ji Lai also looked unlovable. Even Shiu couldn't help but secretly laughed, because Naruto's psychic beast came out of psychic. It's not a toad at all, but to put it mildly, it is a toad that hasn't become. It's a tadpole, the size of a finger. Chapter 75. Looking at the finger-sized tadpole on the ground, Ji Lai also looked speechless. It seems that he really has no talent at all in this aspect. Ji Lai also looked at Naruto in his mind, and another figure flashed in his mind, the man with the same hair color as Naruto. However, he is much more handsome than Naruto. He is the 4th generation of Hokage, the first disciple of Zilai Yi, Bo Feng Shui Men. About this, Zilai couldn't help but mutter to himself. Obviously father and son, Lao Su is extremely talented. Why is his son so unsatisfactory? If you say it is inherited Kushina, the latter's talent is not bad, it belongs to the best among female ninjas. Could this be the so-called positive and negative? For this result, Naruto, who was the subject, obviously couldn't accept it. Others summoned are giant toads, he didn't even summon little toads, 2200. Naturally, the heart is unwilling. It is estimated that I was not ready just now, I will do it again. When the voice fell, Naruto tried again, and the handprint style resumed. Boom. As a plume of white smoke drifted by, the psychic beast that appeared in front of him made Zilai completely speechless. Sure enough, I shouldn't have too much hope, because the psychic beast that Naruto summoned for the second time was the same as the first time, it was still a tadpole. Moreover, even the size is always the same. Seeing Naruto's look disappointed, Jiraiya comforted. After all, I just got in touch with this ninjutsu, so let's practice it for a few more days. Oh. Seeing Naruto nodded obediently, Jiraiya's gaze fell on Shiu, with a look of expectation in his eyes. Shiyu's talent is extremely high, coupled with the mastery of Tail Beast Chakra. Even for the first time, it should be able to summon a good psychic beast. At this point, Zilaya also said, Shiu, come and try. It is good. Shiu agreed, and immediately began to display it under the eyes of the 2 people. But the next scene was so dumbfounded. Although it was only 5 short 55 impressions, Shiu actually nodded in an instant, as if he had already understood it and looked so proficient. And this is still from Jiraiya's perspective. For example, from Naruto's perspective, he didn't see Tokibayuki at all, and the latter's palm had already been photographed on the ground. Advertisement undoubtedly, it was because Shiu's not printing speed was too fast, and just as the people were shocked, Shiu's mouth also heard a low drink. Psychic art. Immediately after, on the ground, a series of black and complicated runes spread towards the surroundings, accompanied by the appearance of a thick smoke. In the expectant eyes of both Jiraiya and Jiraiya, the thick smoke quickly dissipated, and the sight of them shocked both of them. Especially Jiraiya. Because of the clams here, it's not a tadpole, and it's not a big toad. It's a giant toad. But Jiraiya is also shocked by far more than that, because the giant toad is neither Toad Bunta, but also his brother, Toad Jien, and Toad Guang. The former is larger than the three of them, and it is as simple as twice as big. Rather, 10 times. This toad is Miaomu Mountain's largest toad, Iwajuku Big Toad, who called me. Iwaju Big Toad. The first sentence of who called him is very simple. Because in his understanding, it seems that Zilai does not have this ability. Hearing this voice, Zilai, recovered from the shock, jumped to the front of Big Toad Rock-In, and said, Master Iwasu, I didn't expect we would meet here. Big Toad Rock-In. After a moment of stunned, he said in shock, Zilai too. It seems that you have grown a lot, and you can summon my body. Hearing the praise of Big Toad Rock-In, Zilai is also a little embarrassed. Actually, I didn't call you here, not you, Zilai also nodded, and then beckoned to Shiu. Upon seeing this, Shiu and Naruto also came to Zilai Ya. Big Toad Iwasu. The second I saw Shiu and Naruto, there was also a touch of astonishment in his eyes, and his tone was full of suspicion. Jiraiya, you don't want to say that it was one of them who called me, right? If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it either. But you were indeed summoned by him, advertisement. Jiraiya also put his palm on Shiu's body. Not to mention that they were like this, but Shiu himself was a little shocked. He felt that there was absolutely no problem with summoning Toad Wentai with his chakra. Who would have thought of using too much force and directly summoning Iwasu Big Toad? At this time, Shiu couldn't help thinking. If he added more, if you work hard, can you summon Toad Immortal Toad Pill? However, this idea is probably unrealistic, because Toad Maru, as the highest ruler of Miaomu Mountain, has the honorary title of Great Toad Immortal. It is estimated that it will not be summoned. That's the Toad of the 6 Tao Immortals era. After getting Jiraiya's confirmation, open black lens bracket Iwajuku Big Toad close black lens bracket can only believe this incredible fact. It's just that he never expected that he would be summoned out of his body by a teenager. After talking with Jiraiya, Big Toad Iwasu also knew the cause and effect of the incident, but this surprised him even more. It was the first time to use spiritualism to summon it, let alone how enchanting Shiyu's talent is. The huge chakra in his body must be shocking. Otherwise, it is impossible to do this. Jiraiya, I have come anyway, just play here for a while. When I heard Big Toad Rock-In, Jiraiya was also taken aback. Play for a while, yes, Big Toad Rock-In responded, and then said, even if it is a fairyland, it will be boring to stay for a long time. In this regard, Jiraiya is helpless. This Big Toad Rock-In has an extremely lofty position in Miaomu Mountain, and it belongs to the high-level figures of Miaomu Mountain, along with Shenzuo Xian Ren and Jima Xian Ren. 0. Our only status is this person, that is, Big Toad Immortal Toad Maru. The voice of Big Toad Iwajuku turned his eyes to Shiu and said, Boy, although I believe in Jiraiya's words, but I want to personally witness this kind of thing. Would you like to show it to me again? Big Toad Iwasu. As soon as these words came out, Shiu and the three of them were all taken aback, because they didn't expect the latter to make such a proposal. Master Iwasu, you don't want him to summon those two adults too. Then you have to see if he doesn't have this ability. Hearing the conversation between Zilai and Big Toad Iwasu, Naruto was confused, because he obviously didn't know who the two adults were referring to in the two populations. But Shiu was very clear. In the event of an accident, it should be the two immortals, Shenzuo and Jima.